This one? Can you move that stuff off the stage? Yeah. All right. Yeah. All right. I'm going to ask you guys a question. How many of you guys in this room are liberal or on the left? Raise your hand. Oh, god damn. Oh, yeah. All right. How many of you guys are conservatives? Raise your hand, or went to Turning Point USA for that. If you maybe you're moderate. Damn, you guys are the minority up in here. How's that feel? Yeah. This is a whole liberal audience. Yeah.
Yeah, so just so y'all know, my debate opponent's going to be here in 8 minutes. So he's coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Fashionably late.
Needed extra prep or something. He has to defend Trump on the economy. It's not an easy thing to do, okay? So give him a break. Yeah, I know.
Debate prep overload. I don't know how to do it. It'll be fine.
He's looking at like tariff revenue estimates or something right now.
At the end of this, if we did a karaoke, we are Charlie Kirk as a choir together. Would you as the audience participate? All right, okay. I'll make it happen. It will be on the internet though, so for those of you who... Yeah, with the lighters, oh my gosh. Yeah, that's it. No, we've been fighting that for the past 30 minutes, yeah. You want to just do one right now? No. Just for this random Q&A. No, we can't. Yeah, it was a long. Oh, would you get the waters from here? We should get 3 waters. In there, there's like water. Just get that. Yeah. I'm going to do a shameless plug here. Because we are the Unfuck America Tour, just know that if you go to unfuckamericatour.com, if every single one of you guys donated $2, only $2, we'd be able to flip a couple districts. We're working on 3 specifically that are highly competitive, and we are working to flip them. So if everyone donated $2, just pretend this is church, you're tithing, okay? Unfuckamericatour.com. If you do make a donation, come find me, because we have these with proof of your donation. We have these beautiful lighters. On one side it says, "We are Charlie Kirk." On the other side it says, "We carry the flame." You are literally, well, there we go. Now you're carrying the flame, okay? With proof of donation. Well, we'll call it a free lighter. It's not. You donated, but... That's ghetto. We need them. Connor, would you be able to get a couple waters, whether it be from the bar or water bottles? Check this. Do you like it? You want it? You're not smoking. You're carrying a flame, motherfucker. I quit smoking, but I still gotta carry the flame. I'm gonna do another shameless plug, by the way. I have an Instagram account. It is Camp Callout. If you follow me at Camp Callout, okay, that's my Instagram account. It's pretty huge. It's really bigly. You'll like it. If you're a liberal, and majority of you guys are. If you're a leftist, you probably won't like it. What did you? What does Michael look like? Is he just gonna come to the stage?
Yeah, I guess he's just gonna walk in. The suspense is building. We're on the edge of our seats right now. I'm so excited. Hey, how do we feel about those Epstein files we got recently? They were great, right? That's why I like them. All redacted. I like that. I like that.
It looks like that. Yeah, it does.
Yeah. Looks just like it. But guys, don't worry. Pam Bondi says it's the most transparent administration in American history. So it must be true. You know what they say? Always trust the FBI. That's what they say, the Republicans, of course.
Ceci. If you wanted to just tell something.
I want to thank all the conservatives who came out. I'll give a little anecdote because I've been talking to conservatives all day. I really hope my debate opponent actually defends Trump because nobody that went to AmFest actually defends Trump. I mean, it's crazy. Everybody I talked to, they want to defend him on deportations, they want to defend him on tariffs, they want to defend him on Epstein. On the one hand, I'm like, thank you. On the other hand, I'm like, you voted for this guy. Like, why did you vote for a guy that you're not going to defend anything he did? Like, kind of own it a little bit.
I'm gonna take over for a second. Since we're all sitting here waiting, I do stand up. So let me tell you a couple jokes. All right, so growing up, I was a bad girl, and I hung out with other bad girls. And one of our girls, her name was Ashley, but we called her Trashly because she used to get fucked up all the time. And we called her that all the way up until one night when she got so fucked up that she cut her wrists open and smeared blood all over my walls. So then we started calling her Slashly. Yeah. But don't feel bad, because when she dies, if she's cremated, she can go right back to being Ashley. Yeah? Yeah. Some nicknames are given, and then, you know, some are earned. Let's see what else. Summer of 2022. Actually, no, fuck that. Speaking of cutting things, let's stick with cutting things. Circumcised versus uncircumcised. Where do we all stand on that? Now, most women are gonna say they prefer circumcised. Now, me personally, I don't care, because when I see a dick, it's hard, so they all look the fucking same. But if I had to choose, I would go uncircumcised for two reasons. The first reason is that I notice they tend to put in a little more work. And I don't know if it's because of the stigma that might come with that, or the smegma. And the second reason is that after we have sex, it fucking goes away, you know, into like its little carrying case. So now I feel a little safer, you know, there's room for conversation. I wanted to ask you about your mother, but, you know, your dick was in the way. But now that it's in its little sleeping bag, it looks like a giant clit, and I feel like I'm with a girlfriend again. It's great. How's your mother? Yeah. Okay, let's go back. I mean, I'm just gonna keep going till our fucking guest shows up whenever he does. Okay, summer of 2022. I was on the Dr. Phil show, and this is real. So I'm a hairdresser, and my client is the executive producer of the show. And she was like, Ceci, we really want you on. It's going to be a debate about abortion, because Roe v. Wade had just been overturned. And so I go on the show, and I'm backstage, I'm getting mic'd up, and there's this other woman there getting mic'd up too. And we did not know who each other were at this point. And then a producer came over and asked us to put our masks on while we were backstage. And I was like, yeah, no problem. And she was like, oh, I don't have one. So when they went to get her one, she turned to me and said, you know, I feel like the Chinese should be paying us reparations for this. And I looked at her and I was like, oh, so you support reparations? That's great. We immediately knew who each other were. You know, I'm the one who's going to go out there and defend the women of this country, and she's a cunt. But then we go out on stage, and there's this other pro-life leader out there, Lila Rose. And Lila looks like a cartoon villain. You know, she's got the shiny black hair, the big eyes, the like psychotic smile. Pretty sure she had a pipe bomb. And we ended up getting into a pretty heated back and forth. And then 4 days after it aired, Tucker Carlson on Fox News talked shit about me. He like put the picture of me in the box and was like, oh, the nose ring girl is super damaged and deeply angry. And I'm not gonna lie, like I hate Tucker, but you know, he's not totally wrong. And then the night that happened, are you here? Micah? But the night that happened, I was on a first date. So my phone starts blowing up in the middle of this date with the same link, like from Instagram and text and all that. So I click on it and I was like, dude, I'm so sorry, I don't know what's going on. So then we watched the video, and afterward he was like, who are you? And I was like, wait, what? No, I'm just here. This is the weirdest Thursday of my fucking life right now, you know? But low-key, I kind of wish the pro-lifers knew what I was up to that night, because I was on a date with a male stripper whose baby I would definitely abort. Yeah. And then the next day, my brother calls me, and he's like, Ceci, what the fuck? There are videos of you on YouTube that have millions of views and a shitload of comments. And I was like, yeah, I don't give a fuck about comments. These people think a 10-year-old should have a baby. Like, get fucked. But, you know, tell me a few. Okay, well, one more thing. Okay, almost done. There's the comments they said about me, okay? I am a baby killer. I am the devil. I am the new face of evil. But other people said the new face of evil is pretty cute. So not everybody's wrong. Anyway, we're going to bring up the debate. Thanks for listening. I hope I entertained you enough to get through this.
You did great. That was good. That's better than me. Yeah, she's carrying the flame. Carrying the entertainment. All right, all right.
By the way, CMC's guest. Yeah.
There he is.
All right, guys, we are going to get this debate started. Thank you for your absolute patience. You guys have been a trooper. I know we're late, but it'll be worth it. It's going to only get more intense as we go. This right here is Micah, okay, representing the left side of the aisle. This right here is Michael, representing the right side of the aisle. And they will be debating today. So I'm going to let them get to it. We're going to start it. It'll go 25 minutes. At the 25-minute mark, the debate will cut off, and then we'll be bringing the next debaters up. Sound good? Are you guys ready? All right, perfect. Let's go.
All right, thank you so much. So the prompt is Trump's economic policies are devastating the lives of normal everyday Americans. I'm Micah. I'm a law student. I want to start by asking Michael some questions about his positions, so I make sure that I'm actually talking to him, because a lot of Republicans have been pretty evasive with me today on this, and I want to have a good conversation. So to start, Michael, you voted for Trump, correct?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And if you got the choice today, you would vote for Trump over Kamala Harris, right?
Of course.
Okay. And you think that Trump's economic policies, even if you don't agree with all of them, are better than the status quo?
Name some of them.
Well, just you know the policies, right? You're a Trump supporter. Like you.
Doesn't mean you have to look at all of them.
Well, but why would you vote for somebody without supporting their economic policies?
Speak louder.
Okay. Because, see, we have this thing called the popular vote, and so a lot of people actually vote for someone based on some majority type of information. So you don't necessarily need to know everything about a person. You can vote for them based on...
Do you know his
like,
economic policies?
Name some of them.
Like, I don't know, tariffs, I don't know, getting rid of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau.
Some of the basic, like, tariff concepts I do understand, yes.
Do you support tariffs?
I think it's a great strategy to get people to negotiate on the table.
Okay. So why don't we start talking about that? You think that tariffs are a good strategy to get people to come to negotiate. Do you remember whenever Scott Bessent said 90 deals in 90 days, Trump put tariffs on every single country in the world, and he said that he's going to force them to come to the table to get trade deals? You remember that, right?
I don't.
You don't? Okay, well, that's what happened. And how many trade deals have we gotten? It's less than 10. A lot of the trade deals that we've gotten are with countries like South Korea, which we already had a free trade agreement with. I don't think that makes a lot of sense. Trump said that American companies don't pay the tariffs. Countries like China pay the tariffs. But we actually know that's absolutely not true. American companies have saw the biggest tax hike they've received in the past 30 years. I don't think that's good. Do you agree?
I mean, China has been charging an excruciating amount of tariffs to Americans for importing goods into their country.
So is that why we tariffed Switzerland, which had no tariffs on 99.5% of American goods?
The what? I beg your pardon?
We tariffed Switzerland. We tariffed not just China, we tariffed South Korea, we tariffed Israel. Not a huge fan of them, but they had a free trade agreement with us. We tariffed Chile, and Argentina, Canada, and Mexico. These are many countries which we had free trade agreements with. Can we find some agreement on saying that's not reasonable?
I think it is reasonable because for the longest time, Americans haven't been put first. And so we've been giving our money to a majority of countries, foreign countries specifically. We've been charging basically nothing to these countries. And so when you tax these countries, it increases revenue.
You think those countries pay the tariffs, not Americans?
I mean, we're paying them eventually, but they're paying them to import into this country.
Okay, so whenever you go to customs to get your good, who has to pay the tariffs? The people that export to you or the people that are going
Repeat
to customs?
that again?
So right now, I'll explain to you how tariffs work.
Okay.
Whenever you go to customs and you want to pick up the goods, the American company that imported the goods has to pay the tariff. American companies pay the tariff. There is no way, that's even indirectly, that foreign countries pay the tariffs. And so I don't see how you could say that we're taxing foreign countries when in reality American companies are being tariffed.
Okay, so that's why I said it's indirect. So when you're taxing these companies, look, there's a whole thing to this. When you're taxing a corporation to import goods, you're essentially, it's a whole domino effect. You're going to create a shortage in labor, which we all know has to do with a lot of illegals came into this country.
Wait, how does it create a shortage of labor to tariff?
Because a majority of illegals were the ones taking up our jobs.
I don't see how this is relevant to tariffs at all.
It is very relevant because when you have a shortage of labor, it forces these production companies to produce in-house. When you're having these productions outsource labor from other third world countries, you look at Apple, for example. They were creating Apple products in the Congo.
Wait, that doesn't make any sense. If you have a shortage of labor in America, then people are going to produce stuff other places. They're going to go somewhere else. If we have a shortage of labor in the United States, people are going to go somewhere else to produce stuff. And now you're talking about immigrants. Immigrants don't give us a shortage of labor. They give us a surplus of labor.
That's why we reduce the tax bracket to incentivize these corporations to hire American first.
Wait, so they didn't reduce the tax bracket. They increased taxes. Tariffs are a tax hike paid by American companies. But let's shift to some other policies of the Trump administration. Let's talk about something that you probably know about.
Okay.
The One Big Beautiful Bill. That's a bill.
No, actually, I don't know.
You don't know about that. That's the single biggest legislative accomplishment of the Trump administration.
It was so in-depth, guys. It's a hard read, okay? The education system failed me. That's why we're trying to defund
this is what I've been dealing with
the
Trump supporters all
education
day.
system.
Okay, well, I'll talk to you about it because I think a lot of Americans don't know about it. Trump ran on a lot of populist things. He said, I'm not going to cut Medicaid. I'm not going to cut SNAP. And that's one of the reasons why a lot of Americans that don't usually vote for Republicans voted for Trump, because he said he was for the little guy. But here's what he did whenever he came into office. The One Big Beautiful Bill cut Medicaid by $1 trillion. Millions of Americans are going to lose their health insurance because of this president, and he lied in his campaign.
So
he
let me
also
tell-
cut SNAP, just one more thing.
Okay.
He cut SNAP benefits by $800 billion, putting 3 million Americans at risk of losing their food benefits. I don't think it makes sense to cut the benefits that Americans relied on, especially when you promised that you were going to retain them, while you're giving huge tax cuts to
I didn't
billionaires.
promise it. Trump did. But
And
look,
you voted for him.
hold on. Well, let me.
Sure.
You're going to talk through the whole thing. Okay. This has to do a lot with illegal immigration. Okay. The reason I keep bringing this up is because these illegals were the ones getting the Medicaid services.
That's not even true. And
That is
And the
true.
Medicaid cuts
A
are
lot
for
of
Americans.
Californians-
They don't even deny
Look,
that the Medicaid
simple
cuts are
fact
for
here:
Americans.
$44 billion was contributed to illegal immigrants in California. I'm in one of the most liberal states that ever existed. We founded liberalism. So your version of liberalism
Liberalism was
could
founded
be
in Europe.
completely different than my version of liberalism. So when you want to talk about defunding the Medicaid by $1 billion or whatever you said,
$1 trillion.
$1 trillion. Yeah, that trillion was predominantly illegals.
No, you don't know that. You didn't even know what the
I
one.
do
You
know
didn't even
that.
know what was in the One Big Beautiful Bill until I just told you, and now you know that $1 trillion of cuts was all
I'm
cuts
referring to the
for
clean
illegal-
CR.
So he put
Yeah.
$1 trillion of cuts, work requirements, cutting people that are disabled, people that are not working from Medicaid, and that's harming Americans. They're not even denying. They're not even saying that this is
Okay,
about illegal
simple
immigration.
fact here, guys. Who funds Medicaid? Is it the federal government or is it the states?
It's both. The answer is both.
There you go. So for you to say that Medicaid is predominantly funded by Trump is a complete lie.
I didn't even say that. I didn't
You
even say
literally
that.
just said he cut
But
$1
actually,
trillion.
it is predominantly funded by the federal government ever since the Affordable Care Act was passed.
And let the state.
So
well, let me
you don't know
explain
what you're
about the
talking
Affordable Care Act.
Let's talk
so,
about it.
So when you have the Affordable Care Act, you're giving these corporations, you're giving the health market the money directly. When you're subsidizing a health market as opposed to giving the money directly to the person, it's closing the health market, and you're not having an open market where people can choose whatever they want.
I have a question. You oppose Obamacare, right? You oppose the Affordable Care Act. Those are the same thing.
Well, the Republicans just passed a new version of
They didn't
I guess
pass it.
yes, they did.
They didn't replace the Affordable Care Act. It's still around. We're still talking about it. The EST tax credits haven't been figured out.
I didn't
But here's
say
my
they
question.
replaced Obamacare. I'm just saying they passed another version of it.
They haven't. But
It's
do you
literally in
support
there.
the Affordable Care Act?
To an extent, I think it could be better.
It was like the main thing Obama did. So do you think Obama was good whenever he did that?
I
Or do
think
you oppose it?
Obama had so much faults that could have been better. I mean, look, my focus is on immigration. We can talk about immigration because that's basically my focus point. I think Obama did a huge disparity to the Hispanic community. When you're incentivizing illegal immigrants into coming into this country, you're basically lying to their faces and telling them to abuse people. Don't offer them union benefits, retirement, health care, all of that.
Okay.
And so when you
Undocumented immigrants are not eligible for most federal welfare programs, especially not today. They're
Yes,
not eligible
they
for SNAP.
are.
They're
In
not eligible for
California,
Medicaid.
yes, they
In
are.
California, they expanded health care to undocumented immigrants. But do you know
Correct.
why? Do you know why? Do you know why?
Because
I'm from the
they're
state-
here.
I'm
They're
from-
in
because they're illegal.
California.
I'm from the state of Texas. In the state of Texas, undocumented immigrants go to the hospital, and what happens? They get care, right? Because we have a policy in our hospitals that if you are in a medical emergency, we don't check your papers before we give you, help, right? We
No.
just help you immediately. And so we help undocumented people whenever they go to the hospital. And who pays for that health care? In the state
Us.
of Texas, yes,
And our taxpayers.
Yes.
And
so
they're
what
illegal.
happens in states like Texas is these healthcare facilities, these hospitals,
Mm-hmm.
have to be reimbursed on the back end for all the healthcare they provide to undocumented immigrants. That is the same. In red states, they give healthcare to undocumented immigrants. But here's the difference between red states and California.
Okay.
In California, they have health insurance for the undocumented, so that they go to physicians, they go to primary care doctors,
Mm-hmm.
they go get tests, so they don't always go to the hospital. Meanwhile, in states like red states, if you're an undocumented person, you only go to the hospital, which is way more expensive. We can have a discussion about immigration. That's not what this is supposed to be about.
Okay.
But the idea that California's way of handling this is somehow less reasonable than states like Texas, I just don't see how you could think.
You have
think
an
that.
open border policy when you allow half of Latin America into this country by digging a tunnel or crossing a fence.
That's just not related to what I just talked to you
Right,
about.
but that's what I'm talking about. So it affects the economy. Because
does.
now, when you have mass deportation, it incentivizes these corporations to hire American first.
Okay, let's talk about that. So you agree with mass deportations as an economic policy?
I do, but
Do you know how many people have been
obviously
deported? Do you know how many people the Trump administration is saying they deported?
It was 400,000, roughly 400,000.
They say in total self-deportations
Homeland
and
Security.
deportations, they say it's over 2 million people.
It's not. It's
But
roughly 1 million.
That's what they say because they're talking
Who
about
said?
The Homeland Security said that.
Well, the Homeland
Kristi Noem said
Security
that.
did also say that it was actually a million.
You're thinking about just ICE incarcerations and deportations. They're counting self-deportations.
I'm
2
counting
million people.
self-deportees included.
Well, it's 2 million, trust me. Like, I did my research for this thing. It's 2 million
Okay.
people.
Well,
so
we
their
can go with that.
Their claim is that it's 2 million people.
Uh-huh.
So the idea that a lot of Republicans push is that if we deport undocumented immigrants, there will be more jobs for Americans. That's something that you agree with, right?
That is correct, but it's nuanced. You can't just put a blanket thing on it and then expect it to just like be the answer. There's so much nuance to just like mass deporting a person. There's terrorism. People are coming in unannounced.
But that's one
it
of the
affects the
benefits.
economy. We have all these people working and taking American jobs, Uber drivers.
But so they're taking American jobs, right? So if we get rid of them, there should be more American jobs, right? More jobs for Americans.
There will be an increase in American jobs,
Great.
and it will incentivize corporations into paying them more.
That's great. Thank you for telling me that. That's what I was
Okay.
looking for. Because the unemployment rate has increased since Trump became president. It is now 6.
The what? The what?
The unemployment rate has increased since Trump became president. It is
Right,
now
that-
6.4% higher than when he took office.
No, it's 4%.
That's not true. We
Yes,
also
it is true. I looked it
we
up.
also see that youth unemployment has skyrocketed. Youth unemployment is at the highest level since COVID, and before that, the Great Recession. These things are happening while your mass deportations are happening.
Well, first of all, mass deportations haven't even happened because we have all these laws in place.
We said 1 million people or 2 million people were deported. That's a mass deportation.
It's
Your
not
policy-
2 million. It was 1 million.
Oh, so 1 million shouldn't have an impact? Like, I don't understand.
480,000 was self-deportees, and then the remainder was basically.
So you're making a claim, which
deportations
is
by
that
the-
these
by
people
the
are stealing our
Homeland
jobs.
Security.
If we deport them, it will give more jobs to Americans. We are deporting them at the largest level in this period of time in
We're
recent
not.
American
Obama
history.
had the biggest mass deportation, and this was a black man.
Over the course of his entire presidency.
You
I'm talking
guys
about a 1 year
favor
period.
DEI, you favor diversity, but Obama, being a black man, literally kicked out.
So do you like Obama? I thought you don't
more
like
than-
Obama. Like, I didn't even understand what we're talking
I'm just
about.
saying
But
that you can't blame Donald Trump when he hasn't even been able to do his
I'm
job.
inspecting your claim, and your claim is that if we deport people, Americans will get more jobs. We're deporting
I
people,
believe
and
so.
unemployment is up. And I don't know why you can't just acknowledge that your economic policy is not working like you claimed it would.
It's a culmination of different economic proposals, and we do know that we have Democrats in the House and in the Senate as well. So it's nuance. You can't just say, "Oh, it's Trump's bill." Like, there's so many different Republicans with different ideas, and that's why we have right now this what do you call it? We have a process to passing bills. Okay, some Republicans believe in some stuff, some don't. And
Yeah,
that's-
we're
that's
talking
just the
about your
reality.
claim is that if we deport people, Americans will get more jobs. We are deporting people in large numbers. Unemployment is going up. So, like, the predictions you're making, do you agree that if you make a prediction that your policy is going to do something, and then it doesn't do that, it actually does the opposite,
Well, let me.
that would suggest other.
Okay,
that would suggest
I'm
that
glad
that was
that you're
wrong.
saying about the economy. So, what economists don't decipher here is when you report who's leaving the workforce, they're not telling you that it's the illegals as well as the ones with status.
We're talking
They're
about
not
the
telling you
unemployment
that.
rate. We're not talking about the
The
total
unemployment
level.
rate only
It's
takes
based
into
on the-
account all workers. It
That's
doesn't
not
tell
true.
you which ones are
That's
the
not true.
illegals and which
That's
ones
not
are
true.
the ones that
the
have the
unemployment
status.
rate is determined by looking at the number of active job seekers, which doesn't
Correct.
include people that were
But
deported.
Micah, did you just hear what I said? I said that the economists, when they make those reportings, they're not telling you who's illegal and who has status and who doesn't. They're accounting for everyone. So those mass deportations that you're claiming was 2 million, part of the reason why unemployment went up was because of that
That
reason.
doesn't make any sense because those people aren't counted in the labor force.
They are
active
count- I
labor
said they're
seekers are the
counted.
people that are counted. Do you know? Do you even know? Like, I'm an econ major. I know how unemployment is calculated. You don't need to explain this to me.
Okay.
You don't. Like, they look at active job seekers, and often unemployed people, undocumented people are not even counted towards the unemployment rate because
They
we don't
are
even know that
accounted
they're
for
job
it.
seeking.
That is true.
How do the economists know where they are?
Dude, you
They're
can
getting
literally
money under
Google
the
it.
table.
Literally Google it. It'll tell you right
Okay,
there.
I'll ask ChatGPT.
No, actually, ChatGPT is really shitty.
Okay,
so
Gemini.
You should
I'll
do
ask Gemini.
Yeah, you should.
That's good research.
Uh-huh.
Is there any economic policies of the Trump administration that you are actually prepared enough to defend? A single one, any one that you want.
I mean, it's a hard read. I'm not gonna lie.
It's hard, right?
Yeah.
It's hard because almost every single major economic variable has gotten worse since he became president. He said we were in a golden age.
We
He
haven't
said
even finished the
economy
first
is
fiscal
A
year.
plus,
We
plus,
haven't even
plus,
finished the first
plus.
fiscal year.
Oh, okay. Did he say that he's going to end inflation 2 years from now or on day one?
Actually, they made an announcement on the news the other day.
That's not an answer.
Well, it is. I'm gonna tell you what it is.
Okay, go ahead.
The inflation has actually slowed down for the first time in many years.
Oh, that's interesting.
This first month, actually, in California, they announced it.
That's
which
really
is
interesting.
really good.
Tell me this: did tariff goods increase in prices or did they decrease in prices?
I haven't seen my can of soup or any of that stuff increase. So
literally
for you
every
to say,
single product in the grocery store is more expensive than
No,
it was
it's
before,
not. It's the
except for
same.
eggs. Except for eggs,
I'm
looking
paying
at
the
statistics.
same price as
eggs
I've
are down
seen
by
in the
40
last
cents.
year.
Literally everything else is up. Orange juice up 17%. Beef up more than 5%. Bread up more than 5%. I know these figures, and so we look at.
I go shopping at a grocery store. Do you?
Okay. Yes, I do go shop.
Okay.
I go shopping at Walmart. I don't know.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. It's unfortunate.
Walmart's a little unpredictable.
I'm trying to unfold things because Trump cut student loans, which is making things difficult for people like me. And I want to talk to you about this. You're a student, right?
I am a student.
Okay. Do you know what he's done to graduate student loans?
Tell me.
Okay.
Since you know.
So I think a lot of people don't know about this, but people at my law school have felt this directly. I'm a law student. The tuition at my school is $86,000 a year. That is really expensive, and we need to do something about that. But Trump did
but
something.
law school isn't covered by FAFSA.
Law school is covered by Graduate Plus loans.
By loans, yes, but
it's
you're
covered by
paying for
government.
it.
It's governed by.
Right, but you're paying out of pocket for it essentially.
No, we're paying
On
with
credit.
loans, with
On
federal
credit.
loans.
Right.
But let me explain to you how this works.
Uh-huh.
Most people that don't get a huge scholarship, I've got a scholarship, so I'm very lucky. They have to borrow loans from the government, which are pretty low interest, and they pay that back over years and years and years and years.
Right, which is
Trump,
what you're gonna do for the next 40.
What?
Right?
Well, no,
'Cause you took out
I have a
loan.
big scholarship, so I'm chilling. But a lot of my friends.
Okay.
Trump, in the one big beautiful bill, what did he do? He cut student loans and capped them at $50,000. So now a lot of my friends that are coming into law school have to borrow predatory private loans. This is what we had decades ago that have a 6 or 7 or 8% interest rate, not to just cover half a tuition, but also their cost of living. And so these people are indentured servants. What was the reason? What was his
Are you
reasoning for
saying
this?
you're an indentured servant?
No, I said I have a scholarship, and we're talking about people that have high interest private loans.
Uh-huh.
That's bad, right? Trump put them in that position. What was his justification? His justification was that we don't have the money to continue providing the student loans that we provided for decades. And I think that's weird because we just gave $40 billion to Argentina. We just gave $7.8 billion to Israel. Why do we always have money for billionaires, corporations, foreign countries, the allies of Trump? He's trying to do a new farm bill, tens of billions of dollars, but we don't have enough money just to keep Americans on the benefits that they rely on. Doesn't that outrage you?
So you're pointing Trump, but like your prior president gave thousands of
Why
dollars.
are we talking about Biden?
Because that's who you voted for, right?
I didn't vote for Biden in this last election.
Are you okay? No,
I wasn't
but
even
the
old
one
enough to
before
vote
that.
for Biden.
You're scurrying away from what I'm telling you, Micah. You're Democratic, yes?
I prefer the Democrats to the Republicans.
Okay, so you voted for Joe Biden.
I did not because I was not old enough to vote.
Okay, but you would have. Yes or no?
I would have voted for Trump for Biden over
Okay,
Trump.
he would have voted for Trump. He just said it.
Yeah, so true.
If you thought Biden was good, then you should also look into the fact that he had a whole bunch of money laundering schemes circulating with the Biden laptop and all these different things.
I know that you want to talk
He
about Biden
received
because you can't defend Trump.
$5,000.
Like I'm talking about a policy under Trump, who's our president right now.
Okay.
Can we just agree that it was bad?
Uh-huh.
We can talk about Biden all day later.
I don't think Trump is bad because I do believe that he's putting Americans first for the first time.
Can you defend the policy that I just explained to you?
No, because I literally told you that I focus on immigration. So
You knew about this prompt for days. I mean, okay, let's talk about immigration. You support ICE.
I do.
Okay. Do you know that ICE has arrested and detained brutally U.S. citizens?
I mean, he detained this gay salon stylist person.
That's just one of them. He detained a military veteran.
Yeah, but you know, like all these people, you have to cut a problem that Kamala Harris created for the past 4 years.
You did not just say Kamala. That's crazy.
She is a scam. She's a scam. When you bring in a bunch of people into our country, unannounced, some of them were terrorists and pretending to be Mexicans. You create a huge problem in our country, in our economy. And this was all because of the woman that everybody wanted.
Guys, that is time. We're going to put the mics down. This was Michael representing the Trumper Republicans, and this was Micah representing the left Democrats. Thank you. Awesome. Pleasure to meet you. All right, we're going to be getting on to our next debate. This debate is going to be, are you guys ready? You guys all ready? We have a habit of conservatives running. The first conservative was very late. The second conservative has gone to the bathroom. We're not sure where he's gone since. Okay, all right, get ready for our next debate. Again, this is going to be about 20 minutes. And then afterwards, we're gonna put mics down. On the left, we have Andrew. He'll be representing the left. And then we have Riley, who is representing the right. So I'm going to let you guys take it away.
Go ahead and tell them what the topic is.
Yeah, so the topic is going to be whether or not birth control should be banned.
Really quickly. I'm so sorry to interrupt. Make sure you guys, we've had volume. Hold this to your mouth. Yeah.
Gotcha.
All right. Okay. Loud as possible.
All right, give it to him.
All right, so the debate topic is going to be whether or not we should ban birth control in America. And my stance is that we should ban birth control pills and IUDs in the United States of America. That is in the best interest of the American people, and it is the most moral option for women to do.
All right, when you say you want to ban birth control, are you talking about across the board, all of it? We're talking pills, we're talking hormonal birth control, we're talking IUDs, the whole lot?
Yeah, I'm talking about everything except condoms.
Everything except condoms, okay. Why?
Well, I am staunchly pro-life, and I guess we're going to delve into that a little bit. But birth control pills, IUDs, a lot of people don't know this, but they actually prevent implantation. And as a Christian and as a person who can think logically, I believe that life begins at conception. And so birth control pills and IUDs will prevent implantation, which is about 5 days in. Henceforth, it is an abortion.
Would you say you place the same moral value on a 2-cell zygote as you do on yourself, Mercedes,
Yes.
myself?
Yes.
The same? They're exactly
Yes.
weighted the same? Okay. We don't think about anything like this, but let me test your logic, test your consistency.
Yeah.
If you had a dog, and the dog got loose, and it went and attacked a random person living their life, walking down the street, and it got gnarly and it killed that person,
Yeah.
we would put the dog down.
Yes.
Inherently, we value human life more than we value animal life.
Yeah.
If that same dog got loose and wandered into a laboratory where they're growing zygotes and ate one off the table, you putting the dog down?
What was that?
If that same dog got loose and wandered into a lab where scientists were growing zygotes and ate one off the table, are you going to put the dog down?
I mean, first of all, this is a situation which wouldn't exactly happen. And also, I'm against IVF as well. I think IVF should be banned. So I don't think this scenario should even be happening in America. So I don't think we should put the dog down. I think we should put the scientists who are performing IVF, I think we should put those scientists down
Oh, yeah?
instead of the dog.
That was a non-answer, by the way.
Okay, yeah. Well, I mean, it is going to be equivalent in the loss of life. Now, should we put the dog down? Well, that's different. If you accidentally kill someone, right, the dog isn't going to knock over a shelf and know that they're killing a zygote, right? But the dog somewhat knows that they're aggressive and they're killing a fully grown human being.
Yeah, we don't
Right.
evaluate, when we're looking at like animal attacks, we don't evaluate the the like internal thought process of the animal like we do with humans. We don't look to intention because we can't even fathom the conscious experience
the
of a
dog wasn't exactly aggressive though. The dog knocked something over.
It's not about aggressiveness. It's about threat to life. That dog has demonstrated in the first instance where it's attacking a human being. The dog's demonstrating I'm a threat to humans, and so the dog has to go.
But the dog doesn't show a higher chance of harming future zygotes if they accidentally knock over a shelf. While they do show a higher chance of biting more people and killing more people, like mauling a grown man to death, because they've done it before. If they knock over a shelf accidentally, that doesn't mean they're going to knock over a shelf
Preventing
again.
that dog from attacking a fully grown human being is just as easy as preventing it from attacking you just don't let it back in the lab, or you take steps to make sure that can't happen again.
Yes.
If a dog attacks and kills a human being, you put them in a cage for the rest of their life. What do you think jails are?
I think jail's for black people. But
yeah, okay, that's not the topic. All right,
Yeah, I know.
we could throw that dog. We could throw that same dog into a cage for the rest of its life, and we could prevent it.
Yeah.
It will never attack another human being again. The question, when we look to like something like an animal attack, because we can't evaluate a dog's consciousness, the question is, are you a threat? Have you shown yourself to be a threat to humans? And in this case, if you truly believe in your soul that a 2-cell zygote is the same morally as a fully grown human, you've done the same thing in both cases.
okay, well, I want to bring up
that
a little
dog's
bit of
got to go, right?
Yeah, I'm going to bring up a little bit of an analogy here, right? So, do you value a baby's life just as much as your life? Like a newborn baby?
Do I value a baby's life as
Yes.
much as me?
A baby, yes.
No.
You don't. You don't value baby as much as your own life.
No.
So you would choose that you would live over a baby. If you're on the
Yeah.
Titanic and it's sinking, you would choose a spot on that lifeboat
No,
instead
that's
of
not
the baby.
those are not the same thing. I have more like value for my own life because I know what it's like to be me. I can fathom my own consciousness. I don't know what it's like to be another being.
You don't think that baby's life is equivalent to your own life?
No, they're definitely equivalent, but you asked me if I value it. They're morally equivalent, absolutely.
Yes.
They're more.
Okay,
They're
why is the baby
morally
morally equivalent to you if the baby's a lot
because
dumber?
we're both human beings.
What gives life value? What makes it
the
valuable?
human conscious experience.
The human conscious experience. Does a baby have a human conscious experience, and how do we
Yes.
know that? It does. Are you sure?
Yes.
I don't think they do.
You don't think they do?
I mean, there's no way to exactly test this, right? Just kind of goes off
Do they
the
have the
logic.
brain parts necessary to form a conscious experience?
Okay, well, I mean, if you want to call it consciousness, just kind of operating their brain. Is a pig smarter than a baby?
A pig is definitely smarter than a baby.
Pig is definitely smarter than a baby. Do you eat pork?
Yes, I eat pork.
Why are you fine with killing pigs but not with killing babies if the pig is more conscious
because
than
I
the baby?
value a human conscious experience.
Why do you value a human?
Because I know what it's like to be a human. I can't fathom what it's like to be
So
an
you
animal.
know that one day that baby is going to grow up and have a conscious experience just like your own.
Not just like my own, but it's going to have a similar.
Yeah,
it's
it's
going
a
to
very
have some
similar
similarity.
conscious
Yes.
experience. But doesn't that same logic apply to a fetus of any stage of development?
No.
From conception up to
Before
birth? Why
no,
not?
before a fetus has the brain parts necessary to even form that conscious experience, there's nothing to speak of yet. There is no person yet. There's nothing happening yet.
Same thing with a baby. There is no personality of a baby yet.
Do you think personality and consciousness are the same thing?
I do not.
What?
But so consciousness would be so like early consciousness would have a lack of personality. But I want to go back to a point though that you're fine with killing pigs but not with killing babies because the baby will one day grow up to be an intelligent human being.
No,
right?
a baby won't grow. I could not possibly care less about the intelligence of the baby or the intelligence of the pig. It's having a human conscious experience. That's what I value, the human experience.
Okay, yes,
Intelligence is a completely. If I knew for a fact that someone was going to grow up to have like a 45 IQ, I'm not going to just blast them right then and there. I don't care about the
Yeah.
intelligence part at all.
But it's a human conscious experience.
Yeah.
But a baby does not have that same human conscious experience when they're
What
a
do you
newborn.
think a conscious? What do you think of what I'm referring to when I say consciousness?
Consciousness, I would say intelligence to know. Let's think.
You're already off basis. If you're
Yeah, I know.
trying to invoke or if you're trying to like signal to intelligence at all, you're already off base. Intelligence
know.
is wholly irrelevant in this case.
Consciousness would be the ability to know that you are here exactly. Like if you not having consciousness would just be living in the life, operating like a mouse or something, get food, have sex, reproduce or something. Consciousness would be being able to know that you are in this role. It's kind of hard to explain consciousness. There's a lot of different definitions, right? So it's going to be very difficult. But
There's if we delve into deep into a philosophy, there's going to be infinite definitions.
I think we have a very similar
The
definition.
fundamental question here is, does a thing have the ability to have a human conscious experience, or does it not?
Yes, a fetus does. It has the ability to have a human conscious
At a
experience.
certain point,
at a certain point, just like a baby.
and at a certain point, and that's the line right
a
there.
newborn baby does not currently have a human conscious experience that you value, right?
A newborn baby has a human. It already has it. It's done. It's already there.
Okay, well, what's the evidence for that? I guess what is the claim there? You can't ask a baby if they're conscious, and you can't ask a zygote if they're conscious. So I could apply that same logic to that a fetus is conscious, just as much as the baby is.
So the bullet you're gonna bite, to be clear, I just want to lay this. The bullet you're gonna bite is that a newborn baby isn't having a conscious experience.
Yes.
It has no consciousness.
To a major extent, yeah, not to the extent that we do, yes.
And you think that because you think that I'm defining consciousness as, or you think that we conceptualize consciousness as intelligence or ability to understand things.
I think it's the ability to understand that you are in this world and to like look at yourself from an outside
Let me ask you,
perspective.
do you believe that a baby can see? Can it see its surroundings?
I mean, they're usually like a little bit blind at first for the first week or
Sure.
two, and eventually they open their eyes.
A
What do you
little
mean?
bit blind.
See their
implying
surroundings.
that it can
Yeah,
see
I mean,
something.
not blind.
Can it see?
Their eyes
Can
are
it hear?
closed.
Can it perceive things?
Yeah, exactly.
How could it perceive things if it's not conscious? Consciousness is a prerequisite to be able to like
How could it
fathom perceptions.
Well, a pig can perceive things. A pig can see. A pig can hear.
I didn't say a pig is not having some conscious experience. I said it's not having a human conscious experience.
But what
A
if
pig is definitely having a conscious experience, but it's having
if you were to
it's
look at
having
a
a
baby
pig
in of
conscious
itself-
experience that I don't care about.
If you were to look at a baby in of itself, a pig is going to be a lot more conscious than a baby. It's going to know a lot more about its surroundings.
I'm not measuring degrees of consciousness. I'm measuring, do you have a human conscious experience or do you not? Are you a human being that is capable of perceiving?
But do you think
That's
a
the
pig
line.
has a greater conscious experience than a baby?
How would we measure the conscious experience between two different
I
species?
mean, it's a very difficult
What's
subject.
it like? Let me ask you, what is it like to perceive the world through sonar?
Through sonar.
Yeah, through
I
it.
mean,
Like, what if your eyes were removed from your head, you couldn't see anymore, and all your perception was based on sonar? What's that like?
I mean,
Describe
I would
that
be
to me.
listening for frequency
Let's
sounds
describe
back
it to me. What is it like?
I mean, I can't exactly tell you.
I know
It's very
you can't
difficult to
describe
do.
it. That's the entire point.
I mean,
that's
I
why
can
you
think
can't
about how it
compare between
works.
species. We can't even begin. We can't even take step
Yeah.
one into fathoming the consciousness of
But
another
also,
being.
consciousness is very questionable between zygotes, babies, whatever.
It is
you wanna
very,
call
it is very,
fetuses, right?
it's very
But-
questionable. There's a lot of thought on this, but the line,
Yes.
there's one pretty clear line. Can you have one or can you not have one? That's the line.
Can you not have what?
A conscious experience at all. If you don't have the brain parts necessary to even do it, if you can't even get to step one, then I know you don't have a conscious experience.
A baby doesn't
If the
exactly have
brain's
that
not
strong
even
of a conscious experience. I mean, we could go back
I'm
and
not-
forth on this for a while.
We could go back
But-
and forth on this because you keep trying to appeal to like the strength of it. Like, are you having a stronger conscious experience than some other being? But it's not a scale here. It's a binary. It's 0 or 1.
You're saying human or pig,
No, I'd say conscious or not.
conscious or not.
Is,
Well, do you
is your
think a
brain
pig is-
formed
do you
enough
think a-
such that you could have one?
Do you think a pig is more conscious than a baby?
It's not a scale. It's not.
So you're saying it's different, pig consciousness versus human consciousness.
Yes, it's very different.
Okay.
You know why I know it's very different?
What?
I can tell you what it's like to be a human being.
But can you tell me what it's like to be a human baby? Do you remember? Were you
No, I
conscious
don't
enough?
remember what
You
it's
don't
like
have
to be a
any
human baby. If I could speak at the time, if I could form words and tell you, I would have loved to have told you, but couldn't do it.
Okay.
But again, you're measuring intelligence. I'm not.
Yeah, okay. I mean, let me bring
Like,
up another thing, right?
If you hold on, I gotta ask one more clarifier.
Yeah.
If just just having this conversation, hearing the way you like are trying to tackle the consciousness, do you think like there should be like an intelligence limit on human beings? Like if we can't measure your IQ over a certain number, we just execute you?
No.
You're placing a lot of importance on that
I
intelligence
said
part.
the word intelligence one time, and you kept on using that as my definition for consciousness,
I think
even
you
though
said
I corrected
intelligence quite a
myself
few
right
times.
after. But also, I wanted to bring up something. If you saw in the newspaper that a 35-year-old man died in a car crash, you wouldn't give a crap most likely. Like, to be honest, I wouldn't really care too much unless I knew the man. If you saw that a 1-year-old baby died in a car crash, you'd be a little bit sad. You're like, dang, it had its whole life ahead of it, right?
No.
Really?
It's the same reaction both times.
It's the same.
Yeah. Why would it not be the same?
Okay, old man dies in a nursing home. I'll just bring it to another extreme. Old man dies in a nursing home. Baby dies in a car crash. What's sadder?
What's sadder?
Yeah, well, like, what is sadder
Well,
for
we're-
you? What is, like, the greater
It's
moral
probably going
loss?
to be the baby, but it's not sadder because they're morally or inequivalent. That has nothing to do. The like moral equivalency between these two beings is the same in my mind. The sadness is there's some intuitive thing that's happening inside of inside of a human being.
Outside of looking outside of like our baby fever and like, oh no, a baby died, and like looking at a dead baby.
Yeah,
I'm talking about like,
that's where the sadness comes
Don't
from.
you
It's that
think that it's
intuitive
a-
feeling of like, not a baby. There's sweet little innocent thing can't defend itself and it dies for no reason.
don't you think it's a greater moral loss for a baby to lose 85 years of life that it had ahead of it instead of an old man that died who was 85 years old already? Isn't that a greater moral loss?
There is a greater moral loss. No.
No.
Those two beings are morally equivalent creatures. I don't have. There's no. It's not a greater
But-
moral
but
loss.
what's the larger
It's
moral
more
loss,
when
though?
you're appealing to, like I think what you're trying to get at is like just does it make you innately sadder.
I mean,
and it does
like,
make you innately
my
sadder.
whole thing, right, with me being pro-life, a lot of pro-life people will say, oh, it has a heartbeat, it can feel pain. That's retarded because the chicken can feel pain and chicken has a heartbeat.
Yep.
The main reason I'm pro-life, and pretty much the only reason, is because a fetus has an entire life ahead of it. That is why I'm extremely pro-life. But I mean, we're just going to go back and forth a bit. But also I want to talk about with birth control, there's terrible side effects. Birth control turns a lot of young women gay and retarded. Like, it's actually ridiculous.
Yeah.
That birth control is the reason why divorce rates are so high nowadays.
Do you think that there's any positives to birth control?
I don't think there's any positives to birth. I mean, yeah, you could say, oh, some woman has a disease that acts up when her hormones are high. But as a, it is not a net positive. It is a net negative.
What about economically?
What?
What about economically?
Economic, that's what you're worried about? What?
No, it's not what I'm worried about. I'm trying to see if you'll grant one good thing.
No, I don't think so. Maybe in the short term, yes. Long term, no.
There's a long-term economic down, like
There's a short-term
drawback.
gain. There's a short-term economic gain from birth control, but long-term, it's a terrible mistake.
So you don't find it to be a good thing that birth control would allow, that the existence of birth control would allow a woman to choose to delay having a family later in life and choose
No,
to go for a
I
career or go to college and get more educated.
Go to college and get more educated for what? A job?
Yep.
Bro. Bro, women working in the workplace and taking birth control and delaying their families is the reason why the United States has a birth rate of less than 2. We are below replacement levels.
Is your objection to birth control based on killing a baby, or is it based on you hate women? I don't know.
Well, it's also just like a logistical issue of the United States birth rate is below 2 births per woman, and women make up half the population. That's a replacement rate of less than 1. So with birth control, a big thing about it is that when a woman gets on birth control, it changes her hormones, and it obviously that's like the whole point. It changes what type of man that she finds attractive. So a lot of young women will get on birth control when they're in high school or something. They'll meet some guy who's like 5'8", he's a software dev or whatever in San Diego, and he's like, oh, he's so cute and fluffy, and they'll marry him. And then they'll get off birth control when they're 30 years old to finally have kids with this guy. And then when their hormone levels go back to their natural levels, they're going to find that 6'2" black Tyrone from high school attractive again. Then they're going to cheat on their husband. They're going to get a divorce. That's why the majority of divorces are initiated by women. It's because they're on birth control because they're gay and retarded.
The thing that the entire scenario you just laid out, what was the moral wrong that occurred there?
Moral wrong with what?
In the scenario you laid out, what was the moral wrong that happened there?
Well, I mean, it's a moral wrong because it causes divorce, and divorce is just invalid in the first place. You can't exactly get a divorce. No-fault divorce is actually non-existent because you're still married to someone.
The divorce was the moral wrong? Like, that was the bad thing in that scenario?
Well, also, I'm just saying it's a huge logistical issue because we're dropping in birth rates. This is like from a...
Is the solution to dropping in birth rates, like, your whole argument for like, oh, let's get rid of birth control so women can't delay having kids so they have more kids so we fix the birth rate. So the solution to declining birth rates is just to force women into having more kids, or what?
I'm under the staunch belief that women should get married at like 18 or 19 years old and pop out like 5 or 6 kids on average. We live in such a great society, and also when women have kids when they're like older in their 30s and their 40s, a lot of them turn out retarded.
What you just like described, aren't you allowed to do that here?
Allowed to what?
Leave high school, be 18 or 19, get married instantly, have 5 kids. Like, isn't that a thing you can do here?
In America?
In America, yeah.
That's what I want my daughters to do.
Yeah, you can do that, right?
I'm going to try to set them up with dates on the guys who are like in their early 20s or something.
But that's a thing you can choose to do if you want to. You can totally, yeah. There's nothing stopping you.
Well, yeah, people can choose to do that, but I'm talking about if it's a net good for America. Or if it's a net positive for America.
It might be a net positive for America for any wide variety of things to happen. That's not the question we're asking. Is it a thing you can choose to do?
Wait, how is it a positive thing for America for the birth rate to be below 2 births per woman?
How is it a positive thing?
How is it a positive thing? Yeah.
Did I say that?
You just said that birth control is a net positive.
I said birth control is a net positive, but I'm not tying that to the birth rates in any way. I'm not saying
that's what birth
I'm not saying
control
it's a good thing for the birth rates to be low. When we're like thinking of population stuff, I'm trying to think of where I want to go because I know where exactly where it's going to end up, and this is not
I'm talking
supposed
about like population pyramids.
This is supposed to be about immigration, but there are other ways to increase a society's population if it's collapsing.
Like
you can bring in more people
into America.
Yeah, because I know we're going to go straight to the Groper stuff immediately.
That's what the Jews want, right? They want to lower the white birth rates, lower the white Asian birth rates.
Why would that necessarily entail lowering white birth rates at all? Why would that necessarily entail like bringing in more people from other countries? Why would that entail getting rid of white people? Why there's the same thing in your eyes?
I actually can't hear you.
I know you can't.
No, I can't.
Why?
I can't.
Why would bringing in people from other countries to supplement the population be necessarily mean getting rid of white people? Why are those the same thing in your mind?
Like that is getting rid of white people?
Yes. Why are those the same?
Because
when
white people,
when I say
if
we
they
can
have less than
supplement by
2
bringing
kids
other
per
people,
woman, the population will go down. Right? And then if you bring in a bunch of black and brown people,
of
they're
people
going to
that
have
are
more
already American. Yeah, what I'm asking you is why are you making the connection in your mind that bringing in immigrants to supplement the birth rate and lowering the white population are the same thing?
Well, they're not exactly the same thing, but they're
Is
tied
America
together.
the only country on planet Earth with white people?
No, it's not. But look at Europe. You have a bunch of Muslims in France and the United Kingdom. It's going to shit because the Muslims are retarded and sexually violent.
Is America the United Kingdom?
No, it's not.
This is a thing. This is a thing that I don't know why you guys always do this.
You just mentioned Europe, so that's why I mentioned Europe. Europe is going to shit too. The Jews are trying to replace the whites in Europe with a bunch of black and brown people who are retarded and sexually violent.
Honest, bro, if the Jews are as smart as you think they are, maybe they should run the world. Maybe they've earned it. If they're smart if they're smart as you seem to think they are.
Yeah, but the religion of Judaism is extremely evil from the based off of the Talmud, right? So when I say Judaism, I'm talking about the modern Judaism, not the Judaism of Christ, to be specific, right?
That's fine.
I'm talking about the Talmud, right? They say Gentiles are animals, that even the best of us should be killed. And it's very obvious that Jews are pushing this, or pushing sexual degeneracy on the American people ever since the 60s and 70s. The CEO of almost every major porn company is Jewish.
Yes, the Jews are mind controlling women to take birth control. We get it.
What?
I said we get it. The Jews are mind controlling women to taking birth control. That's fine.
Yep. Yeah,
they're making them gay and
there's this thing
retarded,
my
yep.
friend made up here is that Jews don't like to push all this degeneracy on themselves because, they want to keep their populations high. But my friend said something really funny. She said, faggotry for thee, but not for me. So it's saying that they're trying to turn us gay, lower our birth rates. Everything that's being pushed, feminism, birth control, LGBTQ movement, abortion, is being pushed by Jewish people.
We gotta not obfuscate on fucking Jew shit right now. Okay.
No Jewish discussion.
Go back to birth control.
Okay. Well, I mean, the Jews are the one pushing birth control in the first place. Well, we got to look at the source of it, where it's coming from, and that's why they're doing it.
Okay, you can continue to live in your fantasy. I'm gonna say it again. If they're as smart as you think they are, they should rule us. Okay, they're better. They're more intelligent in every way. That seems to be what you care about, right? You care so much about intelligence. If they're that smart.
Yeah, I mean, it is a big thing, right? And they're trying to replace us with all these black and brown people because they're a lot easier to control. Black and brown people, it's super easy to control them compared to white people or like lighter skinned Asians. It's super easy to control them. So that's why they want them to fill up America, want them to fill up Western Europe. They're a lot easier to control. And then eventually they'll probably kill them off too, but I don't know what these evil Jews are up to nowadays.
Okay.
So, yeah.
We're going back to birth control. We're doing it for the rest of this, okay?
Yeah,
all right. I know you don't want to.
Let's wrap up
talk about Jews? Yeah. Quickly. Do you actually, truly, legitimately find that a zygote and a full-grown person is the same in your mind, morally?
I believe they are morally the same.
And a big part of your logic for that is that killing or you think they're morally the same, and then that necessarily leads you to, if you kill a zygote in your body during pregnancy in your mind. I know you can't hear me. They're so fucking loud.
Alright, hand me your microphone.
Cancer.
Yep.
Good boy. Okay, guys, I know mother. I know I'm gay, but I swear my mom did not take birth control. Okay.
And retarded.
I'll claim it. We're claiming that back. Liberals are claiming that back. This right here is our Republican opposition, Riley. That's her name, right? Okay. And this right here is our liberal opposition, Andrew. Woo! Good debate, guys.
That wasn't.
You did great.
Thank you.
All right, guys. For the next debate, let me just pull up my roster here. We have, on the Democrat side, Staxiums, and he will be debating on the Republican side, Kai. Right there. He's getting up. He's a grandpa.
How's it going? This is the
good.
right side.
I need more.
We should swap.
Okay, yeah, let's do it.
This is left wing,
No,
right
this
wing.
is good. This is
that
good.
only
This is
makes
good.
sense, right? Oh, it's left for you guys. That's true.
We're off
I
to a
only see
great
things from
start.
my eyes. That's
2
true.
+ 2 = 4.
I need a new suit. I was 20 pounds lighter before the mission, but what's going on? Hey.
How's it going? Do we want to? So yeah, it's about left wing violence versus right wing violence.
Yes. I want to say, what an anti-Semitic debate that last one
Yeah, that was
was.
fucked.
That was crazy.
If you start blaming the Jews, I'm leaving. By the way, like that's fucked. That was fucked. But yeah, I do want to start out the debate. I just want to throw out a number real quick. It was kind of crazy. I was doing a lot of prep for the debate, and one of the numbers that came up the most was, or that interested me the most, was that 4% of Americans are encourage violence or are okay with political violence. But if you ask Democrats, they think that 40% of Republicans think that. And if you ask Republicans, they think 40% of Democrats think that. So I do think it's notable that, like, honestly, in this crowd, we're all fucking cool with debate. We want to have conversations. We don't want to lead to any sort of violence or anything like that. And I think that that's a little bit bipartisan. So I just want to be like, I want to appreciate that most people don't think this shit. But we are talking about violence here. Yeah. You want to start?
Yeah, well, I'll do kind of my opening statement. I do want to thank you. You know, you shook my hand. Most of the people here have, whether they're here for me or for you or whatever. I really appreciate that. It is nice, and I'm seeing people that I, came up with on political TikTok. And, unfortunately, Soypill was not willing to shake my hand, and I don't think that does anything to improve the political relations of anybody here. But I will say you're obviously familiar with the same statistics, and I'm sure we'll get into the statistics in this, body of research. They suck. All of the, there's a ton of methodological flaws, both on the right and the left, when trying to kind of figure out what the perspectives are about violence. And so I think it's actually important to look at trends. But I will say, because you've seen the same data, that there is this kind of gradient that exists regarding very progressive people and the way that they feel concerning, and this is the particular language, right, of some of these studies, punching Nazis. I think that's where the conversation has to take place. It's about the language we use.
That's fine. I'm happy to. So I will say, and I hope that you'll concede it, the vast majority of studies do say that, like, the ratio between left to right wing violence is about 10-1.
So
we can skip the studies as long as you can see that's what the studies say, and then we can go to rhetoric. I'm fine with that.
I'm gonna frame, like, I'm almost willing to concede it, but it's like 10 of my friends say that they agree with me. It's like you have to look at every single one of these studies. I don't want to bore the audience, but there are studies that are absolutely flawed in their methodology. There's studies that include domestic violence committed by people who at one time had right-wing associations. Many of these studies don't even include property destruction. They don't include the burning of Teslas around the country. Every single one of these studies has methodological flaws or is working with a sample size that has been cooked too small to be statistically significant.
So wait, hold on. To be clear, I want to take that step by step. First off, a sample size doesn't include in this because we're not polling people. We're looking at lethalities, which you don't need a sample size for. We're just looking at which specific incidences there were. And wait, hold on real quick.
Okay.
I do agree that the stats that I'm using are ignoring things like arson and property damage. I concede that for sure. But I think when it comes to actual murders, which I think is what we're talking about here when we're talking about violence, right-wing...
I disagree with your frame.
Okay, well then here's what I'll say. I'll concede that left-wing people tend to burn more buildings, but right-wing people tend to murder people, and that to me feels more egregious. And if we want to have conversations about burning down buildings, we shouldn't be doing that. I agree with that. But I would so much rather rather be talking to a left-wing person who burns down a building than a right-wing person who thinks it's okay to murder people.
Yeah, well, I think, again, this goes to the way that we're assembling this data. Obviously, we know that there are left-wing people who are okay with murdering people, or at the very least are okay dismissing or tolerating it. And the use of the language, and I get this a lot because I'm LDS, right? The typical retort is like, oh, it was really sad what happened in Grand Blanche, Michigan, but we should remember that Mormons aren't Christians. This is what the left does with political violence, like around Charlie Kirk. This is what happened. Well, it's really bad that it happened, but what that is an effort to strip you of your human empathy. And if I'm not in a support of red flag laws, but if you want to talk about something that is a red flag, it is a lack of empathy for suffering and loss. I'm not here to police everybody and say you can't make jokes about Charlie Kirk. I've made jokes about Charlie Kirk. I sing the song, You've All Got the Lighters, which suspiciously has 2 lightning bolts on it. I don't know what the dog whistle was there. I thought this was a left-wing event. But I do believe that there is more desensitization or tolerance of violence. Like, look even back to Richard Spencer. How many people do you know that condemned the punching of Richard Spencer? That's a clip.
Hold on. First off.
Yeah.
We should be really, really careful about what's, because I would love to talk about rhetoric.
Yes.
I do think every incident that you're looking at are losers online and not political candidates. Not the people.
Why does that matter?
Why does that matter?
Which political candidate
hold on.
committed the murders?
Which political candidate endorses or doesn't condemn the murders?
Donald,
That's what I'm interested in. Hold on, wait.
Which one doesn't? Which one doesn't?
Can I say that? Can I say this?
Yes, which one doesn't?
Wait, neither of them do. Which political candidate murdered people? Obviously none.
No. I'm not talking about the murders now. Which one condemns it?
Which one condemns it?
Which political candidate is condemning the violence? Like which right wing to frame it?
Democratic lawmaker, but not Donald Trump. That's my point.
That's incorrect.
Hold on.
That's
hold
incorrect.
on. I'm going to give some examples. Okay. So first off, Cesar Sayoc. I don't know if you guys know who this is. He was a Trump supporter in 2017 who mailed 16 pipe bombs to his supporters. And when asked about it, Donald Trump said, "There's no blame. I don't blame myself. I don't blame anyone else." And to me, I find that abhorrent. I don't think that that's okay for our lawmakers to be making statements like that. Now, you will point to people who are maybe even in this audience, maybe people that we know, who are endorsing or making light of Charlie's murder, but you won't find that from Democratic lawmakers, but I will find that from the President of the United States, and I think that difference is pretty stark.
So I think it's interesting, but with the case of the President of the United States, if we're both going to address the arguments that neither has made, which I think is okay, it shows that we're both thinking about each other's arguments, and I like that. The President of the United States, in the thing that is often referenced by leftists to be the most violent case of right-wing extremism in recent history, the January 6th protests, the President, not a week later, is coming out saying that it was abhorrent, that he condemns it outright, that violence had no place in public policy. And look, there were pardons. There were presidential pardons.
Towards those violent extremists.
You're correct.
Towards 600, hold on. 600 people who were convicted of assault of a cop
and
were pardoned by Donald Trump.
And you know what's interesting? Even all of the pardons that Trump has done to date do not reach half of those done by President Biden, which are 4,000 in number.
But not violent offenders.
How do you know? Have you looked at every case of the 4,000?
Hold on. First off. We got to because you talked about Trump's rhetoric around January 6th, and you're saying he's condemning it.
He condemned it outright.
Now,
yes,
I do agree that you can pull specific clips where he is condemning what happened on January 6th, but we also find clips of him saying, "I don't fucking care if they have guns.
Well,
they're not here to shoot me."
Let's not say the F word, but I appreciate it.
Okay.
I'm in the wrong tour for this, I know, but...
Okay, yeah. Well, sorry, that was the President of the United States. He did say the F word, so I think it's okay to quote the President.
That's one of the worst things he's done.
Say the F word?
Yeah.
Wow.
There are several, but it's up there.
All right. So, look, Donald Trump was on record.
Yes.
A journalist was there to document him saying, "I don't effing care that they have guns. They're not here to shoot me." Now, yes, he also condemns the violence once people start rallying against him and say, "Hey, you got to condemn what happened." But I want a president, and I expect from a president to be 100% peaceful, not just 75, 50, wherever the percentage may be.
I mean, look, if the standard is that the politicians are only condemning violence once people start pressuring them to do it, when are we going to get after Barack Obama? When are we going to get after events that eventually lead to the shooting of congressmen in baseball fields? When are we going to get to the fact that $2 billion of property damage are caused because of rhetoric regarding systemic racism in this country?
Okay,
and when are we going to get to the fact that calling a person a fascist is actually absolutely going to enable people who think that punching a Nazi is okay?
Okay, wait, hold on. You said a lot of things. I want to break them down slowly.
Okay.
First off, the shooting of the baseball field, right?
Yes.
You're talking about the Bernie Sanders supporter.
Yes.
The next day, Bernie Sanders said, "I do not support this man. I am so sorry that happened. If any of you guys are in my field, I want you guys out. We support peace here."
That sounds like what Trump said. You're just not admitting that a politician...
Hold on.
Okay.
The next day after Paul Pelosi was hammered to death, he joked about it, and his son is saying, "This is my next Halloween costume," and it was underwear and a hammer. Now, I want to condemn the people who were Charlie Kirk for Halloween and had blood and thought that was funny. That's fucked.
Based.
That's gross.
Well, F word again,
That's
but
gross.
based.
Sorry, that's F'd.
That's
F'd. Is that okay?
And look,
no, wait, hold on.
That's okay.
But we should also be looking at the son of the president and the president himself, who joke about this same incident when it's the husband of Nancy Pelosi. I don't find that okay, and it was one of his supporters. And I think, by the way, one of the biggest things that we talk about when it comes to violence, the way to prevent violence, is by condemning it, because we don't want the person to feel like a hero, and we want to make sure that everyone else is able to rally and work with law enforcement, and that can't happen if the top-down structure refuses to condemn the violence.
I could agree to some extent with that. Like, I personally think that, comments either made about Rob Schneider or other, I do think those are inappropriate. And I think, maybe not all the Republicans here agree with me, but I think there does have to be, less cruelty in the way that we exercise our political opinions. And we do see that, unfortunately, with the way that some of, like, the ICE raids are done. I think, yes, the American people, they sent their mandate. They want ICE raids. They want deportations. But I don't think people want to see it. And I think oftentimes the Trump presidency or the admin is doing things in a way that is not conducive to, actually achieving what they want and actually encourages the left. That being said, the left is absolutely being encouraged. They are fighting off the very police that you're talking about. And if we're looking at, who is maybe more dismissive of violence, or if the right or the left is more violent, the right is absolutely taking a law and order type approach. And you might disagree. You might say that, well, Trump pardoned a bunch of criminals. Joseph Biden literally pardoned 2 times as many either commutations or pardons during his last presidency.
You have to look at what specifically he pardoned. Now, a huge, I would say the plurality.
Are you willing to go out and defend the 4,000 pardons and commutations?
No, I'll defend the plurality of them, though. And the plurality of those pardons were drug offenders, were federal marijuana users or distributors. Now, I don't think that they should be. I think that it's fine to pardon those people and say, look, it's pot, okay? It's pot. We could chill a little bit. Okay. Now, I think there's a difference between that and someone like Ross Ulbricht, who Donald Trump Trump pardoned, who was the leader of the biggest black market in America and was convicted for 40 years because of smuggling children and smuggling dark, really like Schedule 3 drugs. I forgot the schedule.
Well,
whatever
if it's
the highest
marijuana
one
now,
is.
it is Schedule 3, and I think that's a problem.
Whatever the highest
but if
one
you want
is.
to go after, marijuana uses, maybe you're on Trump's side regarding the reclassification of marijuana. Maybe you come off as the Trump supporter.
Sorry, there are some things that Trump does that are okay. Yeah, for sure. When it comes to
and for me, there are some things that Trump does that are not okay. But I think it is ridiculous, this framing that, look, I know the name of this individual who was a nonviolent drug offender that was pardoned by President Biden.
Yeah.
I can defend the plurality of the January 6 protesters, not every single case, obviously.
600 out of those 2,000 were convicted of assault of a police officer.
I think that there is obviously something that needs to be analyzed in every single one of those cases, and unfortunately, and I'll concede this, I don't have the time to look over every single case, but I'm also not naive enough to believe that this was not an extraordinary event that had an extraordinary amount of prosecutorial pressure, because it was an attempt to make an example out of something, and that, in my opinion, is not the way our justice system is supposed to work.
To me, I think that storming a political capital and assaulting law enforcement does need some punishment, and I'm happy to hear that you're a little bit more soft on crime than I am. I think that's a totally acceptable position.
Unless they sell drugs, then it's worse.
Sorry, unless they sell pot. Can we be?
Pot is the #1 gateway drug.
Oh my God!
It absolutely is.
You're not going to get the crowd on this one. The vast majority
I'll
of people
get any of them that aren't smoked out, that haven't been smoking that sticky green stuff.
We could chill a little bit. We could do a little slap on the wrist. But the idea that people were in federal prison for marijuana charges, minimum. That's what you're comparing against the January 6 protesters, is insane.
No, I think. Look, let's get back to kind of the idea of the debate, right? And again, this is not, a referendum on Trump's January 6 policy, although I think it is important to mention that he, like every single politician, when they are pushed to condemn the violence, like mass violence that occurred, he did condemn it. And I don't think that's something that's mentioned oftentimes by leftists. But the posturing of these parties, the rhetoric that has occurred, I don't think you can divorce the results that we've seen in recent years, either against, what do you think has led to the attacks on ICE? On Border Patrol.
Sure.
What do you think has led to those attacks?
No, of course. Well, I would say what leads to those attacks, and I'm not condoning those attacks, by the way, but what leads to the attacks is the infringement of due process, and also the consistent grabbing of U.S. citizens. The New Yorker did a piece where they went into an ICE facility and they found 170 U.S. citizens there. Now, I think that's fucked, and I think most people. Oh, sorry, effed. I'm sorry, Kai. I'm trying to work with you.
Okay,
I'm trying to work with you.
I appreciate it.
That is effed. That is messed up.
Let's go.
Okay.
That is fetched up.
I grew up around Mormons. I grew up Mormon myself. I get
Let's go.
my mom's the same way. She's
Greatest ally.
she's on your side during this debate.
Let's go. We love you, Mom.
Yeah, sorry. That's what was I saying was
I
messed
think
up?
we're talking a little bit about the rhetoric, right? And I want you to address that point. The rhetoric surrounding punching Nazis.
I agree. I think that that's messed up.
Okay, here's the problem. In this debate, and in many of these debates, and it's happened a lot in Jubilee debates, the left never needs to stake a claim. The left can say, well, I actually don't support Joseph Biden, pardoning his son, or I don't support all of his presidential pardons, but you, as a Trump supporter, have to support all of the presidential pardons of the right.
Sorry, where is Biden's rhetoric ever been conducive to punching Nazis? Find one time where he said we should punch Nazis.
Okay, hold on. There's a conflation.
But wait. I could point out that Donald Trump has said, knock the crap out of him to protesters at his rally. And then he said, I'll pay the legal fines for those who do. And I feel like that rhetoric is different.
Okay, here's the problem. There's an obfuscation of the guilt, and there's this minimization of, and a complete removing of context. Why is it, do you think, that and because it is true, right-wing people have referred to their political adversaries as being like the Nazis or being like Hitler. Why do you think it is that right-wing people never punch Nazis?
Why is it? Wait, sorry. Say that one.
If being a Nazi is such a bad thing, when a right-winger calls a leftist a Nazi, why is there not an influx of violence against the supposed Nazis? It's because people implicitly understand what is being said by the politician is, it carries a weight that is also perceived culturally. In this sense, there is a cultural perception of right-wingers as Nazis and fascists that simply does not occur on the left. In that same way, when Trump says
hold on.
I'm responding to your point.
Donald Trump has called multiple people fascists.
This is the point I'm proving.
Okay, go ahead.
Has anybody ever punched somebody because Donald Trump told them that they were a fascist?
No, but Caesar Sayok
because
mailed
nobody believes
16
it.
pipe bombs because of it.
Where? At
Sorry?
the RNC and the DNC.
What?
At both the RNC and DNC.
No, it was not. It was towards Nancy Pelosi, a number of journalists that were critical of
Wait, hold on. Which
Trump.
case are you talking about?
Caesar Sayok.
When?
2017, I want to say 2018, maybe.
Okay, I'm thinking about the January 6th pipe bombs. I'm thinking about a different deal.
Okay,
because I was
that's
going to
okay.
say the motives of that individual, they're very much more up in the air. Bombs
Sure.
were supplied to both sides, right? But look, it's like these situations. I think it's baffling. You just can't think of an example, and I don't even conceive of it because it's so ridiculous that somebody who's being told that the Democrats are the real fascists are going out and punching Democrats like Hassan Piker or somebody because they're the real Nazis. Nobody buys that.
Hold
Nobody
on.
believes it.
Hold on. We got to break this down a little bit slowly.
Okay.
First off, I don't think it's conducive at all to say that we should punch Nazis.
I agree.
I do think
Because it happens.
Personally, I think that Donald Trump's a fascist and a lot of his Trump supporters are fascists, but I believe in debate. I believe in conversation, and I don't think that we should punch fascists, even though I do believe that they believe in some fascist ideologies. Wait, hold on 1 second.
Okay.
So I condemn all of those people who say that we should respond in violence. I don't think that that's the answer. I think that it ruins what a democracy is built on. It ruins what America's built on.
Here's the problem is you're saying that Donald Trump is a fascist to a group of 40% of strong progressives who believe it is okay to punch fascists and Nazis.
Sorry, 4%, not 40, 4%.
No, hold on. It's you have to look at these different studies.
Sorry, to
they're different
punch
studies.
Nazis? Okay,
to
sure.
punch Nazis.
Sure.
I'm not talking about violent extremism. I'm speaking specifically about your terminology.
So then a real question. If you let's say you, how am I supposed to act when the Trump administration is doing things that are a little fascistic? To call them fascist, but also not engage in violence. How do I walk that line? Because if you have a better answer, I'd love to walk that line. I will condemn anyone who thinks that it's okay to punch Nazis, anyone who thinks it's okay to commit violence, but I also don't know how to say, well, this person is a fascist. He is enabling the Supreme Court to give him immunity on total immunity. I find, what else should I be calling that? How else can I engage in that?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously it's very difficult to dismantle it because this perception has been built up by the media, by Hollywood, by politicians, by plenty of people over decades. This is something that goes all the way back to the aftermath of World War II, where you have perspectives, either, the tenets of fascism that are supported by Umberto Eco, or the ones that are outlined in Secular Humanism, the magazine, the 14 tenets of fascism, which very frequently concern things that are just simply right-wing in their nature. Things like a traditional mentality towards gender roles. Things like the idea that the state does not need to be libertarian. All of these things begin finding themselves as part of an authoritarian personality. The exact thing that is being deemed a gateway to violent extremism by becoming Nazism. And it is a way of dismantling the right wing. I think that's the problem.
That's a thing that I think you really need to. It's a hard conversation to be had, because you're like Umberto Eco's his 14 tenets of fascism. It does outline some conservative values in there for sure. Now here's the thing: maybe we should be. I don't know how else to acknowledge that maybe some conservatism does lead to fascism. That unfortunately these two ideologies are inherently tied to each other. Now I'm not saying you have to be a conservative to be a fascist, or you have to be a fascist to be a conservative.
I think the problem is.
All right. Okay, guys, that is time. That was a fucking great debate. All right, guys. We have another debate coming up, and this one on the Republican side, we have Sarah Stock, who's going to be debating on the Democrat side, Not So Erudite. Yeah. Oh, party foul!
All right. Should I start or should you?
Well, it's your claim, so maybe you can start by stating your claim.
Okay, so
Wait, really quick. Hey guys, because I feel like these voices might be a little bit more quieter. We want to respect them. So please just keep the whispering, whispering better than the talking at a minimum, okay? Thank you guys so much. And you guys speak loud into these mics. We're fighting for our lives out here. Speak loud.
I gotcha. All right, so the topic today is America First is not Christian.
Okay, so I guess my first question is, what do you mean by Christian? Because I don't know what specific denomination you subscribe to. So
I would say anybody that agrees to the Apostles' Creed fundamentally is typically viewed as Christian. So anybody that appeals to that thing. So Protestants, Catholics typically do. I think some sects of Mormon also appeal to the Apostles' Creed. Eastern Orthodox.
Okay. So why do you think this?
Okay. Let me clarify. You are America First, I'm assuming,
Yes.
since you agreed to it. But you're also a Christian nationalist.
Yes.
Okay. Square that circle for me. What exactly is America First about being a Christian nationalist?
Well, the question is being America First Christian? I would argue that it 100% is, and we can look at St. Thomas Aquinas' idea of ordered love, meaning you have a responsibility to the people closest to you. So just like it's immoral, if you were to feed your neighbor's kids while your own kids go hungry, it's equally immoral to support policies that harm your country's people but benefit those from other countries. And this has been explained in the Catechism as well. So.
That's really weird. So, you correct me if I'm wrong about the Bible. My understanding is that God gave up godliness to come down to earth, right? He sacrificed it.
No, he did not. Jesus is also a God and man.
Yeah, but he also became man, right? I mean, do you want me to just pull up the verse for you? God's sacrificial love. We can just go there if you want to.
I understand that Jesus is fully God and fully man, yes.
Okay, great. So God sacrificed by coming down. In fact, he sacrificed so much that he died for not just his friends, not just white Americans, but for, I'm assuming, the world, right?
Yes.
Okay, so sacrificial love seems to be a pretty fundamental piece of Christian ethos. Would you not agree?
Yeah, are you going to respond to my claim that ordered love is virtuous? What do you think? If I were to feed my neighbor's kids, but my own kids went hungry, do you think that's virtuous because you're loving your neighbor's kids?
It depends on if you're feeling that you're called to do so, right? I would imagine that
So
God
it's a
would
feeling
probably say
thing?
that you would split it, right? I don't know in what world.
There's
I'd be
this
I
is-
have one loaf of bread. I can't possibly figure out
That-
fractions and just give all of it away.
Poor people exist, so yeah, that is definitely a
I
scenario
don't know
that
how
could
that's a
happen.
rebuttal. You're right. Poor people do exist. Thank you. Rich people exist. Yes, yes. White people
I don't
exist.
know why you're saying that's not a possible. There is quite literally a Bible verse that says.
All right, if I have- if I have a loaf of bread-
If you're going to cite the Bible, there's a Bible verse that quite literally says that if you were to take care of someone else's child before your own, you are worse than an unbeliever.
Cite where that's from.
It's in 1 Timothy something, I don't remember.
Okay, I'm sure that's there.
Why is it? It is. You guys can look it up. That's a verse.
Sure.
Here it is.
So here's one of the issues, right? Is you're creating like this world where essentially I have a loaf of bread, and I'm going, actually I'm going to give none of this. But the America First, like, look at America right now, right? America doesn't go, we're actually going to spend zero money on Americans. We're not going to have welfare. We actually do have these things. And then we also do things like U.S. aid, which I imagine you're opposed to. And so the whole issue with being a Christian is there is a fundamental piece which is caretaking of others, right? If you want to look, for example, I'm sure you know this. Do you know the parable of like the Good Samaritan?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so what happens in the Good Samaritan?
Why are you? Yes, I understand. Like if someone is suffering, you can help them out, but there is a certain amount of resources that America has. If we were to give away all of our resources to other countries and our own people starve,
that's great because nobody's saying give away all of our resources.
There is a limited amount of resources, yes.
That is true.
Just like there is
like
on a familial
exist.
level, there also is when it comes to your nation.
Do you think that what I'm advocating for when I'm saying that America First, so when I say America First is unchristian, is because fundamentally what it does is it looks at every resource that America has. The number one economy in the world, right? Trillions. It's worth trillions of dollars a year. And it says, you know what? We can't help others. It has to fundamentally be about us all the time. Not only is this stupid foreign policy, because soft power is incredibly important and it weakens our allyships, but on top of this, it's fundamentally selfish. What you're saying is, I know I have a lot, but nobody else can have any of mine. That's not Christian. I'm not saying America should bankrupt itself and give away all of its money and then like live in the gutter. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that America First supports the banishing of U.S. aid. It supports not helping Ukraine in the war. That to me is both fundamentally selfish and unchristian.
So what I think that America First is about is simply, it doesn't mean we can't help other countries or even other people who live outside of America.
Do you support the banning of U.S. aid?
Can I finish, please?
Do you support the banning of U.S. aid?
Can I finish what I was saying?
What you can, but I'm just going to ask you the same question.
What it means is that we put American interests first. That's what it means. It means that
selfish.
we are not prioritizing.
I hear you. Be selfish. I hear you.
So even with Ukraine, I mean, even if I'm not even fully against sending any money or helping out Ukraine at all, because if we were to help Ukraine and that helps America, I'm fine with that. But
so
I don't
you will
want,
only
I don't
help
want
Ukraine if it helps you. Very Christian, by the way. Look,
Well,
I'll be
yes.
generous to you, but only if
On a
fundamentally it's good for me, guys.
on a
You know,
foreign
gotta get that money.
On a foreign policy level, why would I support foreign policy that is bad for America? Like, what are you trying to say?
Why would supporting Ukraine be bad for America?
Foreign policy that is good for America. I'm fine with supporting
How is
Ukraine.
U.S. aid bad for America?
I think it would depend on the specific U.S. aid. Like,
Okay, how is giving malaria injections to the poorest in Africa, which has been banned, by the way?
we have poor
why is that
people
bad?
here in America. Like, would you rather money go to people in another country or
Do we
money
have
go to people in
welfare?
America?
Do we have welfare?
Yes.
Do you support? Wait, hold on. Do you support welfare?
I support, in certain situations.
Like food stamps,
sure.
you're for people getting food stamps?
Yeah, sure, in certain situations. I'm not fully
What are the
against that.
situations you would not allow people to get food stamps?
If they're just, if they don't have a disability, if they're not working a significant hours, if they're not trying to find a job, I don't see why we should pay for them. But
So, so a lot of people on food stamps are like war vets and stuff like that. Are you for supporting war vets? Are you for helping them in that way?
this is kind of going, okay, so you support
She's not gonna
foreign
answer the question.
Just to clarify your position, you are okay with us having foreign policy that does not directly benefit America. Is that your position?
So,
Because I
can
support
you
American foreign policy that
how is-
benefits America. That's my position. What's your position? Do you support
how
American
is
foreign
U.S.
policy?
aid? How is U.S. aid bad for America?
How
is
does
it
it
not
benefit
benefiting
America? How about
well, in large part, when you help African countries with like some of the most destitute issues that they have, those countries tend to be warmer towards America. So that, for example, if you need to establish a military outpost, which is very important in wars, by the way, you have these countries good relationships where you might be able to establish an embassy and be able to go there. U.S. aid is not only just good practically, it's also morally good, because guess what? Children in Africa dying because of malaria when we can just help them is bad, actually. And if America, for example,
Okay, that's not
after
saying
U.S.
that
aid, do you know how many people died after U.S. aid got ended?
No.
600,000, 2/3 of which were children, by the way. Not very
Okay.
Christian of us.
Okay.
But you support that.
I support American policies that benefit America. That's what I support.
I gotcha.
And I don't know how you're saying that's incompatible with Christianity.
Because
That's
Christians
very
shouldn't be
weird.
fundamentally oriented by being selfish. You're saying, well,
No,
I
it's
might
not
help
selfish.
these poor people, but only if I know that it's going to help me first. Very Christian, by the way.
If I'm patriotic and I say, I care about Americans, I support policies that are going to help
Who are you
Americans
talking to?
more than everybody else. The
Are you talking to
audience.
me or are you talking to them?
I'm talking to them, yes.
Why? I'm talking to you. I'm your debate opponent.
If I support policies that
she's
are
gotta
going
have
to
a
place
pundit.
American interests first and help Americans, doesn't mean we can't help anyone else, but I care about Americans more
So
than
did
others
Christ
because I'm American.
allow his son to
That's
die because
not
it was good for him?
unchristian.
Did Christ allow his son to die because it was just good for him?
No, he loved others, and I think we should love others too.
Would you say it was actually selfless?
I'm not loving my fellow countryman if I care about someone on the other side of the world
Why
more
can't you
than
just
them.
care about both? I feel like I can both support welfare within
You
my
can.
state. Of course I can. We do it right now.
We
I
have
can
a,
support.
we only have a limited amount of resources, and, when
And
it
yet
comes to-
America was able to both manage a welfare state and U.S.
so,
aid.
So where's your limit? Where's your limit? How about that? Where's your limit for helping others? Do you have one? Like when it comes to America sending our money overseas, like do you have a limit? Like there's a certain point where it's at a detriment to America, right? Would you not
would have
agree
to
with that?
establish the detriment. I mean, the amount of money that America would have to be sending overseas that would actually be detrimental. One of the problems with this is, again, your lack of foreign policy knowledge. For example, why is it good for America to send weaponry to Ukraine? Do you know why?
I think it's good because Ukraine can be an
Why is
ally in
that
some
good
ways.
for-
And I see Ukraine as part of sort of an American outpost right now. I support American imperialism, so I would be okay with that.
Right. So when you're asking for like this sliding scale of like how much is too much, it's like you're fundamentally not even understanding the way that foreign policy exchange happens, which is still devoid from the Christian argument, for example, which would say, as a good Samaritan, what did he do? He pulled over, he gave him his wine and oil, and he paid for everything.
Yeah,
and
I
Christ
think,
lauded
I think
that
we
individual.
should do that. I think we should do that. If you
Except
come
to poor
across
children
if you
in
come
Africa getting
across
malaria.
somebody on the street who needs something, help them out. That's good on an individual level, but it doesn't work with politics. Our nation's policies have to prioritize. It's like our nation has to help us out.
So first of all, that's still just bad foreign policy. There's a reason why all Western democracies have created this like
I
exchangement
think
rate.
you're for some reason thinking I don't support backing Ukraine when I have said multiple times that
Do you
I'm
support
fine with
U.S.
that.
aid?
I'm what?
U.S. aid. I've asked you a million times. Do you support U.S. aid?
Probably not. Like I don't know what
Probably
every single
not.
element
Exactly.
money
And why
it
wouldn't you?
goes to.
And the
but
only reason you support Ukraine is because it
I would
benefits
support
us.
U.S. aid if it benefits America in some way.
Yeah, this is like the unchristian piece, right? Like if
No,
you're
it's
just a
not.
secularist who's like, honestly,
wait.
I'm selfish as long as it benefits me,
Wait,
then
sorry,
I'm happy.
are
that
you
would
even
be
American?
fine.
Wait a second.
That would
Are
be
you even
fine.
American?
That
Are
would
you
be
American?
fine. No, I'm Canadian.
Oh, okay. So that's why I don't
Oh.
care about putting America first. You're Canadian.
You don't even understand your own foreign policy. That's not a dunk like you think it is. I can
Wait,
assure you,
are
my
you
friend,
Canada first?
if a Canadian
You should be- wait,
understands
I
your
support-
politics
I
better than you
support
do, that's a
being
dunk
Canada
on
first. I support you going back to Canada and being Canada first over there, and I'm going to be America first here.
you. I'm a legal immigrant of America. Is that a problem for you? Don't clap, please.
I don't know. I think it's fine. I support a moratorium right now, so
Well, I'm white, so that's a good one, right?
I'll let you stay. It's okay.
Well, are you happy? Are you okay with me being an immigrant in your country?
I just said I'll let you stay. Sure.
I don't. Okay.
We'll
I
take
don't
a
even know
few
what answer
from
that
Canada.
is.
That's fine, I guess.
Okay. So if we want to go back, for example, U.S. generosity is the leading form of global health and humanitarian relief. USAID saves lives by preventing HIV, preventing AIDS, disrupting labor
Yeah,
issues.
on the other
So
side of the
why,
world. We have people with
why,
AIDS here.
Why, as a nation who was born on a, you would probably argue, Christian values, why would a nation develop for centuries to have a policy of understanding and helping others, not just within our borders, but outside of it? And now you, as a great, smart Christian nationalist, comes along and says, actually, it's more Christian to only care about Americans, because I think somewhere in the Bible, God says, God loved everyone, but actually he only liked Americans, right? I think it's probably Galatians
I never said
3:28.
that
Let's
God
see.
doesn't-
There is
nah.
no... There is both Greek and non-Greek, nor Jew, nor
You need to stand
branded
up
or
on your
free,
theology.
whole or female, for one of you, all in one Christ.
Have you heard of the concept of ordered love?
Yeah, of course.
So do you agree with that?
It depends. What does this even mean? In what context?
in the context, like I mentioned before, caring for your family before other people?
So again, it depends on what we mean. Like if I say neglect your family, well, why are you laughing? Of course, right? If you say, should you neglect your family? No, obviously not. But the issue is that you're.
But what if you're neglecting your family to help other people? Is that justified in your?
Of course not.
Okay, so
I just said neglect is bad. But the issue is you're acting, the America First paradigm acts like this is a zero-sum game, right? The idea that you have to like put America first and foremost, while, as you said, is maybe a good idea if all you care about is being greedy and concerned with your own self. But again, you're a Christian. Christians should not be fundamentally focused on only helping others because it benefits them, which is what you said. You said, I'll help them, but only if it benefits me. There's not a single fucking thing that's Christian about that, right? Christianity is fundamentally about generosity to others. It's about looking at people and seeing them with love. It's about looking past the borders and saying, you are loved because God made you, not because you're American, not because you're white. That's Christian. And what you're doing, you can have these principles, but you don't for a second get to pretend that it's Christian.
I think it's just like odd that you come here from Canada to America and say, I want your country to support foreign policy that is detrimental, or economic policy or immigration policy
Didn't say
that
it's
hurts
detrimental.
America
That
but
never
helps
happened.
other countries. And I find that very strange.
She's again,
and I think
you're
this
just
is
not
like
talking
why
to me. Why
I think we need
talking
to
to
like
the
take a
crowd?
look at our immigration system and like be like,
Sarah,
what are we doing
Sarah,
here?
if your best dunk is, aren't you Canadian, but I'm still beating you on understanding of American foreign policy, that's not it.
But you quite literally go to another country and tell them you need to support policies.
Can you imagine that if in Canada I
I
might have the same predilection? Do you think that I think Canada should be only Canada first?
You should, yeah. I think you should.
Sorry, I'll ask you my question again.
I support
Do you think that my
Canadians
predisposition
being
is that if I
Canada
went to
first.
Canada, I'd just be
I
Canada
support
first?
French being French first. I support
Yeah,
Ethiopians being
look,
Ethiopia
you've
first.
made it clear
That's
you're
how-
selfish. We get it.
No,
You
that's-
only help others if it benefits you. You've made that very clear from the beginning. USAID, will I stop malaria? Will I stop children in Africa from dying? Well, does it benefit us? I'm a Christian, by the
What-
way. God's love is awesome.
Do you think that people in Japan are like, oh, I want policies that hurt Japan and help, like,
What's hurting
Nigeria
America
or
about
something?
USAID? What's hurting America about USAID?
Sending our billions of our tax dollars to people
How
that
is
are
that
not
hurting
us,
America?
Because that money could go to our people and
Couldn't you say
strengthen
the
our
same thing
country.
about Ukrainian, all the arms that we're sending them? Why are we sending them arms? Shouldn't we keep it for ourselves?
Well, because
we might need it.
Well, because there's foreign policy, like you mentioned, like how supporting Ukraine could in turn benefit
Yeah.
America because they're an ally.
Yeah, so you're talking one side of your mouth and you're
No, that's
insisting
not
that the
talking-
policy that I'm
no,
suggesting
supporting
is
American
detrimental.
allies
But then you again
can be
outline how all the policies I've listed here
Supporting
are
American
both
allies can
practical.
be beneficial
And on the
for
other side of
America.
your mouth, you're trying to be like,
That's not-
well, don't you think that it would be bad to neglect your family? Yeah, it's bad to neglect your family. You're like doing like the bottom barrel, like, don't you think rape is bad? Yeah, we've gotten there. The issue is that fractions exist and things like trillions of dollars exist, which is why we had USAID. It's why we had this foreign policy. Not only did we have this foreign policy because it's good for America, but as a Christian, I would like to support it if we can
Okay,
afford
do you want
it
to move
because
to
it's the right
immigration?
thing to do.
Do you want to move to immigration?
No,
So-
we're not here to debate immigration. We're here to debate
Well,
America
that's
versus
part,
Christian.
That's part of the America First policy, right? So I support an American
She's got to go to
first-
brown people when in trouble. She's like, but brown people are kind of weird, right?
You can calm down. It's okay. I support an America First policy that benefits Americans over people from foreign nations. And I think that should be reflected in our immigration policy too. So for instance, with the working class, we've lost so much of our industrial jobs because they've been sent, well, that's a free trade issue, but we've been sending so much of our jobs overseas. And in the same way, because we've been letting so many people flooding the borders, it's a lot harder for the working class to find jobs.
So in 2017, there was a tariff imposed on the steel manufacturing industry to try to bring steel manufacturing back to America. Do you know what it did for American jobs in steel manufacturing? Didn't think so. What it did is it shrunk jobs. The reason that
Okay,
we
maybe that
export
didn't work.
the reason that we export labor is because Americans are paid for their time, not for their labor, whereas overseas it's typically the end product of their labor. Now you and I could have a long, lengthy conversation about how that's probably bad, but that would be a liberal talking point, not a conservative talking point. And while I might have issues with the way that we economically handle other countries, insofar as we often take advantage of their poverty, which I think is not good, the reason that we export labor like this is because it's fundamentally cheaper.
It's cheaper for corporations, yes, but it ends up hurting American workers because their wages have been steadily
And you should get on my
declining.
side and say that we should have actual, effective policy to hold corporations responsible for the way that they decimate American lives.
I agree with that. Why are you assuming
So
what
you're
my
for
position
taxing
is?
corporations more?
Sure. I'm also for closed borders. I'm also for reshoring our manufacturing. I'm also for policies that support American workers rather than immigrants.
Do you know why H-1Bs are so important to? Let's focus on one industry, cybersecurity. Do you know anything about the cybersecurity industry?
Not that much. No.
Okay. Okay, let's just take this more broadly. Do you know why H-1Bs are so valued in America and why your president doesn't want to get rid of them?
Because Indians do work for cheaper, and they also usually are able to work longer hours because their jobs are tied to their visas, so they're much easier to be abused by their employers, and that's why. Yes.
So that's one
So
reason.
it's actually good for corporations, but it's not good for all the people we told to get STEM degrees who now went to Silicon Valley and can't get a job because they're too expensive.
That's not what's happening in Silicon
Yes,
Valley.
that's
and why
what's-
there's-
that
that's
is
not why the
100% what's
unemployment issue. The reason that there's an unemployment issue is because there's a massive staffing bubble that happened during COVID in particularly soft industries like cybersecurity. Cybersecurity, one of the reasons why H-1Ps are so essential for that industry is because the level of training, you basically need to have your last certification needs to be updated within the last year or two. So a lot of American trained people, they just don't have it. We actually cannot fill jobs at high levels. So the reason we have H-1Bs is we pull the people over so that they can fill these jobs. And now I agree with some of the abuses that happen to these individuals. But again, this is a liberal talking point. I don't like that. I would like to see things like better hours managed and better equal pay, which actually Biden suggested doing a lot of these things. But you guys shut down the immigration bill because you wanted to win an election. You don't actually want to solve your problems.
All right, and that wraps up this debate. Holy hell, that was spicy. That was really good. That was one of our best yet. Wow. All right. So we will be pulling up our next individuals. Give it up for Sarah. And give it up for Not So Erudite. All right, y'all. Let me pull up my roster, okay? I'm getting there. All right. Okay, guys. Can everyone hear me? Kind of. Is this better? Is that one? Maybe? No? Okay. Introduce you guys. All right, y'all. For your next debate, we have representing the Democratic side, Brian Shapiro. All right. I know it's steep. And then on the Republican side, we have Alex Stein.
I don't know where Sean is.
Sean Mike Kelly, we need
Sean
you.
Kelly,
Come
we
on
need
down
you,
to the
Sean.
stage, Sean. We got give it up for our moderator tonight. You guys have seen him all online. He's on Spotify, YouTube,
I can make
everything.
an opening statement. Is that okay?
Yeah, but let's get Sean. Guys, give it up
There
for
he
Sean
is.
Mike Kelly. Give it up for him a little. Okay. Well, fuck, Sean. Damn.
Mic check, 1 2 1 2.
I thought you guys were progressive. That wasn't very nice.
Okay, you guys ready?
I'm born ready, Brian.
I'm
what about
ready.
you? Are you ready?
I'm ready. Nice
right.
hat, by the way.
Thank you. I love it.
All
They're
right,
giving
so-
free merch, free lighters. I like the Un-F America tour. They're pretty nice.
Can I just say one thing real quick? First of all, Alex, thank you for being here. I'm being serious here.
I know.
To Myron Gaines and Andrew Wilson, who are two pieces of shit, who are wussies, who were supposed to be here today, and they are little bitches. So to Andrew and Myron, go fuck yourself.
Well, I love Andrew and Myron, so I stand with
All right.
Myron.
Let's have a friendly little conversation
Let's go. Let's
about,
go.
about
Hi,
trans people,
motherfucker.
right? Trans people? Okay, who wants to lead off? 1 minute intros.
What was it? It's not trans and women's sports, but what was it was just trans overall. Okay. Well, let me just tell you something.
Opening statement.
My opening statement, why primetime Alex Stein thinks the transgender movement is absolutely horrible for society, is because what we are doing is the majority of people that actually identify as non-binary or trans are actually retarded. They're actually autistic. Yes, the majority of people that are. Yes, this is true. Yes, this is true. So if we're going to let a retard pick their gender, that's ridiculous. We wouldn't let a retard get a tattoo. We wouldn't let a retard barely order off the kids' menu at dinner. I'm not going to let a retard cut off their genitals. Now, that is what we're dealing with, is we're dealing with people that have a mental illness called gender dysphoria, and we have sick doctors that are actually not just facilitating this, they're enabling this mental illness and making it much, much worse by cutting off a child's breast. So I'm sick of these trannies trying to go in women's restrooms and take a dump, and this is why in Texas we did a good thing and we outlawed transgenders in women's bathrooms, because let me tell you why. It's an asymmetrical problem. I would love it if one of you transgenders want to wear a little man suit and come poop next to me in the bathroom. Bring it on. I think that's funny. But it's half of you homosexual faggots that like to put on a dress and walk into the women's restroom so you can look under the damn fucking stall.
Getting some birdies over there.
So I'm sick of you
minute?
fags trying to invade our spaces.
I
You need to make your dad proud. Your dad's ashamed of you for being a faggot. You need to stop being one now.
We're on YouTube. We're on YouTube. Let Brian respond.
I got this. I find it interesting. By the way, I appreciate Alex being here, but he didn't want to talk about Donald Trump. He didn't want to talk about the 129 pages.
Well, Donald Trump's
hold on a
gay.
second.
Let him respond. Let him respond.
He didn't want to talk about the 129 pages that were in the Epstein files that weren't released. Geez, I wonder why. He doesn't want to talk about healthcare. He doesn't want to talk about the economy. He doesn't want to talk about any of those topics. You know what he wants to talk about? Transgenders in women's bathrooms. This is how stupid some of these MAGA Republicans are.
Just admit,
hold on a second.
Just
Be
admit
quiet.
Okay,
this is my turn to talk.
Let
Be
him finish.
quiet.
Let him finish.
They think that somebody would have transgender surgery and cut off their penis so that they can go into the bathroom and assault a child. Let me tell you something, Alex. That's not happening, and I think a transgender might have done something to you when you were a child.
Oh, yeah, no, that's actually true. I lost my virginity to a transgender. My football coach is now a woman. But listen, it's funny, Brian, because I actually like Brian, even though he's libtarded.
I like Alex, too.
Even
though he's a Trump mushroom gobbler.
But with the trans issue, honestly, if you are an adult, like we live in a free country, you want to cut off your penis, that's okay. But where it really gets sick is that an adult ever telling a child they're born in the wrong body.
Can I ask you a question?
But you have to admit that's evil.
Can I ask you a question?
Like if you're an adult, maybe that's okay.
How have transgenders negatively affected you in your life? Tell me.
The last 8 mass shootings have all been transgender.
Oh, give me a fucking
every
break.
time.
That's not true.
Every time
That's
I
not
go to a
true.
damn public event, I'm worried about
Hold
some
on,
transgender
hold on,
with a machine gun
hold on.
blowing my brains out. So yeah, they affect my life.
I know facts sometimes don't matter to Trump mushroom gobblers, but let me just explain to Alex one thing. Hundreds and hundreds of mass shootings in the last couple of years. There have been 6 mass shooters, okay? But they want to blame transgenders and brown people for all their problems. Why don't you blame the orange 34-count felon liable abuser
You know,
who's the
I
president?
want amnesty for all big booty Latinas. If you're a 9, you're fine. So do not label me
You
anti-brown.
haven't answered.
I love brown.
Alex, you have not
I love
answered
the
my
brown
question.
tan booty of a Latino.
Alex,
What's your
you
question?
have not answered my question.
Is what?
How have transgenders personally negatively affected you in your life?
On a serious note, transgenders have benefited me because Leah Thomas's propeller in that pool, I was able to gamble on
Notice
that
how he won't
tranny.
seriously answer that question.
I won
Guys,
enough
do you
money
notice?
to turn draft kings into draft queens.
So here's my point
there
that I was
have
trying
been
to make.
times where I've been able to exploit some sick gender dysphoric sicko. And there's been times where a gender dysphoric
All right,
sicko has made me feel uncomfortable. So
don't
it is
spurt
what
out,
it is.
Alex. Calm down. Notice, ladies and gentlemen, how he didn't answer the question. You know why?
No, I did answer
Hold on.
it. I did answer it.
Transgenders, the people that complain about transgenders the most are either people that are attracted to transgenders, which, by the way, there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
Or people that were touched by somebody when they're a kid, or...
No.
Yeah,
Let me give you one stat.
Because
let me give
he
you one
wasn't
stat,
negatively affected by transgenders. He's just obsessed with them.
Brian, let me give you one stat. Did you know that over 76% of gay men say that they were sexually molested in their childhood?
What poll are you referring to? And not Myron Gaines'
look
poll.
it up. Just
I know
look
that's
it up
what you
right
like.
now. Please look it up. How many people that identify as gay say they were sexually molested
Okay,
as a
but
child?
what does transgender have to do with being gay? The two have nothing in common with each other. What are you talking
Okay,
about?
well, first of all, you're telling me being trans and being gay have nothing in common.
There are people that are trans that
as
would
soon
say
as you
they're not gay.
transition, I know. As soon as you transition, though, you become gay. Like
Okay, I'm going to be serious here, okay? All the problems we have in this country.
What is the stat, though? What is the stat?
46%.
Well, 46.
Yeah, he was
Close
off just
enough.
by a little bit.
It's close enough.
Alex, all the problems we have in this country right now, I think we would agree. There's a lot of gun violence.
Yes, I agree.
We have issues with healthcare.
We
I know
do live
you,
in a violent country, I
There's a lot
agree.
of issues. This is not a top 5 issue. It's not a top 10 issue. It's a top transphobic issue. That's what it is.
Well, no, because this is the thing. Is that you have all of these kids, their balls are infected with microplastics, and now they're all becoming feminine. They're all becoming soy boys. They're all becoming females. And so we need to change that. That's why the birth rate is declining. That's why the white population is less than 8%. It's because all the white people are being infected by all of the first world problems that we're affected
the
by.
birth rate is being affected because Donald Trump just gave the biggest tax breaks to the top 1%
Wait, you're
in this
telling me
country.
giving a kid Lupron, which is a hormone-disrupting drug, it's the same drug that we give pedophiles to castrate them. You're telling me that wouldn't affect the birth rate? Lupron, look at
I'm
Lupron, a
telling you
hormone
right
blocker,
now-
is the same drug
Okay.
we give to castrate
All right.
pedophiles. It's the
How
same
many-
drug that is prescribed to kids that are
All
going
right.
through gender
Alex,
transition.
Alex, how many kids do you have?
Well, I mean, that I pay child support for, too. That I raise,
All right.
none.
All right, fair enough. The problem that I have with this argument is you really didn't answer my question. The question was, if you care so much about the issue with transgenders, how is it affecting you negatively in a personal way?
No,
you haven't
on a
answered
serious
the question.
Note, on a serious note, when I went and I testified at the Texas State Senate hearing about the trans bathroom bill, when my girlfriend's in there, some gargoyle in a dress went and took a dump next to her, and that did affect me. It pissed me off. It made me want to go kick
Here's
his
my
ass.
opinion, okay?
And
When
that
I go
felt
to the
like
bathroom-
a violation of my girlfriend. I'm not just saying that to be goofy. I'm telling you that's how it felt.
Fine. When I go to the bathroom, I go in there to do my business and I leave. The idea, there's no study that supports what Alex is saying, which what he's trying to say is transgenders have a higher probability of assaulting somebody in a bathroom. That is not factually accurate, and this is, again, I go back to what I said earlier. The idea that someone would have a transgender surgery and mutilate or whatever he wants to say their genitals so that they can go into a different restroom is probably the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. It's not happening. Alex has no facts behind his opinion on this. It just is not true.
You're delusional, dude.
I'm delusional.
There's guys trying and fighting all over the state
If
of
somebody wants to
all over the
assault
state
a
of
child,
Texas
they're
and all
going to
over
go
the
in there and they're
country.
not going to have transgender surgery first. It's ridiculous.
No,
you
but
call people retarded.
You can assault somebody
you're
with your
retarded.
eyes. You can assault somebody with your eyes. You don't have to touch them. So by just going into a bathroom, if you're a
So
transgender,
looking at somebody is sexual assault. In that
in a
case, Donald
bathroom-
Trump has
in
committed
a
millions of
bathroom,
sexual
looking
assaults.
over a stall, under a stall, looking at a kid in a bathroom, that's still assault. You don't have to physically touch them. So yes,
can a guy,
transgender with the wandering eyes can be considered sexual
so wait,
assault.
by your premise, can a guy who hasn't have transgender surgery look at a kid that way as well? What is your premise of this argument?
Of course, but I'm just saying the natural law of order is men go to the men's room, women go to the women's room.
Where is your study?
Of course, believe it or not, yes, there's men pedophiles. You're one of them, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't. It's not. No, I'm kidding. But Brian's not. No,
Hold on. Let me just be clear on this, okay? The guy who supports a 34-count felon, liable sexual abuser, who's had 25 women accuse him of rape or sexual assault, including his ex-wife in court documents, Alex Stein supports that guy, okay?
Yeah,
Alex Stein
dude,
supports a pedophile.
First of all,
he's all over the Epstein
At
files.
least he's not a homo like Barack Obama married to a chick with a dick. And let me tell you something. Donald Trump's a real man. You saw how he handled Stormy Daniels.
All right,
like
let's
she
talk
described
about
his penis as
So wait,
not small.
Alex,
so I think he's doing okay.
Alex's identification of a real man, a guy who wakes up in the morning and puts on 8 layers of orange makeup, looking like the fucking clown that he is.
You wouldn't understand fashion. You would never understand.
He's a draft dodging coward.
Brian, do you think you know anything about fashion?
You're the guy wearing that hat. I don't know.
I mean, I don't know anything about fashion, but Donald Trump is a fashionista. He's an icon. He's had his own clothing line. So you wouldn't understand high fashion, Brian.
So
it's above your pay grade.
So you think it's fashionable for a guy to wake up in the morning and put on 8 layers of orange makeup and his stilts and 4 hair transplants and fake teeth and a fake tan, looking like an orange fucking orangutan.
Is Melania going to blow him? Then yes.
When was the last time Melania had sex with Donald Trump? Was when they conceived Barron.
Trump's a horny man. They're banging. Trust me, I know.
Well, clearly he cheated on him. Raw dog the porn star.
Maybe it was an open deal.
2 weeks after Barron was born.
Who knows? Relationships are complicated.
Do you think Donald Trump has testosterone? He's a real man?
Yeah, he's a real man.
Really? By what standards?
I think to the Hunter Biden and Joe Biden standards, he probably fucks just like they fuck, just like how Hunter fucked all those prostitutes. I'm sure Joe fucks, and I'm sure Trump fucks, and I'm happy that at least he fucks women and not little boys like Barack Obama or Bill Clinton probably.
Wait. Barack Obama fucks little boys? We have what? What did you just say?
I mean, maybe he's not a pedophile, but he's married to a dude. So.
I like Alex. I think at times Alex is very funny, but let's be clear. Barack Obama wasn't on the Epstein flight log or seen with Jeffrey Epstein.
Cool enough to get invited.
Joe Biden. Okay, Bill Clinton's not president anymore. The guy who you support is in the Epstein files. You know it. Why don't you admit it?
Well, I would go to the Epstein's Island. I mean, it's a nice island. We're going to blame the guy for going on a free vacation. I mean, that doesn't mean he banged a kid.
Barack Obama is a happily married man to a beautiful woman named Michelle Obama.
Man,
Melania Trump has showed us her vagina already.
And it looked nice. And only he didn't like it because he's a fag. But all of us loved it, all right? And we love Melania's sweet, sweet cooch, okay?
This is my impersonation of Alex Stein. You ready? Pretend that this is Donald Trump's penis. That's Alex Stein, okay? He is a Trump mushroom gobbler. He knows that Donald Trump is a piece of human scum. He will not publicly denounce anything that Donald Trump does or anything that he says.
No, I don't think he's doing enough. I would argue that he's not doing enough with immigration. He's not doing enough with a lot of stuff. He did good with January 6th, but other than that, he hasn't. He stopped 8 wars that I've never heard of.
He did a lot of good things on January 6th. Let's talk about that.
Well, January 6th. Okay, I'll debate you on January 6th.
140 officers were injured that day, and Donald Trump called the people who beat the cops hostages and patriots. What the hell are you talking about?
You do know that there was FBI agents there in street clothes.
Okay, let's talk about that. I have a reasoning for that. Okay. There were 200,000 people there that were protesting.
But why would they lie about how many cops?
I'm going to answer that. When you have 200,000 people at a political protest, sometimes there's going to be some FBI agents there. That didn't force people to beat cops. That didn't force people to defecate on Nancy Pelosi's desk.
The FBI was the one that's starting all the beating of the cops. They were the ones who were tearing down the barricades. It's called agent provocateurs. You have guys dressed in there to start drama.
Name me one FBI agent that has been proven to have beaten a police officer that day. You're a liar.
Dude, you know the FBI is corrupt. Look at Cash. Look at Dan. So you think the FBI is going to police itself?
Where are you getting this information from that FBI agents beat cops on January 6th? Give me a source for that stupid opinion.
What I'm saying is that the FBI encouraged normal citizens to do that. They encouraged normal citizens to be more violent.
And where's your evidence of that? Newsmax?
There's been a lot of instances of what is called agent provocateurs.
Where did you get that from? Matt Gaetz?
Look at the World Trade Organization. They had similar protests in Seattle. I think it was like 94 or 96. And they got caught using agent provocateurs that were cops in emu, like Seattle grunge clothes.
It's never been proven in a court of law.
I'm just saying, look up the WTO. You know what I'm talking about. And they got caught using agent provocateurs.
Alex, why can't you just call out the people who beat cops on January 6th, who Donald Trump called patriots and hostages?
Because fuck the police, dog. Coming straight out the underground. A young brother got his back because I'm brown. And they think they have the authority to kill a minority. Fuck that shit, because I ain't the one with a punk motherfucker with a badge and a gun to be beaten on and thrown in jail. We can go toe to toe in the middle of a cell fucking with me because I'm a teenager with a little bit of gold and a pager and stuff in my car looking for the product, thinking every Negro is selling narcotics.
All right.
Fuck the police.
So hold on.
Fuck the police.
When you're cornered, when you're a MAGA supporter and you're cornered and you cannot defend any of Donald Trump's behaviors or actions, you try to be a horrible MAGA rapper. That's what Alex does.
I'm a good MAGA rapper. I'm the town hall terror.
That's what he does.
Let's not debate my rapping skills. You're going to lose on that. So
You're also a very good liar and a very, very good knee pad, Trump-wearing, knee pad-wearing, right-wing, ridiculous Donald Trump
I'm a very
supporter.
friendly person. Yeah, that's
Why
one of my
don't you
faults.
call
I'm too
out
nice. I'm too loyal.
Why won't you call out Donald Trump for calling them
Because-
hostages and patriots?
For what?
I'm going to ask you another question.
Yeah,
If Donald
I didn't-
Trump doesn't lie about the 2020 election, does January 6th happen?
The 2020 election was stolen. It was 100%. So this is how I know it was stolen. When it came to in-person
Are you
voting,
kidding me?
Listen. When it came to in-person voting, Donald Trump won all 50 states, even the most liberal. When it came to mail-in ballots, Joe Biden won all 50 states, even the most conservative. So that is a clear indication that they were able to use mail-in ballots
here's a clear
to fortify
indication.
the election
Wait.
that they admitted to
All right,
fortifying.
Alex, here's a clear indication.
Okay.
Donald Trump had 62 opportunities in a courtroom. Every single judge said there was no merit, including Donald Trump appointed judges. What they do is they say the earth is flat. Alex, I've got news for you. The earth is not flat.
It might be.
Donald Trump
Might be.
I know.
Let's pump the brakes.
Donald Trump did not win the 2020 election, and your guy is incited the January 6th insurrection. People died that day because of your orange turd
Roseanne
leader.
Boylan died, and who was the girl that got shot?
Brian Sitnick the next day.
Yeah, and that was all fake. He probably
It
killed
was all
himself.
fake.
Yeah, the next day,
It was
he
all
probably
fake.
died from a drug
I
overdose.
have some more.
He dies the next day, but you say he dies on
Okay,
January 6th.
so-
how can somebody die on January 6th if they're died
Sure.
on January 7th?
So,
Explain
I'll
that
answer
to me.
that. We had the coroner who did an autopsy. A week after the autopsy, he is on
And
the.
so he was a zombie for 12 hours? Is that what it was? He was
Alex,
a zombie?
get
I'm
the-
alive, I'm alive,
Alex,
but I'm dead.
Alex, get the MAGA wax out of your ears and pay attention. I have some facts for you, okay? A week after
Quit
that,
saying a guy died on January 6th when he died
Are
the
you
next
gonna
day.
let me answer? A week after January 6th, the guy who performed the autopsy on Brian Sitnick said that he believed that the state that the body was in the day after January 6th led to what happened on January 6th. He made that statement. This is the same guy who thinks George Floyd died of a drug overdose.
He
You
did
can't
die
talk
of
to
a
these
drug
people.
overdose. The guy used a fake $20 bill. The guy was a porn star, and putting that much pressure on your neck wouldn't choke you out.
Okay.
I'm not saying that it necessarily helped, but he took fentanyl and had a lethal dose in his autopsy.
Some more facts.
When they literally
Hold on,
checked the autopsy, he had a lethal
hold
dose.
on. Some more facts for the Trump mushroom gobbler. Number one, okay, this is important. There were 2 autopsies that were given to George Floyd. In both of those autopsies, they labeled it a homicide. For my special MAGA friend over here,
That
I'll
was
speak,
political.
Hold on,
That
hold
was a
on.
political
I'll speak
diagnosis.
slowly for you. In order for it to be labeled a homicide, it means he would have been forced drugs. Obviously, that didn't happen. A homicide is murder.
He did
Derek
force,
Chauvin is a
he
piece of
forced
shit.
himself to
Derek
take the drugs
Chauvin-
because he didn't want to go to jail
Derek
for
Chauvin
having
is a
possession
convicted-
of
If
controlled
George
substance.
Floyd was white, would you be saying the same thing?
If George Floyd was white, yes, a lot of white guys
Bullshit.
overdose. Yeah.
You think Ben Shapiro would be calling out for Derek Chauvin?
Ben Shapiro's a faggot. I just want everybody to know that. Yeah, so.
I can't argue with him there. We finally
Then we agree on
something.
that. Yeah.
Well, I don't like the derogatory homophobic term. I wouldn't call him that. But I would say he's a phony, just like Candace Owens, Laura Loomer, Myron Gaines, Andrew, all these right-wing grifters. You know how many right-wing grifters you have in your party? It is a fucking
And
joke.
like there's not left-wing grifters. See, I hate this grifter
Name me
argument.
one.
As
Name me
if
one.
we're not all on the internet trying to get clicks, trying to get followers, trying to get people to come to our
You don't
events.
have to-
So
All right,
as
can I
if
give
we
you an
don't have
example?
to market ourselves. Any self-marketing would
I'm
be
going to
considered
give you
a
guys
grift.
an
So-
example. You ready for this? The other day, and by the way, the people who run the Unfuck America tour are wonderful people. Z, who runs this tour, is a wonderful person. She's pregnant. You know what Myron Gaines said to her? This is his friend. Myron Gaines called her a fat Jewish C-word. These are the kinds of people that get credentialed into that Klan rally across the street.
Yeah, I don't know why you care so much. I mean, sticks and stones might break my bones. I mean,
He's a
fat
grifter.
bitches will never
Say
hurt
it.
me. Like,
Myron Gaines is a grifter. Say it.
no, he's not a grifter. The guy, hey, he helps
Do you
young
support
people.
that language?
Yeah, I support that language. I support the First Amendment. I'm a free speech absolutist. If you guys want to say something, I don't give a damn what it is. And that's what I'm sick of guys like you that say, oh, I support the First Amendment. Yet you want to shut down
This
people like
isn't
Myron.
about
You
the
want to
First-
shut down people for speaking against
No,
the
I don't.
vaccine.
Who do I
no.
want to shut down?
Well, I'm saying, I bet during
Who do I
COVID,
want to shut down?
during COVID, you did not like people sharing misinformation.
See what he did there? He says he thinks I wanted to shut down people. Can you name me one time ever in my life I've tried
I'm
to shut
just saying,
somebody? I'm just saying.
The left does not
I'm
value.
just saying.
The left left does
I'm not
not
the left.
value the
I'm not
First
the left.
Amendment. Okay, I'm just saying in general, the left does not value the First
Okay,
Amendment
I don't
as
want
much
to
as the
shut them
right.
down. I want to call them out. Do you understand the
And
difference?
I agree with you on that. I think we
You
should be
just
calling
said
out
you supported
hypocrisy.
Myron Gaines, calling her fat. She's a pregnant woman.
Yeah, he doesn't like her. I support anybody's
cannot-
right to say whatever he
you
wants. He
can-
calls
it's
the
not-
N-word. What do I
Alex,
look like, the word
Alex,
police? I'm not
Alex,
his boss.
Alex,
I'm not his
Alex,
boyfriend. What
Alex,
do you think I am?
Well, you might be. Alex, the point I'm trying to make is this. It's not that they don't have a right to say it. That's not my point. The point is we should be able to call it out, and he won't do it. He's a coward.
I feel like I call out a lot of stuff, but
Call out Myron Gaines for calling her fat.
Once again,
Call her out for calling her. You're a Jewish
she is
person.
pregnant. She is pregnant, right? So she's probably heavy set. Good for her.
So calling her fat
No,
and
I'm
calling
saying
her the
she's
C
not
word is
fat.
good?
She just happens to be pregnant. I'm saying so for her.
This is unbelievable.
She shouldn't feel that bad because she just
Myron
happens to be
Gaines might
temporarily
be the most
pregnant. So-
anti-Semitic person I've ever met. Alex Stein is Jewish, and he won't call out Myron Gaines.
I'm a fake Jew, not a real one.
Will you call out Fuentes, Nick Fuentes?
Well, Nick Fuentes has some very hot takes about the Holocaust
my
that I need to do
God.
some research about. But some
This
of it,
is a Jewish man who supports the
some
Holocaust
Some of
denier.
it sounds quite
I'm
interesting
gonna
from what I've
explode.
heard, but I don't need to call people out. I'm not here to give people purity tests because I'm not some sort of homosexual like you. I want people to be edgy. I want people to say crazy stuff because that's the world we live in.
Hold on.
And the world is normally boring. We need
Hold
to mix
on.
things up.
Hold
We
on.
need to stir the pot,
Hold
not
on.
just try to like keep it still and safe.
There is a
That's
difference.
pussy.
There is a difference between being edgy and being an anti-Semitic, racist piece of shit. Do you not understand the difference?
Well, I would argue that now on the internet we have free speech. We can basically make fun of anybody we want, except for one country in the Middle East, the
It's
size of
not
New Jersey.
about being able to do it. It's about calling it out. Do you not understand the difference? Will you condemn Myron Gaines right
No,
now?
what I'm saying is,
Oh my God, it's
even
so
a
pathetic.
racist statement is allowed under the First Amendment. So it's not my job to call it out. If a white person's racist, a black person's racist, I don't give a damn. It's not my job. I'm not the racist police.
Okay, but these are people that you associate yourself with.
Yeah, and you know what? I like somebody a little edge. I don't like some cookie cutter guy.
So you think it's edge to
some-
be anti-Semitic and racist?
And I like some of these Muslims that are like to, want to blow up.
Do you think it's edgy
a
to be
synagogue.
anti-Semitic and racist?
Well, I'm friends with
Would you
everybody.
call the Klan
I'm
edgy?
true.
Would you call the Klan edgy?
I would say that they have, some style and fashion.
You are not serious. These are people that hung black people. You're calling the Klan edgy? You're going to defend the Klan?
Well,
What a shocker! Donald Trump is the guy that said stand
obviously
back and stand by.
the KKK is edgy. They wouldn't let me in because my last name's Stein. But no, on a serious note, I guess what you're trying to argue right now is
Just
that
call out bad people,
No, is
Alex.
that I need to call out people, and I kind of get that because that's a serious thing that's happening right now with the Tucker, with the Candace drama, and I think this purity test is the gayest thing ever. Like, I'm seeing it like what you're trying to give me, and that's a serious thing that's been happening on the right where we're giving all each other purity tests when half the people on the right are closeted homosexuals or, a bad person. So
Myron Gaines.
And nobody can really pass the purity test that they try to give. So that's why I think it's all bullshit, and we
okay.
shouldn't have to have that.
All right, so there's a difference between passing the purity test and having the leader of the free world attack. I want you to get this on record.
Hey, I will say this on record. I will say this about Trump.
Rob Reiner and his wife were murdered by their son. And hours and days after, Donald Trump attacked the family. Will you condemn those remarks?
Yeah, I did not like those statements, and this is my one complaint, too, during Trump's presidency, is that whether Trump likes you, whether you voted for Trump or not, whether he likes you, it is the job of the president once he gets in office is to be a uniter. And I would argue that he's not uniting right now. He's actually stirring division. He's stirring the
10
pot.
minutes.
He's posting AI slop pooping on Harry
Okay, but
Season.
Alex, I
so
appreciate
I agree
that.
he's
Alex.
we should be the ones mixing and stirring the pot, not our politicians. We should be yelling at our politicians, not letting them fuck with
Alex,
us. We should fuck with them.
Alex, I agree with you, and I'm glad you said that. But Jack Posobiec, who is one of the biggest faces of the Republican Party, defended it and called him a counterpuncher. You're not a counterpuncher when you punch somebody that is dead, okay? You're not a counterpuncher.
Hey, and you know what? If Rob Reiner died of anything else, cancer, this and that, I could probably defend Trump. But the fact is what it was called a double parricide, where two parents are killed like that, it's really... I don't know why we'd have any ill will anymore. It's one of the worst deaths you can have, a child killing both parents.
I agree. Alex, after John McCain died, Donald Trump made it about himself. After Powell died, Donald Trump made it about himself. Every single time there's a tragedy, even after the Reagan
Well, I think
crash.
it's okay with those people because, they died naturally. Like, if they would have had it more, John McCain died of cancer over a long time, and should he have been a little more respectful? I don't know. That's debatable. But if John McCain would have died and been murdered, I think that would have been low class. But the fact that I'm saying the way in which they died affects the way I think Trump should have handled it.
Why do you think Trump wasn't invited at McCain's funeral?
I have no idea. Who gives a shit? I mean,
Who gives a shit? I give a shit, and I'll tell you why. When you're the president of the United States, you are put at a higher standard than people like you or me. When somebody hold on.
Yeah,
when
but he's like a uniparty guy, deep
it doesn't
state
matter.
guy.
This
So,
isn't
I
about
mean-
politics. It's about human decency. When somebody dies or they're murdered, the bottom line is you need to show decency when you're the president of the United States, and you need to be above all that stuff.
I do agree that he needs to be above it. He needs to be the bigger man sometimes. And
He's not. Well, he is a big man.
He needs to
He
just be
is
the
a big
bigger
man.
man. And Donald Trump wants to keep stirring things up. I would agree that he needs to kind of unify us and not have so much division. I agree
What
on
is it
that.
about Kamala Harris that you just hated so much that you couldn't vote for her?
Because she's retarded. She's an actual idiot. At least AOC can put a sentence together.
She's retarded?
Yes, Kamala Harris is not smart. You know that she's not. She's so untalented. Whenever she walks to a table, we're sitting here. I'm in a blue
You think
shirt.
Pam Bondi is smart? You think Christy Nolan is smart?
No, they're not the vice president of the United States.
You
They're
think
not as
Kash
powerful.
Patel's doing a good job?
Dude,
He's smart?
Literally, Joe Biden said we need a black woman of color. Like he
So
used
what?
DEI. That means any qualified white guy was totally ineligible. So that means we
Why
have
is
a
Kamala-
meritocracy.
What
We
is
have a
the-
DEI presidency.
No.
And we need to
No,
have
no,
the
no, no,
best
no, no.
candidate,
No.
not based on their
No.
color, but based on their performance.
Let me tell you what a DEI hire is, in my opinion. A DEI hire is somebody that you put in office that has little to no experience. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Okay, Marco Rubio has experience. Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, Christy Noam, the puppy murderer. These are white DEI hires. It's why he has one of the whitest administrations in American history. Those are DEI hires. Why is it that he hired so few minorities? Why would you call our former vice president, who has been duly elected twice as the attorney general, who has more intelligence and experience in her pinky than you have in your whole body?
Maybe so, but she also dated Montel Williams, so she's a hoe, and I've never been a hoe for Montel Williams.
Right.
So I've never sucked Montel's dick. She has, so she takes the L. I take the W
well,
on
who's
that.
Bubba? Who's Bubba?
I don't know who Bubba
Who's
is.
Bubba?
I don't know who Bubba is, but I also know that her husband, Doug, she's such an evil wife. In her biography, she talks about how her husband didn't get her a nice enough birthday present while
Okay.
she was campaigning for president
Last
of the
thing.
United States of America.
5 minutes,
So
5
she
minutes.
threw her own husband under the bus, bash him for a few clicks on her new book. So she's an evil, sick, demented woman that never had any kids because her uterus is probably dried up like Satan's asshole.
Should I even respond? How could anybody clap for that disgusting?
That guy's awesome, and
Let me
he's
tell
Asian.
you.
God bless.
Yes. Well, let me tell you something about the guy who's awesome. He's wearing a fucking Alex Jones shirt. The guy.
Yeah!
Hold on.
Alex Jones
the guy
won,
who
right.
said the school shooting in Connecticut didn't happen. Let me be very clear on this, and I'm going to be
Wait, no,
very
he
clear.
said it happened.
Hold
He
on.
said no kids died.
Anybody in this room who is a big Alex Jones fan, or anybody in this room that is not willing to condemn the comments that Donald Trump made about the Reiners, you can burn in hell, because that's what I feel about you.
Final statements, gentlemen.
You know, thank you guys. Give yourselves a round of applause. Yes. I know it's kind of hard to hear. I am the pimp on the blimp. Okay, look, Alex, 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 Alex. Fuck it on Fuck America. I love you guys. God bless America. God bless Donald Trump. And we love you, Charlie Kern. We are Charlie, 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 Charlie.
Ryan.
So I'm not going to thrust for everybody because I don't think anybody wants to see that. I will thank Alex for being here and at least having the guts to be here. I do appreciate him for being here. And people at AmFest have been very nice to me, and I will give them credit for that. I talked to Jack Posobiec today, and I had some good conversations with some people, even though I felt like I was the only person on the left that was there. And I did feel like I was at a Klan rally, Alex. I really did. A lot of ignorant white people, but that's okay. But I will say this in closing. I'm worried about where this country is going. I'm worried about where we're headed. The next 3 years are going to be very, very difficult. And I wish people would be informed. And what I mean by informed, not is listening to Fox News or Newsmax. I think there are more important topics that we should be discussing rather than what people do going into restrooms. So that's my personal opinion. I don't know if I can start a chant if anybody would like to start one with me. Fuck Trump! Fuck Trump! Fuck Trump! Fuck Trump! Fuck Trump! Fuck Trump! Fuck us. Thank you.
Adam Mockler comes to stage. Destiny, come to stage.
Destiny, where are you, bro? I told him to come over here.
It's your team that does.
Are we going straight into questions?
Yeah.
Or should I wait?
Yeah, bro.
All right.
Yes. I told this guy 20 minutes ago that he needs to get up here. I don't know.
Guys, thanks for coming. We're gonna jump straight into Q&A. So if you'd like to come up and ask a question to Destiny and Adam, please have it prepared in your phone notes and come up on the left side here. Form a line on the left. One question each. Please have it prepared on your phone notes so we could get straight to it. And let's get it going.
Let's go.
Do you want to open?
Do
you want to make like a little opening? Okay, so we'll open up with some statements. If you guys disagree with them, feel free to line up on the left here. You want to start it off, Adam?
Yeah, okay. So we're going to do questions in about 3 or 4 minutes. We're just going to do some opening statements about how we feel about the Trump admin thus far. We are 11 months into the second Trump term, and it's been an unmitigated disaster. We have repeated acts of authoritarianism to try to consolidate power heading into the midterms because their policy, everything they've done is so incredibly unpopular. Right now, the Republicans are trying to rig the midterms by redistricting Texas and multiple other states. The reason why they are doing that is because all of their policy has been an abject failure. We can look at the economy where unemployment is up, inflation is up since Biden left office, youth unemployment is uniquely up, black unemployment is up even more, which is an early indicator of a weakening job market. The tariff regime has been an absolute mess. Donald Trump, roughly a month ago, removed the tariffs on beef, which is a concession that the tariffs do increase prices for consumers. Why the hell else would he remove the tariffs for beef if they didn't increase prices? So the tariffs have been a mess. He claims that he's brought in all this money he hasn't brought in. The immigration policy has been even worse. We can have a debate about the border and how people feel about that, but the interior enforcement has been so damn unpopular. I don't know how you defend 80-year-old women getting their ribs cracked because they were thrown on the ground by ICE agents who are clearly undertrained. So we're seeing this happen in the interior enforcement, in the economy, the Epstein files. I'm sure I missed a lot of issues like no new wars and then going to war, or at least striking boats in Venezuela and putting a no-fly zone over Venezuela. A lot of issues in the first Trump admin have been dog shit for the Trump admin. And with that, if you disagree with anything we said, we can start doing the audience questions over there.
Is this even on? Is this on? Really quickly, y'all. Hey guys, everyone. We're asking for everyone to be as quiet as possible because it's going to be really hard to hear anything if people are talking. So these are you guys' headliners. These are the people you guys are obviously here for. So please keep it down as much as possible. Thank y'all.
All right, so start lining up, guys. If you have questions, if you have disagreements, we'll start one by one on the left side here.
Right side.
Oh, right side, sorry.
Quite a line. There we go. No, it's a line over there.
What?
No, they're just watching, I think.
I think they're just watching.
Wow, everyone's scared?
Corey, what do you think about the
You guys are too intimidating.
What I mean, the Trump admin sucks so far. It's indefensible. I think that's why like 90% of Trump will spend most of their time talking about girl cock and whatever else. Yeah, there we go. We got some trans lovers in the audience. That and Lake and Riley and I don't know. Debating any Trump on substance right now is basically impossible. I feel like one of the reasons why their counterculture movements like the Groypers and everybody are getting so popular is because Trump is so indefensible on literally all policy and all fact that you can basically just have whatever position you want. I will admit it's a guilty pleasure of mine watching Ben Shapiro flounder like crazy on stage when he realizes that everybody doesn't love Israel or Jews as much as he does. And he's like, wait a second, okay, blacks, trans people, all of this, it was okay, but like I draw the line in Israel.
Here.
Yeah, not okay. Okay, you want to bomb Venezuela and Mexico, sure, but like cutting off support from Israel, I don't know about that one.
Vivek too. Vivek is like, you can make fun of everyone else, but the Indian hate, it's a little bit too far.
That's true, which is why we're all hyped for J.D. Vance's new marriage soon to the Queen, Erica, right? It's coming up soon, right?
Got our first question here. Speak loudly, please.
How's it going? My first question is, how is it simply a reminder for the seditious six to say that it's not unlawful to disobey unlawful orders, but it's not just a reminder by Trump to say what sedition is, to remind people what sedition is? How is that different?
Well, what they, quote unquote, what Alyssa Slotkin and the other 5 representatives and senators did was quote the Uniform Code of Military Justice. The Uniform Code of Military Justice says explicitly you must disobey unlawful orders and you must obey lawful orders. So it's not sedition to quote that. The Trump argument is that they are using that as a pretext to tell soldiers to disobey future orders, but that's a shit argument too, because then we saw that Pete Hegseth may have given illegal orders to do his second strike in the Caribbean Ocean. So there are cases where illegal orders should not be followed. And then regarding the latter half of your question, I wouldn't say that what Trump was doing was sedition when he was defining sedition? Sorry, I don't get the last half of your question.
Just reminding people the punishment for sedition. Why couldn't we just say that?
Well, I think, so the issue is, I know this is really hard, but like for the Trumples, okay, the issue is one of fact, right? So double tapping people that are shipwrecked in the ocean is in fact illegal. You can't do that. It's illegal under U.S. law. It's illegal under international law. Basically, anybody that has anything in the water recognizes the illegality of this. It's not illegal to remind people not to follow illegal orders. It's a core part of being in the military. You pledge allegiance to the Constitution, not to some crazy presidential guy. So the idea that we can see like clearly illegal acts happening and that people can say, hey, you don't have to follow legal orders, I think is a lot different than Trump saying maybe we should hang my political opponents because of seditious conspiracy when they haven't really done anything, I would say, that rises to the level of seditious conspiracy. I think if we had like military people, examples of them not following orders because of what politicians were saying, it'd be maybe stronger, but we do have like examples of at least one strike that was like very clearly against international humanitarian law and against like U.S. military law. So
can I answer the second part of your question? Because I do get what you're saying. The problem with the president of the United States proactively saying something is sedition and they should be quote unquote, he said hang them, George Washington would. Now this was a retruth that the president did. He's without a trial, without any due process, he's being the judge that they committed sedition, that they should be hung. So I just don't think it's okay for the President of the United States, the Commander-in-Chief, who has a lot of sway, to be saying that people are committing sedition before an investigation based off of his instinct. Do you get where I'm coming from there? That the President's word means a lot, right?
Next question. We got the next question.
Next question. That was a good one, though. That was good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, this is for
Class
Destiny.
for the questions.
This is for Destiny. Do you miss your ex-wife?
not as much as I missed your mom.
He wanted the clip.
That, to be clear, that was kind of a joke response. I still visit with your mom, so.
Next question.
So, we claim to be anti-war, but when it comes to Israel, we're incredibly willing to send billions of dollars. Why is that? Like, what makes the mass murdering of babies something that we should send money to?
Are you asking me?
Either one of you.
I think that, honestly, over the past 2 years, my position on Israel has changed a lot. I mean, after October 7th, I was clearly like, yeah, go fucking get them all, get all of Hamas. But I don't know the exact point. There's a certain moment where I'm like, I feel like this is way too far, and the United States sending unconditional aid without any sort of, like, we should at least have a say in what they're doing. Now, you might disagree, but I want to hear what you think on that. Should we send unconditional aid to Israel?
No, I don't think it should ever be unconditional. I think the big problem with Israel right now is we don't have a president with like a comprehensive vision of the Middle East. So, I mean, insofar as there are like unconditional funds sent to Israel, I mean, no funds from the United States should ever be unconditional. They're always conditioned on some kind of mutual interest. But the president right now doesn't have any idea or concept of what interest in any region of the world should look like. So, I mean, insofar as Israel's unleashed, then they should be unfunded by the United States as far as I'm concerned. If we are funding them, then there should be some kind of contingencies on those funds, I would say. I think it's pretty reasonable, yeah.
My friend has a criteria. He has 2 criteria for countries that we should fund. One is that they're the good guys. They're the good guys in the war. So Ukraine, for example, unequivocally the good guys. They are being invaded by a larger country. But secondly, there has to be a chance that they can actually lose. Right now, I know that Israel is surrounded by a bunch of combative countries, but there's not really a chance Israel is going to lose against Palestine. So I don't know if we should be sending, number 1, unconditional aid, number 2, to a country that's clearly the one that's winning, and number 3, we should at least draw some lines. I mean, it's gotten way too far. So that's a good question.
Thank you. Next question.
All right. So, my name's Jeff. So I have a question. Since January 6th and the revival of the MAGA party and Trump into the 2024 election, I felt I've been pushed more to the left and well away from the center, which is like where I can kind of consider myself for like a long period of time. I look at my Republican family and my friends and question or wonder why and how they can continue to support this. Do you think this is like a uniquely diverse time in American politics, or have I become chronically online?
What's the first part of that? You felt like the Democrats have gone further left? Was that the first part of your question, or?
No. I have been pushed further left because of January 6th.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a unique time in that the issue right now you have is on the left, they're still doing politics and governance and doing things that you would expect Congress and politicians to do. But on the right, it's basically become a reality TV freak show where it's what's Trump going to say? What wacky catchphrase is he going to utter today on TV? And I mean, I feel like you kind of saw it in some of the debates earlier today. None of the people up here seem very serious in defending Trump because his policies are basically indefensible. Mike Johnson has been, screwed more than any politician in America. He was hung out to dry on that Epstein stuff. And there's a lot of grumbling of representatives in Congress on the Republican side who are does Trump even know that we fucking exist? And, every time Trump comes out and he brags well, I can fix the border and I can fix drugs and I can fix all these things without even using Congress. What he's really saying is I don't know how to use Congress. When everything, when all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. So in terms of being pushed further left, I just think the issue is that right now the right has literally no principled policy positions on anything. We've seen people on the right do things that you could never imagine, whether it's supporting new forms of taxation like tariffs, or whether it's sometimes being incredibly dovish, saying we shouldn't be involved in any foreign wars, or sometimes being incredibly hawkish, like we're assassinating Venezuelan nationals. There's just no principled foundation. I think that's why you're seeing a lot of the infighting right now at the TPUSA event between Ben Shapiro and your Candace Owens and your Megyn Kellys and your Erica Kirks and everything else, because there is no policy position, there's no principles. And yeah, everybody in the Republican Party is trying to carve out a new path forward. What are we going to look like? Because right now it's a smorgasbord of crazy stuff.
I want to add on to that. I think your question was are we in a uniquely divisive time in American history? Absolutely. Stephen always says this, but norms in a democracy work like consent. You can't have meaningful consent if only one side is engaging in it, and you can't have meaningful norms if only one side is engaging in the norm. So, I mean, you can go back to Trump entering politics in 2012, but I feel like Rush Limbaugh and this whole radio era, Newt Gingrich, these people entered us into a new era of politics, and that manifested in the Tea Party / the MAGA movements that is absolutely uniquely divisive. You are not too chronically online. And that was your question. The President of the United States is calling for former presidents to be arrested via AI videos. He's posting AI memes of Chicago being invaded, and then he sent the National Guard to Chicago and then said J.B. Pritzker and Mayor Johnson should be arrested. The President of the United States clearly tried to steal the election with a fake elector scheme. You're not tripping. It is definitely uniquely divisive. And you know what really messes with me is the double standards between sides. The average American thinks that the right and the left are about corrupt to the same degree. They think what Nancy Pelosi did in the stock market is about the same as Trump coin. That's what really fucks with me. They think that Donald Trump and the fake elector scheme in January 6th is the same as Hillary Clinton saying on Howard Stern one time that Trump is illegitimate. You know how they try to compare those two exact things? The double standards and people not realizing how uniquely bad Trump is, I think it just blows my mind. That's what fucks with me a lot.
Good question. Thank you. Next question, please.
Hi, my question is about I feel like we're focusing a lot on people's opinion when the opinions are downstream from the media itself, but it feels like we don't ever really, there's like a side effect, if that makes sense. So like we're treating the symptoms but not the disease. I'm wondering what can we do to better tackle that side of things rather than like focusing so much on the MAGAs and the Trumples who are really just they're getting their reality from their media.
I mean, I think the issue you run into sometimes is like, imagine you're a parent, you've got two kids, and one is clearly more of a fuck up than the other. You can't really represent that to your children. You always have to treat both of them like they're on equal footing. Or if you're a teacher, or if you're a therapist with couples counseling, you always have to treat both on equal footing. And the reality is right now there is a unique problem on the right when it comes to misinformation. And there's really like no way to address this without coming off as like politically biased or politically partisan. I think a really great example was the media environment we lived in 2020, where conservatives will complain and it's like, well, media was all against us. And it's like, yeah, because you fucking morons thought that eating horse paste would cure your COVID and you didn't believe in fucking vaccines. And I remember the debates like 5 years ago when I literally said, well, in 5 years when there haven't been the mass deaths, there haven't been the mass like heart events, there haven't been, none of this stuff happens, are you guys going to be pro-vaccine? And I think a few people are like, well, yeah, in 5 years maybe, but they weren't, right? Not only are they anti-mRNA vaccine, they're anti like all vaccines now. Now they give these arbitrary like, well, we don't like the schedule, we don't like whatever else. And so when you're constantly in this environment where you have to treat both sides like they have the same problems, you're not going to be able to address the severe problems on one side. And I think the conservative media apparatus is like intentionally built out like this problem that now they're having to confront directly. I think you see that in like Ben Shapiro where he's like, man, why are you guys all so anti-Semitic and obsessed with all this weird stuff? And it's like, well, what do you mean? It was like the next logical step. So I think that we have to do something to clean up our media environment, and we have to do something to clean up the the epistemic foundations that our media environment operates under. But the problem is, whatever solution to that problem has is going to come off as severely politically partisan because it's mainly one side that's having a lot of the problems right now, and it feels bad to say that. Nobody wants to admit it, I guess, because it feels like they sound too politically partisan if they do that.
You have anything to add to that, Adam?
No, not to that, but I just want to say, I know for a fact there are Trump supporters in the crowd. I know for a fact there are Trump voters in the crowd. Come ask a respectful question about immigration, about Kamala Harris. We don't care. Come ask a question. The Jew, whatever. If you're a groiper, ask whatever you want. A respectful question. Okay, sorry. That was a good question, though. Yes.
Next question.
Okay, we got some MAGA. See, we
got some?
Yeah, we got some MAGA. Oh, that guy back there. But okay, let's keep going.
All right.
Hi, I'm a young conservative, but I align more with like moderate views when it comes to policy. And I've heard a lot about conservatives and what their views are and what to like cause more unity rather than division, because I feel like there's a lot of division right now with liberal and conservatives. And I'm wondering what you guys and what your stance is on how we should create more unity and have more conversations, because we know that like when we don't have conversations, civil war starts to happen, et cetera, and I'm wondering what y'all's plan would be.
You're not going to like this answer as a conservative, but I think it comes from the top down oftentimes. I think the president of the United States has to set the tone and provide moral clarity on what's happening. And like a really good example that you probably disagree with too was when Rob Reiner was brutally murdered a few days ago. And then Trump immediately decided to post this long...
Nope, hold on, not immediately. It was a day after all the conservatives got on Twitter and were like, well, this is what our side does. Notice how we don't celebrate the murder of your guys like random Twitter people do? And then like 12 to 24 hours later, then Trump got on and then said, go ahead,
They tried to take the moral high ground, then Trump completely fucking undercut them and sideswiped them, and he just posted that. And then some of them switched positions and were like, yeah, that's base. Some of them were like, okay, a lot of conservatives thought that was way too far. Absolutely. I just think there's a unique problem with the way Donald Trump engages with the media environment. I mean, the way he entered U.S. politics 10 years ago was by saying Obama wasn't born in the United States. He made a conspiracy about Obama. He said he wants to lock Hillary up, and he tried to say the election was stolen. I think that there are problems with people on the left online who say divisive things, but on the right, I just see it as a top-down problem. And when it comes to division, even within your own party right now, within your own party, between the Groypers and between the Ben Shapiro types, I don't even see J.D. Vance coming out with moral clarity. Don't you think at least J.D. Vance should come out and say, listen, he doesn't have to make it about his wife, but his wife is Indian. He should be like, listen, it's not cool to be anti-Semitic and hate Indian people. So I think if we had a top-down way to do that, listen, I'm not saying the Democrats are perfect either, but I just don't see Joe Biden or like Kamala Harris tweeting or using this insane type of shit, insane type of rhetoric, but...
And I think to add to this, the biggest issue with like calls for unity, as much as I appreciate it, is that when conservatives act unhinged, they get a lot for it. We lost the Gore election to a pretty crazy Supreme Court ruling. We lost a Supreme Court justice pick, which is a pretty big deal. In my maybe uneducated opinion, I feel like Amy Barrett could be like a swing vote in the Supreme Court, but right now she's just another conservative among 5 other conservatives. And so when conservatives can kind of act crazy and they get rewarded so much for it, and then after their disastrous presidencies, whether we're talking about Bush, whether we're talking about Trump 1 at the end with COVID and everything else, that when they can come back and say, well, we need to have unity now, it's like, okay, well, motherfucker, you got so much from your disunity, and now you're calling for unity. And like, what do we expect to happen? Let's say that a Democrat wins. Let's say we have like a Gavin Newsom president from 2028 to 2032 or whatever. Who's the next Republican going to be? Is it going to be a unifying Republican, or is it going to be like a Trump version 2.0? And it's like, well, fuck. Like one of the reasons why I love Biden so much, who's my American hero, I love Biden. What a great man. Is that I feel like Biden, for whatever conservatives said about him, he was the moderate pick. He came out, he worked on bipartisan legislation, he did everything he could to be a president for all Americans, and then you get Donald Trump that comes out and he's like, fuck everybody else, here's who we're gonna indict, here are the immigrants we're gonna fucking kill, here are the states we're gonna send the fucking military to, here are the ways that we're gonna support Israel because why not LOL, and here are all of the weirdo foreign people that we're gonna support when it benefits me personally, and then if you want to donate to influence my opinion on any of this, here's the largest 2 crypto scams in the world, right? And it's like, if we have all this stuff going on the Republican side, damn, like where's the accountability? Like what incentive does the left even have for unity? Like it feels like a parent-child transaction all the time, and that, I don't know, that drives me crazy personally.
They took away the nice guy Joe Biden. They're not going to like what's standing behind
now
him.
They're going to get the Gavin Newsom press team.
Yeah.
You know the Gavin Newsom press team.
Oh yeah.
They say bad words on Twitter.
They cook.
They're real big.
And it's
yeah.
just as bad as what the president of the United States does.
True, actually, yeah, true.
I really appreciate that question.
Yeah, thank
Did
you
have
for the
a follow-up
question.
or anything?
Also, wait, real quick. I will say also, if you, assuming you are what you say you are, like a moderate Republican, I feel the worst for moderate Republicans because a moderate conservative, like a never Trumper, basically, is they either have to kind of become a liberal or they're like a fucking outcast from their entire friend group because they're all like crazy MAGA supporters. So your friends are all liberals who are like pro-choice and pro-pansexual and pro whatever weird shit liberals are into, right? Which we are. We love that.
Oh yeah.
But like you have no conservative friends because all your conservative friends are like, did you see Trump's epic fucking tweet today? And like that's all you have for friends. And that's like, yeah, I feel the worst for like moderate Republicans. I have a few moderate Republican friends that it's like you guys got burned the hardest, I think.
Thank you.
Who would y'all want to run in 2028 for the Democratic Party?
Good question.
Who would I ideally want to run? Right now, every prediction market says Gavin Newsom is the front runner. I don't know if he's really I don't know if he'll appeal on a national stage. I mean, California is a pretty expensive state, and right now affordability is the issue. That seems kind of incongruent, right? Who would I ideally like to see?
It's too long. How are you gonna say?
It's kind of
3 years.
Think
from
about
now.
it like
We
this.
don't even know if we're gonna have fair midterm elections.
Think about it like this. If you asked people in 2004 who they thought was going to win 2008, no one would have said Obama. And if you asked people in 2012 who was going to win in 2016, no one would have fucking said Trump. Like, I would like to see like a Buttigieg or like I guess Newsom's okay. I'm just a big fan of his social media. I honestly don't know. I don't know. I want to see a liberal who can punch back, and I don't want to see him do the Trumpian type shit, but I want to see someone who can at least get down and dirty and not just go high every time. What do they say? When they go low, kick them in the face. In a video game.
Not Kamala, she said.
No.
Okay. All right, thank y'all so
She can run in the primary. Kamala can run in the primary. I have no problem. There's going to be a massive primary. This election I've heard is going to be the first ideological battle in the Democratic Party since like the 90s. I mean, we had Hillary Clinton win in 2008, but her and Obama were roughly the same in ideology. We had Biden in 2016. He was roughly the same. Or no, sorry, we had Hillary in 2016. I just messed it up. She was roughly the same as Obama. We had Biden, roughly the same as Obama. We finally have the first real ideological battle in the Democratic Party between the more populist economics, or are we going to go back to the center lib, stuff like that, or is it going to be resist Trump? Is it going to be the Gavin Newsom resist lib type thing? Who knows if in 3 years resist liberalism is going to be the topic, or is it just going to be affordability? I mean, like, AOC, I could see her coming in. I don't know if for the third time in a row, running a woman candidate would be good. But if she wins the primary,
I just because you said that and you triggered me. Hillary smashed the popular vote.
But
she did. She won the popular vote
but
by a
Biden
lot.
would have won the actual electoral vote.
Maybe. Well, we don't
Not
know.
even-
That's hard to say,
I'm just making an argument. I think the Democrats have run uniquely unpopular.
Well, I think the future is female, so fuck
Okay.
you, Adam. Okay.
Thank you for the question.
He's saying that because he has a female name.
Is this the MAGA kid?
Hello, my name is Landon. I'm 14. I'm a young liberal. And my question was, what do you think is going to happen to the MAGA movement, after Trump dies? Because obviously these people have had these opinions for a long time, and they just really needed a speaker. So do you think it's going to continue as severe and as divided as we are now, or do you think it's going to kind of settle down?
I don't think anyone as divisive can fill that gap. I think that the conservative movement will probably see some infighting. The thing with Trump is that he had all of the Republican Congress people wrapped around his finger in such a way that he could get the Republicans to vote for him for anything. But now he's starting to lose that. So Speaker of the House Mike Johnson, he lost on an Epstein vote 2 months ago. He legit got rolled on an Epstein vote. And this just happened again with the discharge petition for the Affordable Care Act. So Speaker Mike Johnson got rolled again by the Democrats and a small amount of Republicans. I think that as Donald Trump's power wanes within Congress, he's going to become increasingly desperate and the MAGA movement's going to fall apart. It's hard to tell who's going to take up the mantle. J.D. Vance doesn't have the same charisma. J.D. Vance doesn't have the same ability to wrap people around his finger. I don't think anyone as divisive as Trump's going to pop up. He's uniquely good at turning out low propensity voters who see clips of him, these voters who really don't vote a lot, just like young dudes who play video games and do that. He's really good at turning those people out. I don't know if there's going to be a repeat, but what do you think, Steve?
It's okay to not vote. It's okay to, if you don't I feel like one of the big problems with the whole Trump thing is because Trump was such a cultural phenomenon, he kind of bled over into a lot of traditional non-voter demographics, and then those people thought it'd be a good idea to vote because Joe Rogan, was eating horse paste or whatever. And I feel like it's okay to just not be an engaged voter and to not vote. It's okay to not vote. And we need more of that. We need to encourage more non-voting.
Really? Don't you think a healthy democracy has an engaged populace, though?
I think a healthy democracy is when the people voting are the engaged Democratic public. Not like Democratic Party, but if the only thing you know about politics comes from one of the top 3 Spotify feeds right now, you probably shouldn't be voting at all.
Don't talk about Candace Owens like that, bro.
Well, Joe Rogan's up there too, right? And then who's number 3? It's probably what?
Rogan.
Isn't that? Didn't I say that already?
Well, Rogan, Candace, and it might be
Tucker, Sean Ryan.
Midas Touch is up there sometimes, but Sean Kelly.
The Midas people, they can vote, but none of the other ones.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That was a really good question.
Thank you. 14-year-old.
14.
Isn't that basically, how old are you again?
16.
Okay.
Old enough to fuck your mom.
Okay.
Adam, can you tell him to let me hold the mic, please?
We have to hold the mic. That's the rule.
I mean, no, it's how it is.
Let him hold it. Bro, let him hold it. Stop censoring the public. Give him the mic. Give him the mic. Give him the mic. We're good. Yeah, do it.
Thanks.
Yeah, there we
I
go.
don't know what your problem is, bro.
Yeah, fuck this guy. Okay.
Okay.
He's
What's
got the
your
hat. No, I'm
name?
just kidding. I'm just kidding. My name is Steven. I'm Steven, or Destiny,
sorry.
yeah. Steven.
Steven.
Yeah.
Steven. I'm Mike. Mike in Munich. Adam and I, we know each other, right? But
we debated yesterday.
Yeah, of course. How you guys going? You speak really fast. I watch YouTube videos at double speed. I wouldn't do that with you.
Thank you.
So, yeah,
That's
you
a compliment
guys
to me.
practice your rhetoric, and you're good with it. It's, you're just like Charlie Kirk. You're talking with people who don't practice on this type
don't
of
insult
thing
me
on
on
a day-to-day
stage, okay?
basis like you
Hold
guys
the mic
do.
closer to your
But
mouth, please.
I'm just going to call you a couple
Hold
of things.
the mic closer.
Hold the mic up closer to your mouth. Thank you. I was really, Steve. You really like Biden. You think he's a great guy?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you think about the pullout in Afghanistan?
What do I think about the what?
The Afghanistan withdrawal.
I mean, it wasn't ideal. It sucks.
Ideal? It
Yeah.
wasn't ideal?
It
That's
wasn't
an
ideal.
understatement, bro. I mean, hundreds of people were left behind. Thousands of people lost their lives because of the way they did it.
Thousands? Wasn't it like there was an ISIS terrorist attack?
I know.
Well, but aren't you guys? Well, I don't know if you're a conservative or not, but didn't you guys say no
Thousands
Afghanistanis?
of Afghanis that helped the American troops were left behind to be killed by the Taliban because the Taliban knew who they were. They hunted them down and they killed them all. Biden couldn't give a shit.
Well,
And the
no, I
13
think Biden gave a shit.
No, it was.
Well, hold on. Wait. The person who abandoned allies the most would have been Trump when he pulled out of Syria and abandoned our Kurdish allies to the Turkish murderers. Number one. Number two, the Afghanistan pullout
You're
was
changing the subject.
The Afghanistan pullout was an issue. Trump negotiated that pullout. Not only did Trump negotiate that pullout, before Trump left office, when he talks about the military ignoring his orders, the biggest order that they ignored was when he said pull all the military out of Afghanistan. Yeah.
This is the problem.
Okay, what's the problem?
When we or you guys debate other people on subjects, you want to win, you want to stand your ground, you don't want to cede ground, you don't want to tell me that I was right about anything. You're going to give me a counter argument. Trump did this or that. I'm talking about abandoning the Air Force Base before you get the civilians out. What the fuck? Holy shit. Did the media call him out on it? No.
What you mean? His popularity suffered the most in the entire press. I don't know if it ever recovered after the Afghanistan pullout. I agree that like it was definitely not ideal. But
Next up,
the issue is
I just want to point out
let's talk about
why the guy
let's talk about the pullout deal that Trump negotiated. When Trump negotiated that pullout deal, the Afghanistan government wasn't even part of the deal. He went to Doha, he went to Qatar, and he negotiated the deal with the Taliban. When the Taliban was sweeping through after the U.S. was pulling out, there were Afghanistan National Army soldiers that didn't even know what they'd negotiated. That's kind of fucked up, right?
It was obviously and indisputably an absolute embarrassment debacle that cost uncounted lives.
Well, it was like
and
11 that died in the
that.
ISIS.
You love the guy that caused that. What about the guy that promised there will be no vaccine mandates and then tells everybody in the military...
Did he promise there'd be no vaccine
mandates? He did.
mandate?
That was a campaign promise in 2020. And then he forces all these military guys and women to either take the shot or get out.
Don't the military take like 20 or 30 vaccines ever? Like they take a ton of vaccines.
Campaign promise 2020 Biden, there will be no vaccine
I don't think
mandates.
he made that vaccine promise.
That's
and also,
a matter
when
of
you're
fact.
in the military, you get a lot of
If
vaccines. That's part of what you do in the military. You're not a pussy. You get vaccinated against diseases.
Wrong. Nobody
no,
agrees
you don't
with
get,
you.
when
People
you
agree
when you
with this
deploy
guy
to
on
other.
this. So the military should have been forced to take the shot. Yes
Bro,
or no?
how many shots? Yes.
Is that a good idea?
Wait,
Oh, yes, let's
how many
force them to take a
shots
shot.
do you have to take? You go up and down a line.
Experimental technology, not even a vaccine. And
it is a vaccine. What do you mean it's not a
It didn't do
vaccine?
what it was promised to do. It didn't stop the spread. It didn't keep people from catching it. It was completely ineffective.
It was totally
wrong.
effective. What are you talking
Wrong.
about?
Anybody that knows anything about it knows it was wrong to force people to take it.
Well,
This
if we're
is a
going to do
country where we have
fanfics, I mean, we can
freedom.
say whatever we want, I guess. Yeah.
Okay.
It was very effective. It was super effective.
So how about this thing? Let's say defending our democracy, a threat
Yeah.
to our democracy. What about democracy? What is the basic principle of democracy?
Well, it depends on, I guess, when you ask conservatives.
Two words.
Well, how about a peaceful transition
Yeah,
of power?
peaceful majority rule.
What?
Majority rule.
That's not democracy. What do you mean?
Okay, but democracy is not majority rule?
Not always, no. What, Don't we have like the protection for minority
So,
rights?
listen,
Isn't that kind of important?
No, I'm sorry. Majority rule is the principle of democracy.
Really? What about the
when it
Benjamin
comes to
Franklin quote of like
politics,
democracy
does
is two
anybody
wolves and a
agree?
sheep voting on what
majority
is
rule
liberty
the basic principle
or
of
freedom or whatever.
democracy? Yes or no?
Okay, we're talking to the audience
You
now.
guys
okay.
don't want to participate.
Dude,
Okay.
to debunk your point, Hillary
I'm sorry,
Clinton won the popular vote.
The point being that 70%.
Wait, I just want to be clear. Do you think Hillary Clinton should be president in 2016 since she won the popular
Majority
vote?
rules.
Majority
Steve,
rules.
you talk too fast, man. I can't
Okay,
understand.
wait. Yeah, let me be much slower. Should Hillary Clinton have been president in the year 2016 of our Lord because she won the popular
No, because
vote?
we are in a democratic republic, not a democracy.
That's why I said it depends. Are we a republic or a democracy? It depends on the argument conservatives are making at the time.
How about this? Did he just score a point or something? We are living in a democratic republic. Of course, we have the electoral college. There's nothing that we're going to change about that unless the convention.
So it's not majority rule. You want to know? Listen. You want to know
what
how
the
I define
principle of
democracy?
democracy is? I didn't say
I
anything
define
about.
democracy with 4 words: peaceful transfer of power. Who's the president who thwarted the peaceful transfer of power?
That's not the point. We're talking about.
So you're not going to answer that.
The point I wanted to make was
who thwarted the peaceful transfer of power, everyone?
there was a peaceful.
Thank you.
There was a peaceful transfer of power, even in 2021.
After
There was
12
not-
hours of people saying hang Mike
You want
Pence,
to
that's not
get caught
peaceful.
up
He
on January
delayed
6th,
it.
but I don't want to go there.
Okay, so you don't want to actually talk about democracy.
I want to talk about this. We're talking about Biden. And the fact is...
And you said Trump is a threat to democracy,
Wait,
and he said,
Steve
how is he a threat to
loves
democracy?
Biden. I'm pointing out 4 good reasons why he was not to be respected at all.
And
so
one of yours
the
got
one
knocked
I'm
down,
talking
so
about, Adam,
3 reasons.
Is that 70% of Americans polled numerous times in 2024 did not want to have an open border policy. Did the Biden administration respect that clear majority? No.
When there was a
no
border
respect
bill,
for
when there was a border bill,
70%,
yeah.
Steve.
When there was a border bill that was put up, who blocked that border bill?
The Republicans did because it was completely unnecessary in order to secure the border, as was proven 10 months ago when the border became secure.
So you
without
want the
that
president?
funding.
So you want the president himself to just do everything via executive order? Do you know that like Congress is a part of the government, right?
Steve-
Hold on, wait. I just want to make sure. You know there's like there's a Congress, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Congress can pass legislation to do big border stuff, right?
Yeah, but
so
that's not
isn't
the
it
point.
bad for Trump? Hold on. Wait.
You guys
that
are
like
masters
after,
are changing the subject.
After 3, I'm not changing the subject.
Trump
After
proved
3
that
years,
that border funding that was in that bill in 2024 was not necessary in order
it
to
wasn't
do
necessary
what
for him
the
to do
majority
random
of
shit
the
under
country
executive
wanted.
order.
You're interrupting me.
Yeah, because your point is fucking
No,
retarded.
because I'm making a point you don't want to hear.
You're not
it.
making a real point. The point, yeah, can
I'm
Donald
making
Trump
a
do
point.
anything via
You
executive
don't
order?
wanna
Can Donald
hear
Trump do
the
anything against the
point.
executive? No.
You will see
the
no
point
round.
is that. Hold on. Do you think that Donald Trump next year, when the next president comes in, they could just undo everything Trump does? Right?
That's not the point.
Right? No, that is the point. Wait.
The point.
Can I hear
Steve.
that? Did he answer that?
No, he didn't. He doesn't answer like 3
and
questions,
Adam,
but-
can the next president undo anything that the previous president does if he only does it via executive order?
Absolutely.
Okay, wait. Do you agree with that, sir?
I didn't understand what you said.
Could the next president, hold on, I'll speak slowly, I'm sorry. Could the next president undo anything that Trump does via executive order?
Yeah,
if
of
Trump,
course.
Okay, so wouldn't it be better if we use the Congress to do immigration policy?
It's
Would
not
that be great?
necessary. The laws are already on the books. The Biden administration had the policy of not enforcing them.
What do they not enforce?
No,
they enforced everything. What do you mean?
Steve, 70% of the country didn't want the open border policy. The Biden
didn't have
administration
open borders.
maintained the policy.
We didn't have
nevertheless.
open borders.
I'm going to ask you a question.
Yeah.
Is that respecting our democracy when a clear majority of 70%
No,
wanted the
the
border
fantasy
policy
world that
changed?
you've constructed is not very respective of our democracy.
2 points, and we'll give this one up, okay?
Okay.
Trump proved that the funding that the Democrats had said in 2024 was required in order to be able
Which it
to
is
close
required.
the border was not necessary in order to do it.
Okay, wait. Be honest.
And
how mad are you?
two-
How mad are you that there
Wait,
are no
you
mass
won't let me make my 2 points. You're interrupting
One
me.
point at a time. There are no mass deportations, right?
I'm sorry?
There are no mass deportations, right? Mass deportations. Donald Trump,
Mass
every time he gets on
deportation,
stage,
what
he says
about
there's
that?
20, 30 million illegals.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
deported how many? Like
The
100,000,
worst-
200,000?
The criminals first, yeah.
So none. That's not
Who's
happening.
against them?
It's not
Why
happening.
why do we want to put these people in prisons where they may belong if they came out of countries
I don't know.
where they
You
were
tell me.
actually
Didn't they
convicted
build the
murderers?
alligator Alcatraz? I
But
don't know. You
didn't
tell
wanna know-
me.
You didn't want to let me make my point. You don't
Well,
like
I wanted to go one point at a time because I wanted to address the factual
you
foundation for them. I understand you don't like to do that, but go
literally interrupted me
ahead.
in the middle of my point.
Okay, let's hear
Second
point 2.
point. You had 2
That's
points.
not the way to debate.
Let's hear point
It's
2.
the
Let's
middle
hear
of the 2
Final
points.
point,
Yeah,
please.
go.
Final
Sorry.
point.
Let's hear
Adam,
point
go.
2.
Go. Yeah, sorry.
I'm sorry?
Let's hear your point 2. I want to hear it. Here.
Yeah, so number one, I've already said it. Clear majority wanted the border closed. Biden administration didn't respect that. 2, Trump proved that the funding that the Democrats said in 2024 was required in order to be able to close the border was not necessary de facto.
This is not a long-term solution that Trump has proposed. This Biden border bill actually had increased asylum judges, which would help streamline the asylum process. Donald Trump has not proposed any real long-term solution. Listen. It's the same problem with tariffs.
There are laws on the books
there
already.
needs to be continuity between administrations in policy. When it comes to tariffs, for example, if you do all of your tariffs via executive order, there's not enough continuity to actually, listen, let me finish, to actually create the incentive for companies to move over. If you want tariffs to work, they have to be on the books through Congress. The same thing with immigration. You can't just have short-term solutions, sign the pen, not actually appoint more immigration judges or people who can process asylum claims. This is not a real long-term solution. Honestly, it's awful.
That's a separate subject. The thing is,
No, that's the subject.
With the border policy
That's
in
the subject.
2024, Steve brought it up. Steve said that the Republicans were blocking the border policy.
They were. You said that.
That was only a funding bill. It wasn't going to change any laws. All the laws were already on the books regarding how people are
You don't think we
allowed
should
to come
fund
into the
more-
country and how they're not allowed to come into the country. Next point. So Trump, why was Trump impeached the first time?
Was that for the Ukrainian thing, or was that the J6 thing?
The Ukrainian thing? What was it? What was it called? What did
Well, I think the issue is that he was making phone. I think he was making a phone call. I think he was calling the Ukrainian government and threatening to withhold congressionally approved aid if they couldn't dig up dirt on his political opponent.
I do presume, Steve, as a well-informed individual that you are, that you must have seen the video of Biden literally bragging on camera at the meeting of the Council on Foreign Relations about how he strong-armed Poroshenko to fire the prosecutor. He said, hey, you know what? I'm going to be leaving here. Looks at his watch, 6 o'clock. You know, if that prosecutor that's looking into Burisma and the corruption that my son is involved in isn't fired in the next hour and a half, you're interrupting. You're interrupting.
Final response.
Biden said it on camera. If that guy's not fired, you ain't getting the $1 billion loan guarantee.
this is called-
He did on camera.
indisputably exactly what Trump was impeached
And why
for.
did
and the mainstream media didn't let the American people know about it. What do you mean no?
Biden was representing
This is indisputable,
Biden
Steve.
was representing the foreign policy of the Western world, saying that in order for Ukraine to qualify for discounted loans, they had to clean up the corruption of their political system.
We gotta
Shokan was
move
the
on. We gotta
head
move on.
of their prosecutorial, their DOJ, basically. Their equivalent
you
is
don't
their
want to
DOJ.
cede any ground. You don't want to say, you know what, you're right.
We got to move on.
Well, because
Hey,
you're
Michael,
not right. Why
Michael.
would I say no, you're right
Michael,
when you're
you gotta
not
give
right?
the mic back to him.
We need the mic. Thank you, Michael.
Yeah, thank you. Listen, I appreciate you. You're brave coming up talking. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. But also, like, there's a reason why nobody cared what Biden said until the Republicans saw Donald Trump do really bad shit.
Thank you.
Let's get the next one.
No, it's not the same thing. It's not even remotely the same thing.
Thank you, sir. No,
Thank you. Thank you for coming up and chatting. Why'd you give the mic up, man? What are you doing? I'm just kidding. I'm fucking with you. Don't listen to me, man. You fucked up. Don't ever listen to what I say.
Hi, I'm Andrew Holmes. I am a student at UC Berkeley, and I'm a conservative. And my question is basically, you yourself said affordability is the issue right now. And I personally believe that Kamala's policies would have been quite disastrous for the economy. She wanted a 25% tax on unrealized gains above a certain threshold of money, but that's like the biggest investors that she's talking about there. 8% increase on capital gains tax. Investment would have been completely stifled. Then she also had inflationary policies like the child tax care credit and also the $25K grant for first-time home buyers. And that would have caused just rampant inflation in the economy. And then further, she also pushed for an increase in minimum wage, which would have caused the loss of a ton of jobs that are entry level, that are very vital to American workers. And so my question is basically, how would you back the fact that you both believe that affordability is the issue with her truthfully disastrous economic policies?
Yeah,
Can I ask you?
Yeah, what do you do
Can I
about
ask
that,
you a
Adam?
question?
Yeah.
Do you support Donald Trump's tariff regime?
No.
Okay, so you don't support that. Did you vote for Trump?
I didn't vote. I was 17.
Okay. You would have voted for Trump?
Yes, because I do believe his economic policies are not as bad as Kamala's.
Really?
Kamala's were disastrous.
Disastrous. Okay.
Yes.
You framed Kamala's economic policies as if they were radical, and some of them were a bit like not radical, but some of them were pushing the limits.
Not radical. I just
they're not
stated
radical,
they were,
but you're saying like they would be disastrous.
They would be disastrous.
I think if we
yes.
compare the two. I think if we compare the two candidates' economic policy, we can go to Kamala in 1 second, but Donald Trump's tariff regime, placing tariffs on every single country indiscriminately,
I don't
except
agree
for
with it. It's
Russia
stupid.
and North Korea, is like the definition.
I'm not talking about Trump's policies.
Okay,
though.
it's
I'm
the
talking about
definition of
Kamala's.
disastrous. But when we're talking about Kamala, we're
Trump's,
comparing
yes,
the two
are
candidates.
inflationary. Kamala's would have literally killed investment. Like
They would not
completely
have.
murdered it. What do you think happens when you take 25% of gains that haven't even been sold in investment? And then on top of that, once they do sell them, you take another 28%. Do you think anyone's going to want to invest
Can I, real quick? So I think that the nice thing about Kamala Harris is that I agree that some of her economic policy probably wouldn't have been great, but the nice thing about like bad economic policy from Democrats is that I know it'll be checked by other people in the administration. Donald Trump has absolutely no checks on any of the crazy economic stuff he does. So in terms of increasing like the child tax credit, I think Kamala could have done that, and I think it would have been fine, and I think we would have been okay with that. But like in terms of like all the crazy deductions, everything she would have pushed for, or like the wealth tax or whatever, I think that the economic advisors would have actually checked Kamala and said like, hey, this is maybe not a great idea.
Okay, so-
but for Trump, nobody
So
checks
wait,
Trump on any of his
just to
economic
clarify,
policy.
your argument here is you don't think her policies actually would have been pushed, so basically we should vote for her?
Yes, because
I think that's
it's the
pretty
same thing.
ridiculous.
No, well, you say it's ridiculous, but the issue is that like Donald Trump has gotten us to accept a world where a 10% tariff on every single country is like the moderate option, and any economist prior to Trump would have said like that's like suicide.
no,
so
that is
I
a
think the
problem.
issue is
I
that like
agree. I
so
don't
if a
think his
Democrat comes in
economic
with like
policies
crazy
are
shit,
good.
a Democrat will say I feel the same way about Mamdani in New York, where it's like if a Democrat does some crazy stuff, like their economic advisor will be like, hey, this is probably like too much, and they'll listen. Whereas Donald Trump will say, we should just come on to the media and like say this for today, and let's like fucking do this, and nobody has the actual like the goal to actually check Trump and say like, hey, this is a really bad idea. So
I
the
want to
reason why,
ask you this then.
Yeah.
So if hypothetically the economic advisors are out of the question, their policies will be passed, then would you agree with me that Kamala's policies would be worse for the economy?
like possibly, but that would never happen. I don't think that Kamala's worst ideas would have actually gotten
hedging
passed.
it on basically it won't happen, to be clear.
Well, but like, do you understand there's a difference between Kamala and Trump, and that whatever Trump says goes? Like, hold on, like let's be real. Like, for instance, when Donald Trump held up the tariff sign, that was a total lie, right? When he said that
The
every country's
Liberation Day tariffs.
Yeah, when he said that every single country's tariffing us like this, that was a lie, right?
Yeah, I don't agree with his tariff
Kamala would have
policies.
never
I
done
am
that.
not defending his tariff policies.
Kamala
I'm just
would've-
saying Kamala's policies were absolutely disastrous and would have killed any investment
Yeah, but
whatsoever.
but the worst of Kamala's policies would have never made it past any economic advisors, right?
Also, acting like Kamala.
Can I get an acknowledgement on that? The worst of her policies would have never actually gotten passed, right?
I'm not going to debate whether or not they would have. I think that
Okay,
you should be
what
able
was
to.
the worst?
I think
What was the worst economic policy that Biden passed?
the worst that he passed. He didn't have the same platform that Kamala did.
Wait, I just want to check. I just want to sanity check. Kamala Harris was the vice president under
Yes,
Joe Biden.
I am
right?
aware,
Okay,
but to be clear,
wait,
to be clear, wait,
I'm on the stage. I get to ask. I get to ask a question, okay?
Yeah.
Stop. Kamala Harris would have been checked by her economic advisors if it was truly a disastrous policy. But Donald Trump is not checked by anybody, right?
I don't necessarily agree with that. No.
Wait,
And
what do you mean? But you can't cite me
even if I grant that, I think you should be able to defend the policies in the party you support's platform at the very least.
Wait, you're not going to defend tariffs, though. You're conservative and you won't defend tariffs.
No, I'm defending it from the.
So you think we should be able to defend Kamala's fringe policies?
Let me finish.
Okay,
Let me finish, please. I'm defending it from a perspective of his policies are not as bad as Kamala's. That is not a strong stance. I agree, but at least I can defend it from that.
Wait, do you think what would Kamala have passed that's worse than the Trump current tariff thing?
Wait, what? Sorry?
What would Kamala have passed reasonably that is worse than Trump's current tariff regime?
The unrealized gains tax, the 8% increase in capital gains tax. Again, you can claim it won't pass, but you're hinging your argument on, the policy platform wouldn't have happened. So
yeah, but
if you don't want to support your
but we
policies
can
platforms,
reasonably
then we
say that
agree.
because Democrats are actually concerned with fucking running the fucking country, right? You acknowledge that the country's been fucked by Republicans over and over again since Clinton, and Democrats have to come in and clean shit up, right? So isn't it fair for us to say, well, Democrats would probably follow what their economic advisors say? Whereas Donald Trump has
I don't think it's fair to say that your party's platform doesn't matter because it's not going to be passed.
No. It's not that it doesn't matter. It's that she would probably push in that direction. Meanwhile, Donald Trump is literally trying to find people to sit on the Federal Reserve who will cut interest rates because he knows it's the only way to save this horrible fucking economy, right? You don't think Kamala would ever do that, right?
Sorry,
there's no history of Kamala Harris or Joe Biden pressuring the Federal Reserve to drop the interest rate like there is with Donald Trump, right?
That's disastrous. Off the top of my head, but yeah, it's just the policies themselves. Again, I just find a lot of trouble.
Bro, hold on. We gotta live in the real world. Do you agree with that, right? We need to be in the real world.
Wait, what?
We need to be in the real world, right? Okay,
yeah,
Donald Trump right now, you acknowledge that Donald Trump
in the real world
right now, Donald Trump is talking about putting a new Federal Reserve Board person on the Federal Reserve that will follow his direct instruction, right? You acknowledge that, right?
I'm not entirely sure about that. What I'm talking about is, again, the platforms.
Donald Trump is literally trying to criminalize people on the Federal Reserve, making up fake bullshit indictments about mortgage
You've never
fraud.
heard him say too late Powell, too late Jerome. You're not aware of this? You're aware of Kamala's capital gains tax policy?
Has Joe Biden ever said hey, we need to do this on the Federal Reserve?
Regardless, what I am asking about
Spoiler alert, he hasn't
the
said that.
platform of the Democratic Party in the 2024 election, if it were to be passed, compared to the platform, or actually no, I'd even say the implemented economic policies. I'm asking you guys to defend that, and you can't defend your own party's platform, and you're basically just saying it wouldn't have passed.
I don't agree with Kamala's platform entirely, but when we're making a decision in the 2024 election, when I was making the decision, I was thinking which candidate's policies are more disastrous, and it's absolutely Donald Trump's 10 out of 10 times.
Because Donald Trump will pass anything, and none of you guys, for whatever reason, have the balls to actually fucking say, Donald Trump, no.
Do you think it's bad? Do you think it's bad if he is bullying the chair of the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell? If he is breaking that separation and trying to bully Jerome Powell into taking action, do you think that's bad?
Do I think it's bad if he's bullying Jerome Powell?
Do you know Jerome Powell?
Yes, I do know who Jerome Powell is. Yeah, I'd say it probably is, but again, what I'm talking about...
It's not just bad, it's unprecedented, it's fascistic, and the president isn't supposed to have an effect on interest rates.
Again,
if the president is changing interest rates on his own instinct...
Yeah, I don't think the government should have an effect on interest rates.
Okay, of course,
That's a whole other thing.
Okay, so when I'm looking at my two candidates, and I see some of Kamala's fringe ideas that I disagree with, that I wouldn't defend. I'd actually, if I was talking to Kamala, I would debate Kamala.
I would debate Kamala on Trump's implemented policies versus the Democratic Party platform, and I haven't heard a defense of the Democratic Party platform. All I've heard is Trump, Trump, Trump. I'm asking about Kamala.
Kamala Harris had a first-time homebuyers policy that created an incentive for people our age.
Yes, and
Kamala
created
Harris
a ton
had
of
multiple
inflation
small
and
business
increased the
policies.
deficit.
Kamala Harris had multiple policies that helped small businesses start up. Kamala Harris had incremental policies that she would have put into place, and then some more populist policy that probably would have gotten swatted down, just like Biden's student loan relief, just like the ambitious stuff that Biden tried got swatted down. This would happen to Kamala's policy.
Yeah, I'm not
is,
asking about what you think is going to get swatted down. I'm asking the policies themselves.
Okay,
Can you
listen, this is
defend
the
them?
problem. I've asked you like 10 times about Trump's tariffs, and you go, I won't defend that, but then you go, I want you to defend Kamala's fringe policies that you don't support. I don't support
I'm asking
capital
you to
gains
just
tax.
show me that the
I don't
economy
support-
would function under Kamala's policies. Like there would be
Listen,
no
listen,
investment.
you wanna know what the problem
it would be
is?
completely stifled. And
okay, wait, let me go ahead. So the stock market growth has slowed down since Trump took office because of his tariffs. Unemployment has gone up since Trump took office because of his tariffs and a few other issues. Inflation.
yeah, imagine
what
how
was
bad that would have been if we had a 25% tax on unrealized gains. And 8%
Inflation has gone up since Trump took office. All of these indicators were going down as Biden was leaving. Trump has legitimately. You know what's not impressive? It's not impressive that the stock market's hitting all-time highs. It's impressive that Trump has crashed the stock market 3 separate times during his presidency and slowed the growth of it. That's the impressive part. Would Kamala Harris have crashed the stock market on April 9th? Liberation Day tariffs.
Would she have crashed the stock market? She would have completely destroyed it. She wanted a 28% tax, like an 8% increase on capital gains tax, a 25%.
What is so bad about an increase on capital gains tax?
It heavily disincentivizes investment.
No, it
raises
doesn't.
the time
What do you
preference.
mean?
Yes, it does.
How
what?
does
What are we
it?
talking about? How does it? Basically, what you're doing is you're saying once you make money from your investment and you take it out, then you're going to get less of that.
But
You're
that's
less
okay.
incentivized
Listen,
if you're going to get
bro,
less at the end.
I just want to tell you, I got a lot of money invested. Okay, do you think that like people with more than $5 or $10 or $15 million in investment account are thinking like, oh my God, 25% capital instead of 20%? Like I'm not going to be able to invest my money anymore. What do you think they're going to do? Hide it in their fucking pillow?
No. First, she's taking 25% when your money is not even pulled out yet. When it's just there, materializing.
No, are you talking about the wealth tax?
Then, huh?
Are you talking about like a wealth tax?
I'm talking about the unrealized gains tax.
Listen, I agree with you. The unrealized capital gains tax is so stupid.
It's so dumb.
But the thing is, here's the difference. When Kamala Harris says it, when Democrats have a really dumb idea, they can't get it done. We can look at examples of this. For Biden wanted to do like OSHA mandates for vaccines, and he wanted to do like Department of Education stuff for like forgiving student loans. And when they were stopped, Biden said, oh, well, I guess they're stopped. Now, the far left attacks him for that, but the reality is that Democrats respect the 3 branches of government. Donald Trump says, I'm going to do as much as I can until I basically have to be forced to actually stop the particular thing.
Yes.
So if Kamala wanted to do a wealth
can I
tax,
just
I don't think
ask
she would
one
ever
question?
Yeah.
Basically, so you agree if she was able to get all of her policies passed, basically if she acted like you claim Trump does, which then would you agree that her policies are worse?
Even if that was the case, it wouldn't be as disastrous as the insane tariff regime that Donald Trump has enacted, where Donald Trump is the sole gatekeeper.
I think having some inflation from tariffs is not as bad as having literally no investment.
Hold on, we wouldn't have literally no investment. Do you think American businesses are worth investing in at a higher capital gains rate?
Investment would go down like this. Like
you realize manufacturing.
Why would you invest in American companies knowing that we're going to be like reciprocally tariffed by every single other country on the planet?
Tariffs are way worse for incentivizing.
Tariffs are so bad.
You realize manufacturing in the United States has gone down.
This is just deflecting to tariffs. I want address the
what we're trying to say is that like the tariffs would have never happened under Kamala because the economic advisor would say, hey, these tariffs are a really bad idea. But for Trump, none of the Republicans actually brave enough to say like, hey, don't do this.
Would say that actually they would have overturned his initial tariffs from from his 2016 presidency, but that's besides the point. She's not anti-tariff, to be clear. But
wait. There's a difference between Kamala wanting to do surgical targeted tariffs on countries versus Trump placing tariffs on every fucking country, save Russia and North Korea.
Yeah.
That's retarded. That's different.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think the tariffs were a good policy.
Okay,
I think he
how
is
come you
realizing
can say
that himself as
How
he
come
is
you can say that?
reversing
But when
them.
I say I don't think unrealized gains is a good policy, that's like the end of the world. You're like,
because
you can't
I'm asking
split with
you
your
to
party.
defend it comparing the two parties.
I thought we were. Which was worse?
Yeah. Which one's worse is what I'm asking.
Okay, and I think it's Trump's. I think that Trump has slowed the growth of the stock market, increased unemployment. His tariffs have been such a disaster, they've actually disincentivized investments. So for the tariffs, for example, what you want is continuity between administrations. So when, say, J.D. Vance or Gavin Newsom gets in, that administration still has the incentive for companies to come to the United States. When you place tariffs via executive order, like Trump is doing, it's all via executive order, right? When you do that, there's no continuity. So in 4 years, companies don't have any reason to be here. Like, when you're making these investment decisions, they are long-term investments. A company's coming to the United States, that's decades, dude. That's like, you're there for like 20, 30 years to gain a profit. When there's no continuity, what they see right now are 2 trade zones in the United States. One big red trade zone that says in the world. 2 trade zones in the world. One red blob that says the United States. It says, do not go through the United States. They have a 10% tariff on everyone. Then there's the rest of the world, which has an average tariff of, I think, like 3.5%. So when you're looking at your 2 shipping routes, do you want to ship it to the United States and get tariffed to shit, or the rest of the planet, which has a lower tariff rate? Do you get what I'm saying here? Like, the incentive structure that Trump is creating is not strong. The stock market is slowed in growth. Unemployment.
Again, I'm asking. I still haven't heard an adequate defense of Kamala's.
The stock market would be higher if Kamala were in office. The stock market would unequivocally
The whole economy would be doing better if
the
Kamala
whole
was in
economy
office.
would be doing better.
Again,
Like, we
with
wouldn't
an
have this whole
8%
tariff
increase
regime.
in capital gains tax and a 25% unrealized gains tax,
It wouldn't
that's
have
hard to believe.
Who cares?
The investors that
I don't,
run
dude.
the
I'm
stock
an investor. I don't give a fuck. Why would you care about the 25% versus 15% or whatever? Like, it doesn't matter that much.
It's 0% right now.
I'm a what?
You'd literally just.
Wait. What do you think I would do with my money otherwise if it was 25% versus 15%?
Versus 0% unrealized gains tax?
Wait. Oh, unrealized? The unrealized shit would have never passed.
Unrealized is so dumb, dude. I hate unrealized tax.
Okay, so I think we agree on unrealized gains. Then, but
We
again,
can
you're
ask.
not-
Ready? This is the killer question. What was the worst economic policy that Biden realized?
The worst economic policy.
The worst
that Biden
economic.
realized?
Yeah, the worst one. Wait, the fact that you even have to think about it speaks volumes to that, right?
Well,
Donald Trump. Ignore these guys. Fuck these. They're dick riders, okay? But like, I'm saying that like
because I mean, regardless, I don't think Biden and Kamala had the same platform. So I of course have to think about it when I was thinking.
I might be too far gone. Kamala was the vice president, right?
I think
she was, but
Kamala's
she's very
probably gonna be-
Biden.
Wait, Biden was Obama's vice president, right?
All 4 policies I listed at the start were policies that Biden did not have in his
Okay, but
platform.
I'm just saying that like Biden seemed to do an okay job at guiding the economy. Same way with Obama, right?
No, I think that Medicare Medicare for all was disastrous.
We didn't get Medicare for all.
Or sorry, Obamacare.
Wait,
My
if
brain-
the ACA was such a
brain
fucking
comes
disaster,
late
why
there.
is Trump trying to claim it so much? When Trump is like, oh, we need to have like the increased rate of where you're like 25 or 26.
The status quo in general is absolutely terrible. But I think the
have you
Democratic
seen the
Party
graph
has,
where it's like the healthcare costs they increased slower under Obamacare than they did under the when they were prior to that? Wait, what part of the ACA do you think is bad?
What part of it is bad? It's inherently inflationary on Medicare.
Everything, bro. Healthcare is more expensive because we have more fucking healthcare. All of it is inflationary. What do you mean? Of course.
Yeah, but no, the inflation actually did increase after the Obamacare.
Yeah, but it was increasing at a slower rate, right? This is your first derivative, right? It's increased at a slower. The rate of change is lower than the first rate of change. Then it was.
No.
It was. Wait, wait. Hold on. You're about to fucking completely own me, okay? Ready? This is your chance to totally own me. What was Trump's alternative again?
What was Trump's alternative?
What was the Trump alternative?
To the healthcare?
To the ICA, yeah.
I'm not sure. I don't know.
Okay, there's a reason why you're not.
I'm not asking you. I'm not asking you about Trump. I am asking you about Kamala.
Wait.
So,
Hold on, wait. I just want to
regardless-
check with Adam. I'm going to confer with Adam real quick. It was Biden who was like, we should cap the cost on certain drugs, right?
Yeah.
Wait. And hold on, wait. Didn't Trump say we should keep doing that, but call it like the Trump shit, right?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
All you guys are doing is just attacking the other side, but you won't defend your own.
I'm attacking the other side because they suck shit. They suck shit. They're horrible.
When he asked what the worst policy that Biden realized is, and we didn't have an answer,
We
that
didn't have an answer.
Well, it's not.
I'm asking about Kamala,
It's
not
not
Biden.
that, no. It's not that you didn't have an answer. It's that your lack of answers show that there were mechanisms in place during Biden's term that would shoot down.
It was fucking awesome.
Yeah. Where's that guy in the crowd? Biden was the best. But no, like. There were mechanisms in place that would shoot down Trump's awful economic policy, Biden's awful economic policy, or like policies that he was trying to pass that were out there. Trump, we haven't seen that. Now, the Supreme Court is hearing the tariff argument right now, but we've just seen so much leeway with the tariffs that it's already been bad for the economy. I think the question that you asked was which one would be worse. But then you keep trying to pin us down on Kamala, and we'll answer for any of Trump's.
Can we say, what would Kamala Harris do that's as bad as the current tariff
Again,
shit?
unrealized gains, 25%.
She wouldn't have gotten that passed, though, right?
Okay, so if your argument's hinging on that, that's fine. I'm
Our
asking
argument
if
is
it were
that Democrats
passed.
follow rule of law. Yes, that is the argument. That's kind of been the whole fucking deal with the Trump admin.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you agree then? It's just you only agree that it would have been better because it wouldn't have passed.
Yes.
There are guardrails.
Okay, fair. I think
you
that
agree
we
that it would have
then.
passed, right? You agree that it would have passed, right?
I don't necessarily think it would. I'm asking you to defend your party's platform.
No. He's not saying that it would be better because it wouldn't have passed.
Yeah.
He's saying that there were actual guardrails and mechanisms in place that the Democrats respected that Republicans clearly don't respect. Not to take it.
It was in the party platform, to be clear.
But unrealized tax gains is not in the Democratic Party platform.
Read the 2024 platform.
Unrealized.
Yes.
I mean, then that's dumb. I'm not going to defend that. But listen. This one fringe policy from Kamala is far outweighed by Donald Trump's economic retardation on a daily basis. Kamala Harris would not have bullied Jerome Powell. Bullying the Fed chair is like legit next level hungry Viktor Orban shit. Kamala Harris had some dumb policies that I'm not going to defend, but like, there's a problem here that I keep going back to. You're asking us which are worse. You keep pinning us down on Kamala's fringe policy, but you won't defend anything Trump has done. You don't know about the Federal Reserve. You don't care about the tariffs. When we're comparing, you at least have to put up the affirmative argument for your side, at least.
Yeah, also,
The
we'll give you the last word on this, but we need to move on to the next
less economic impact than Kamala's policies. A 25% unrealized gains tax, like I said, would kill investment. He would not have an economy under
Can I
Kamala.
say, first of all, you did a really good job. Thank you so much. We debated our Jubilee. We got a Jubilee coming out, and this guy and my Jubilee, we had a really good debate.
Yes, thank you, Adam.
Thank you for the conversation.
Stuff. No, genuinely, you did well.
You were great too, my brother. Yeah, thank you, guys.
That was some good shit. Speak loud. What's up? He's like 25% unrealized tax gains. We're like,
I'm a left-leaning Marine veteran. I'm Hispanic as well. Immigration is one of my big things, right? But I feel like there's been a question that hasn't been asked that I think would make a good what-if questions, right? And that is like, what are some ways that immigration lawyers, can I cuss, by the way? What are some ways that immigration lawyers can fuck over immigrants, right?
Can you say that one more time? I'm sorry.
What are some ways that immigration lawyers can fuck over immigrants?
That's a good question.
Why are you looking at me for that?
That's a good question for Steven.
Yeah.
Wait, how can immigration lawyers fuck over immigrants?
Yes.
The immigration process in the United States is really complicated.
Okay.
I mean, I'm sure they could give them bad advice. That would fuck them over. Why are you giving me this question? What the fuck? Fuck you, bro.
I didn't give this
Fuck you. Why are you pointing at me like I know the answer to this?
I can answer it, but like I want to hear
I mean,
what
they
you
could
guys
give them bad
know.
advice. That would be fucking them over,
I mean,
right?
I would assume that some immigration lawyers may have a profit incentive that doesn't align with helping the immigrant in play. But I mean, what's your answer?
I mean, that it pretty much comes close to what I was thinking. Is that most immigration lawyers will steal whatever amount they're charging their clients, right? And basically just leave them into dirt. And because they're not educated enough, or right, they don't know how to speak the language, right? They don't know how to retaliate, right? Which there are incentives to retaliate, but if you're somebody with a second grade education level as an immigrant trying to provide, a good life for your children, that's not going to work out for you, right?
It's really fucked up because of the power differentiation too.
Hold on, wait. What is the overall point you're trying to make? That most immigration lawyers are fucking over their clients?
I'm trying to make that there is a problem with immigration lawyers fucking over their clients.
Wait, what is the problem?
The problem is that most immigrants don't know where, what legal processes to go through in order for you to go after them, right?
So is there a massive problem with immigration lawyers fucking over their clients?
Yes. I wouldn't say I don't know the statistics on it, just because it's I can't give you numbers to verify it, but anecdotally, I have someone close to me that has been fucked over, right? I'm not gonna say names, right? If you guys want me to, I can.
No,
but
you don't have to say names.
But there are also anecdotal situations that come into process where deportations are unjustified, or I would classify unjustified because they're just trying to provide for something, right? And I feel like these questions have never been asked, and that's a big major point as to why criminal activities happen under immigrants, right? I'm somebody that loves that loves that area and loves that sector, but I don't like to see it being demonized the way Trump has been demonizing it to this day, And I feel like these questions have never been asked to expand on that, right? Add the morality aspect towards it.
I think it's an important point. He's saying that immigration lawyers are abusing their power dynamics by
I don't
taking
think we have
immigrants.
any evidence of this. I mean, like, I think the biggest.
Well, no, this happens all the time. Like, people upcharging in situations where they can upcharge. For example, I took my dog to the vet a few months ago, and they were trying to convince some family to keep their dog there overnight.
Wait, for your dog or the other dog?
Another dog. They were trying to convince the dog, and they tried to convince me too, but I didn't do it. They convinced
Okay.
his family to keep the dog there overnight, but it was an extra $1,200. And
What was wrong with your dog?
My dog ate a lot of chocolate.
And did they try to keep your dog
They
overnight?
tried to keep my dog overnight and said it's an extra $1,000, but this is the safest way to do it, man. They said there's a risk.
Wait, maybe there was a risk your dog was going to fucking die,
There maybe
bro.
was, but my dog was fine. He shit it out the next
Well,
morning.
they ended up being fine, but
He
maybe your
ended up
dog was
being
going to die.
But the point is,
why are you feeding your dog so much fucking chocolate?
He accidentally ate the fucking chocolate, bro.
Maybe they wanted to keep it overnight to monitor it. You're just assuming that they had bad intentions. Maybe your dog was going to die. Wait, how old is your dog? What kind of dog is it?
This is very much so
Well,
besides
it's
the
very
point.
relevant because you're trying to say they were abusing their position as a vet, but maybe they thought your dog was going to die. Maybe you fed it way too much.
Veterinarians will absolutely try to upcharge and take advantage of clients. Like, you don't think that happens?
I hate animals, so I cannot answer you.
What do you think?
But I wouldn't feed my dog a ton of chocolate. If you fed your dog a ton of chocolate,
Not on purpose.
this guy's fucking feeding his dog fucking peanut butter
It's
M&Ms
happened
over
to me
here, and he's
too.
like, the vet wants to upcharge me or whatever. Come on, listen, bro, what the fuck?
All I'm gonna say is.
It might be that maybe some people are upcharging. I don't think it's a significant problem. I don't think it's a real. Because he said I don't have any data. That's keyword for like this is just like some shit I read on
white
Twitter.
citizen doesn't think it's a problem. Okay.
Half my family is Cuban. Excuse me.
Okay.
Yeah, watch out,
have they
Mr.
been-
Adam Hitler,
ask
okay,
them-
the Führer. Okay, calm down over there, buddy.
Jesus
Okay, all right.
Disculpe, pero puedes hablar español.
Do what? Say that again.
Can you speak Spanish?
Yes, más o menos.
Yeah. We'll count it for now, but I mean, last time I checked, you had cats, right?
Not anymore. No, that was my always a partner that has the cats.
Okay, never mind then. I retract that question.
There could be like immigration lawyers to take advantage of the system, but I mean, there's a potential abuse that exists everywhere, but like I don't think it's a significant problem. No.
The only reason why I say that is because my girlfriend has a uncle that's an immigration lawyer, and he says that's a big major problem that happens in immigration, right? Because it's like the easiest way to get $3,000, right? That's an anecdotal thing that I'm gonna say, right? But $3,000 you take away from somebody, they don't retaliate. Hey, you just came up with $3,000.
I mean, I guess it's possible. I would say one of the kind of the worst things about like immigration stuff is that like if you're following the lawful process,
yes.
Like Donald Trump has ICE agents camping out the courthouses. The big story about the guy with the Iranian wife, the Persian wife or whatever, that was deported, she was like in like 10 or 20 years of like immigration back and forth, but she was following the legal process and she was showing up at the courthouse. And that's where ICE is like camping out to get you. Like, wouldn't you want these people more than anybody else to stay in the country because they're going to the courthouse and they're trying to follow the proper procedure?
One of the things that I will say, and this is another anecdotal that if you want to know the information of it, I can tell you afterwards, but another one is a high school teen ended up selling meth because her mother couldn't provide for her two other children, right? 3 children total. And basically, he had to sell meth to make ends meet as a high school child, right? Somebody who was excelling in science, right? He loved science to death. He probably would have become a science a scientist, right? But because the situations didn't align with him, right? The path that ended up going with him was he ended up selling meth, got deported, and now he's fucked from the system because.
I mean, that's really bad, but like, is that an immigrant problem? Like, what's more American than selling drugs to high school students? I feel like it's a very American thing, no?
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Good question. That was good.
Don't ask me any more questions.
Good evening, gentlemen. Like the last speaker, I'm also a Marine Corps veteran. I'm actually still serving, and I'd like to say that I'm a great fan of Destiny's content, so it's a great pleasure to meet him in person. However, despite that, I do identify myself with the Nick Fuentes aligned version of America First. And my question pertains to sort of Nick Fuentes' meteoric rise in popularity. What's the left-wing version of addressing the sort of rising authoritarian beliefs in primarily young men, especially those in the armed forces?
I don't know if the left has a solution. That's the problem. I mean, I talk about this a lot on my show, young men and the radicalization, moving towards authoritarianism, and I have a pretty good idea of how it happens. I think that I trace a lot of it back to COVID isolation or anti-socialization. So you can see a direct spike in antisocial behavior among Gen Zers throughout the COVID pandemic. Throughout people's most formative years, there's a bubble that's put up around them. Me too. I hung out with people less. I spent more time alone. And some people never tore that bubble down. Like Tyler Robinson, for example, I can guarantee he got radicalized on the internet, was a little bit of a loner, and that led to him doing what he was doing. You combine a bunch of young men being antisocial, spending a lot of time on the internet, with the fact that foreign actors are trying to incentivize division in the United States. How much does Russia or China or Iran benefit when they have U.S. young guys who have these radical beliefs that think that authoritarianism is cool, that Trump is cool? Other countries are trying to actively sow division in our country, and you have domestic actors, people like Elon Musk. Elon Musk bought the platform of X, or he bought Twitter, rebranded it to X, and now it's like a propaganda machine. Like, you align with Nick Fuentes, but I'm sure you can admit that on Twitter, it's like Nazi Germany on Twitter right now. All throughout Twitter, it's a bunch of crazy anti-Semitic racist shit. So when this is the media environment that we're in, the social media environment, we're a bunch of lonely young men, don't have moral clarity from leaders, and they just get sucked up in these online algorithmic pipelines. I think that's how it happens. I think Vladimir Putin is fucking licking his lips right now, seeing how much he succeeded in making half the U.S. population think the election of 2020 was stolen. You get what I'm saying? So I don't have like a prescription that the Democratic Party, I mean, like, people have talked about repealing Section 230, people have talked about other sort of social media guidelines. I don't have like the best direct answer. It's a big, broad question, but we both identify the same issue, I think, at least. Well, it seems like you are one of the radical young men.
I am, yes.
Okay, you are. So what do you think?
I put more faith in my fellow countrymen. I believe that it's not so much a species of foreign country involvement sort of propagandizing us. I think it's more along the lines of people becoming more conscientious, more educated. What they're doing is they're looking, I think, at it from a top-down view, sort of generalizations, and they filter those generalizations down into which candidate fits the bill the most. Like myself, I sort of start at the top and see, what do I want to see my society look like? As a service member, I want to see my entire country look like a nation of soldiers. I want to see every city look like an army camp. When I look and I sort of trickle that idea down, I wonder which politician best fits that bill. And it is, to a degree, Donald Trump, but I think the biggest criticisms, which are true, is that he doesn't quite steer the ship of state quite well. I think he doesn't perform very well as a bureaucrat. But the problem is, he may not know how to steer the ship, but I think his destination is the correct course.
So when Trump says something like, I wish my people stood for me, like they stood for Kim Jong-un, you think that that's actually like a good thing? Like he should work towards that?
I think a politician should indeed have a sort of preference towards his own national identity.
You want us to be more like North Korea in the way that we work? Militarily?
Militarily, yes. I think the biggest idea, when you look especially at there's a saying in the military called
You say you love
perception and
America,
reality.
but you want us to be more like North Korea. Like, we're pretty uniquely good as a country right now with our freedom, our democracy, our liberalism. We've created nice quality of life. We've extended people's lifespans. I don't think the North Korea thing works, but sorry, keep going.
Well, I find myself among the chorus of people that are crying out for a Caesar, that are crying out for a Napoleon. And when I do, since I'm greatly intrigued by politics, whenever I'm at my unit and talking politics with my fellow service members, I've noticed a growing trend of more and more people joining that chorus.
I mean, I think it's anti-status quo stuff, but...
Okay. When you talk about like Caesar, Napoleon, right? Their country's kind of fucked, right? Like Greece, Rome, France, like these countries all, I don't want to say they failed because France exists today and Greece is, they're kind of there. They have bad food, but they exist, right? I want to hear this. Like, America is the most cucked country in terms of trans people and multiculturalism and all this, but like we have the sickest military, the best economy. We are like the envy of the world. Why do you think it is that like these ideologies tend to produce like the best countries like the United States of America versus like your fascist, I'm not to call you a fascist, but like the very like militant, like we're like racial purity, like these countries disappeared in less than a generation. Does it ever give you a pause where you're like, maybe there might be something I'm missing to like the more inclusive types of societies, right? That include like people like you that I super disagree with, but I think it's so cool that you can come up here and express your disagreement. But like I feel like in your ideal country, I don't know if I'd be able to express my disagreement without like being locked up by the thought police.
Like a hyper-militarized country? Yeah, like what do you think about that?
Yeah. There is a trade-off with that, I agree. That when
I agree. I agree there's a trade-off, and I value the fact that our birth rates are low. Jews have a lot of pull in some areas. Like, I agree with that, but I like the fact that you can come up in my society and you can say, hey, isn't it weird that like the Jews are in all these different areas? That isn't it weird that like our birth rate is below replacement while in the West Bank the replacement is like 3.0. I think Israel is the only country on the planet with like above 2.0 replacement for people. I love the fact that you can express that, and I can sit here and I can call you dumb, or I can disagree with you, I can debate with you, but I feel like in your model society, I don't know if I would be able to say that same thing. And while I value your ability to say that thing, I feel like if we moved to your ideal society, we would lose that, and we would become like one of the societies that disappear in like a single generation. You know? Do you ever give any? I'm just curious. Do you ever give any thought to that? Yeah.
This might make you laugh, but I do agree. I do believe in American exceptionalism. I don't think it's a matter of, especially when you look at the past, when I would argue the society was a little more militarized, especially during the World War I, World War II interwar periods. When you look at definitely media back then, you definitely do see it as a sort of window into the past. That's how I see it. I sort of see it as a sort of opportunity cost we might have lost in going down the road of classical liberalism.
Yeah, but even like when you look at like World War II and everything, like we had like women like joining the workforce. Europe was like killing itself because Europe is always like fighting with each other and doing that stuff. Like the United States like came out as like the clear dominant winner in all of that. We had our civil rights movement in the 60s. We had we've probably been ahead when you talk about the Stonewall riots when it comes to like gay rights or LGBT stuff. Like I feel like we've been at the forefront of all of that. And even in 2025, regardless of our problems, nobody looks at the United States as like, wow, that's a weak country, right? Like imagine in 2014 when Russia was like, we're gonna fuck up Ukraine, they like barely captured Crimea. They failed horribly a couple of years ago in taking over, in the Ukrainian capital. But in the United States, we're like, we're gonna go to war with Iraq. Bro, we fucking toppled that shit in like a few weeks. Like I understand what you're saying. Like we need like a purpose. We need to have like a moral guidance for our people. Like I agree with that. But I think that one of the values of the United States that people on your side, I'll say respectfully, tend to like discredit is the fact that we allow for so many different types of points of view that we're able to like advance into the future with all these different competing points of view. We don't actually like give ground completely to one. Because the societies in the past that seem to have given all that ground to one, like disappear in like 5 or 10 years. Like I guess that's the only point that I view. Like when I look at like New York City, Miami, when I look at San Francisco, these are like the most diverse cities in the world. They got like tons of different people, and there can be people like you who disagree with it. But if I go to like other equivalent areas, if I go to the UAE, if I go to Saudi Arabia, if I go to Russia, I can't find all these other disagreeers that have like different points of view. But those countries, not to be mean to anybody else, those countries suck compared to the United States of America. That's the only thing that I kind of look at, And I think there's value in that. I think there's value in your point of view and my point of view, but I think there's even more value in the system that allows the points of view to exist and coincide with one another and to fight with one another,
Thank you. Yeah. We got 15 minutes. Let's try to get through the rest of these really quick.
Thank you so much for the question. I appreciate it.
That was a good one. Thank you for your service.
Hi, first, my name is Noah. Yeah, went to AmFest, so probably not on this aisle, but I'd like to say thanks to everyone that I've talked to so far has been very kind to me. So I'd like to say thank you very much for that. And,
of course.
My question is, because I went around AmFest and I kept asking the same question. I'm very curious what y'all's answer is because I never got a straight one, and it kind of made me angry. I asked them why no politician will attempt to balance the budget at all. And everyone inside of it, at least at AmFest, kept dodging my question, or they wouldn't give me a straight answer. And I guess I'm asking from the liberal point of view, where do y'all view it? Do you think it's just it's not possible? And they just don't want to tell me that, or what do you think?
Doesn't it necessitate a lot of benefit cuts, which are really unpopular?
I feel like there's two big things at play. One is everybody likes spending; they just like spending on their own shit, right? And then two, this sounds politically partisan, but when Democrats come into office, bro, we got to clean up so much shit. What the fuck? When Obama came in, we had the whole global financial meltdown, and then when Biden came in, we had fucking COVID. And I feel like when you look at the deficits that Trump was running after Obama, I think in the third year of his term, before COVID came in, his deficit was higher than Obama's entire last term. So if you just give us a run at the budget for 4 years without a massive economic disaster afterwards, I feel like Democrats could do it. I think it's possible to do it, but the problem is that Democrats like entitlements and Republicans like tax cuts. And from a personal level, if you're trying to balance the budget in your home, you have your income and you've got your outlays. And Democrats like their outlays, and Republicans like their income, right? So Republicans will cut the income as much as they can with all the tax cuts, and Democrats like to, enforce their outlays. Like, we need to be taking care of the poorest in society. And until people are ready to kind of like address either end of that, I feel like we're always just going to like run a massive
It's like balancing the budget would rely on a party running on some really unpopular shit, doing some really unpopular shit that cuts money from places that don't work. So like,
Yeah, so I guess my problem was because when I asked some people at AmFest, they said, well, it's just mathematically impossible. And I was like, that didn't make so much sense to me. And my question is, when you say like in 4 years you think you could balance the budget, my question is, why do you think it's in like some people's minds where, because I got now through Turning Point, I've got to talk to some Democrat politicians and some Republican politicians, and I've gotten similar answers where they're like, mathematically it's impossible. And then I'm wondering why they view it as impossible, or they know it's possible, they just don't want to try.
It's possible, okay? Like, I don't know where Adam's at. This motherfucker's like 19 years old and makes like $20 million, okay? So I made 7 figures last year. If you wanna tax me 1 or 2 more percentage points, right? When I live in the United States of America making $3 million a year, I can go to a restaurant, I can go outside and take a taxi, I can do all these things. If you're telling me that I have to pay a few extra percentage points to handle that, that's fine. That's awesome.
Can I follow up?
I want to be wealthy in the best country on the planet, right? So when Democrats are saying we could balance the budget, we just need to have the income tax just like a couple points higher. Do you think that anybody's leaving the United States because the top tax bracket changes from 37 to 39%? Nobody's fucking leaving, right? Look, nobody's leaving fucking New York because of Mom Downey. That's not happening because New York City's an awesome place to live. But then on the Republican side, they're like, we want to give you these tax cuts. 2%, that's not so I get 120K a month as opposed to like 110K a month. Do you think my lifestyle changing much? Probably not, but the budget is getting destroyed. And when they're trying to make cuts to Medicaid as a result of that, to give me like $10,000 more a month, I'm not doing anything different with my money. I'm just saying that like the Democrats have a more realistic plan to approach, like, hey, maybe we should take care of all these other people in society and like tax the top, a couple percentage points more. It's not going to change their life, but the Republicans are like, we need to give them all the tax cuts, and then we need to cut fucking Medicaid? What the fuck? That's crazy to me, right?
Yeah.
Like, I need to have like a yacht there or a plane or whatever that's slightly more expensive, but the people on Medicaid shouldn't have the coverage. I feel like the Democrat
rural
approach,
hospitals got cut and shit.
Yeah,
like
the
some
Democrat
crazy
approach
shit.
it's a little bit more realistic than the Republican approach. It's like fuck everybody,
You know what's
Jesus.
interesting? I think to add on to this, Mitt Romney. Did you see what Mitt Romney posted like last week? I have it pulled up. He said, he said, we've reached a point where any mix of solutions to America's economic problems is going to involve the wealthiest Americans contributing more. Then he wrote an article saying that it's very important to raise some taxes on the ultra wealthy and close loopholes that he calls caverns. So I mean, it would be unpopular for Republicans or any Republicans trying to bite this bullet would be impossible. No one wants to cut benefits. It necessitates doing some really unpopular shit. I think Mitt Romney's on the right path, and what you were saying is on the right path. Like, in order to fix this problem, or at least start fixing this problem, the ultra wealthy will have to contribute. And it's interesting because, like, I hate the communist shit where it's like, fuck billionaires. Billionaires shouldn't be. I think billionaires create a lot of value. I think that there can be there's a lot of wealth disparities, but oftentimes what?
No, that's a brave take. I agree. Yeah.
It's
But when you talk about all the taxes, like this is my issue with like liberals. Liberals like we need to have like a fucking wealth tax. Or whatever. No, just take all the tax brackets and bump them like 2 points, and you make like fucking $500 billion in tax revenue. Like just do that. Solidifying the Trump tax cuts was disastrous for our budget. For all of the trouble that Biden had balancing his budget, it was because the Trump tax cuts were extended were through his term, and then Trump solidified them. You had Doge come in and did fuck all, right? And you had Trump solidify the Trump's tax cuts, and again, like you said, like if a guy's making like $3 million a year, do you think that him paying an extra like 30 or 40K is like, oh, like I'm gonna leave the US? It's not happening. Whereas like an extra 30 or 40K towards like Medicaid or anything else, it's like so helpful towards like the working class people. I just think that like the Republicans' obsession with cutting taxes is so stupid, and like rich people don't even appreciate it because who the fuck cares? But poor people, like, they need the government assistance, which is good because the wealthy people want to live in a country where everybody is, decently taken care of. I think it's a really important thing.
I'm gonna say it. We got to cut funding to Israel. That'll be it.
Damn. So actually, number one, thank you so much, because that's a more direct answer than anyone I got from an AmFest. Thank you so much. And then my other question was going to be same kind of line. Why, even in my own Turning Point chapter, I'm not in leadership, so I can't get in trouble for this. But we've had speakers decide no longer to come because my chapter really wants to ask about Israel funding, and we had 2 speakers cancel. And so I'm wondering why it is. Why do you think like that's a topic that like everyone's like, no, we can't talk about that one?
I don't know. There's a lot of there's a lot of really religiosity surrounding Israel with voters, and rather than saying that, they use a lot of more. What? What's so fucking funny?
I'm listening to you. It's fine. Go ahead.
A lot of voters have really, really extreme views on Israel. Like, I'm talking Republican evangelical voters. They vote in these Republican politicians who are then super hard line, don't want to ask any question, but they won't actually admit the whole end day theory oftentimes, so they just say that Israel is a strategic military partner, which I agree. Honestly, I've thought about this a lot too. I mean, I think there's a weird dogma around talking about this, and over the past year and a half, I've made a huge evolution on this issue. Like, I was pretty firmly in favor of Israel going in and taking out Hamas. I still am, of course, but like something obviously has reached a point where it's too far, and we've hit this point where we can actually start talking about it and asking questions. And now that Pandora's box is open, the Groypers are taking that to the way extreme, but there are legitimate questions you can ask. I think there are legitimate questions you can ask.
We got 10 minutes. Let's
Thank you
for
so
the
much.
questions.
Thank you very much
Let's
for your
get through
question.
these last two.
If I were to start a new religion tomorrow called Trumpism, and the core tenet is that you have to do everything and anything that Trump says, and we start churches to funnel money through it, should we be protected from business discrimination, and why?
Wait, would you say the last part again?
Should we be protected from business discrimination, and why?
Yeah, I think if we're all acting like Trump, first of all, the kids need to be protected. All of the children in America need to be protected. Would we be protected from business discrimination, like based on race or gender?
Based on religion.
Probably. I mean, if you're going around.
Should we?
Oh, should you? If you're going around acting like Donald Trump, like grabbing women, or saying that reporters are piggies, or that women reporters are terrible humans.
Like, we can think of like 6 or 7 off the top of our head.
6, 7. Good one, buddy. Good fucking one, buddy. On a serious note, if you walked into a restaurant and said to the waitress, "Quiet piggy," yeah, you'd get kicked the fuck out. Yeah. Maybe not for your religion, but for acting like
You should
Trump.
never be discriminated against for political beliefs. I think in the United States Constitution, we don't discriminate for political beliefs. So, no, you shouldn't be discriminated against for
religious beliefs.
Well, I mean, like...
It's like a hypothetical where Trumpism is a religion.
Yeah, I mean, you
And
can't discriminate for religious beliefs either, right?
Everyone's acting exactly like Trump. Would this behavior be
Yeah,
permitted?
we already have that. It's called the Republican Party, right? We don't discriminate against them. So, yeah, we're good.
Yeah.
Thank you. Last question of the night.
Last question of the night. Don't
My
fuck
one
this
and
up.
only question is, what the fuck do we do about all this anti-Semitism?
What do we do about all this anti-Semitism? You know,
Just-
honestly, at this point, I'm kind of done with the Jews. It's annoying to talk about. I don't care anymore.
No.
They blew up all their
context.
enemies. Like, are we good at this point? I feel like they got it. I feel like they got it under
Just
control.
a little bit of context. Come from a very red state. I've had a lot of like very close friends, like closest friends that I have, come out and reject Trump and embrace Fuentes. I'm done with Trump. I hate what he's doing because I hate that he loves Israel. I hate that he loves all the Jews. And then just finding out that all my best friends are just very anti-Semitic, very anti-Jewish. It's a really hard thing to deal with, and I don't know what to do about it, and I want some help.
No, I get that. A lot of friends that I grew up with in high school, I still am friends with on Instagram, and I see them liking reels of Nick Fuentes, reposting reels, and I can see how if I were in their shoes and a little bit more apolitical, how it would be captivating, because he is funny. Something that I've been yearning for lately are leaders with more moral clarity, not only in the, obviously the Republican Party, but the Democratic Party as well. I would love to see a Democrat come out and say that Israel, for the past 6 to 7 years. No, I'm sorry. I would love to hear a Democrat come out and be like, listen, Israel
Jews are controlling everything, actually. I agree. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
I would like to see a Democrat come out and say, listen, at the end of the day, what Israel is doing in the Gaza Strip is wrong. They can call it a genocide, I don't care, but then also come out with enough clarity about anti-Semitism to swat down that message. It's just the way that Nick Fuentes frames it and the way that a lot of these people frame it, it feels almost intuitive because they say it in such like a charismatic, chill way, but it's the anti-Semitism is getting really, really fucking bad. And
I would riff on this. I think the issue is that, like, And it's so annoying because like the conservative side that does this always talks about like archetypes and Jungian stuff or whatever. Like when people get scared of stuff, they retreat into these like very predictable patterns of behavior. And one of those patterns of behavior is like trying to blame some external force for controlling everything. Because it's nice rather than having to ask questions of like how has society changed? Like maybe playing League of Legends 24/7 isn't great for us, or maybe having the internet is like actually degrading our social lives in a way that we didn't really predict. It's easy to just look at the Jews and say, well, the Jews are actually the fault of everything. But the reality is that like even if we were to get rid of all the Jews in the United States, we would probably still have basically all of these issues. And the most boring thing about anti-Semitism to me is that like anti-Semitism becomes like this catch-all for if there's a social problem like low birth rates or too much immigration or a bad economy or affordability issues, we can just kind of like blame the Jews on everything. And like Israel can barely even control its own society. The idea that there's some secret cabal of Jews that are controlling the societies of all these other countries on the planet is, it's just fantastic. In a bad way, I would say. So yeah, I don't know. Like anti-Semitism, I feel like it's the refuge of people that are afraid and they don't want to actually take the steps to identify the real problems of society because they're kind of like nonpartisan and they're very difficult to answer. Like, what do we do when people have replaced real life interaction with Discord calls or real life dating warm spaces with like Tinder groups? Like, that's a very difficult question to answer because I'm going to be honest, like as an online content creator, like if I didn't have, like Instagram or whatever else my big social media guys, I don't know where I would go to fucking, meet women, or I don't know where I would go to talk to women or whatever. And I feel like these issues are huge and they're ever present in society because the internet has fundamentally changed so much of how we engage with people. So then you get this very like boring criticism, like, well, I think the Jews are importing, Tyrells to breed out all the Julias, and it's like, okay, well, I mean, that like clearly this is such a simplistic answer, and all of history has relied on this answer for things, and it's never been the answer to anything. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good description of the problem, but he was asking for a prescription.
So that's exactly what I was going to say. It's like I feel like there's a great logical breakdown of like what is happening, but like what do you do when it's somebody that you love who's falling into that?
Well, first of all, on a broad scale, I think like this is the social media regulation conversation because anti-Semitism is spreading like wildfire, not due to like IRL conversations people are having, but largely due to online social media clips. When it's happening to someone you love, man, like it's hard. With Trumpism, with any of this type of stuff, it's repeatedly introducing them to fact patterns that can plant a seed of doubt in their head. Even that doesn't work sometimes because when they're constantly inundated in Nick Fuentes reels, you can't just counter-program them and debate them. But yeah, dude, I've noticed this a lot too. The anti-Semitism is getting worse and worse. I don't know. It's really
pretty bad. Sometimes it might
on the
be
left too, by the way.
Might be simple as like just like having your friends and taking them out and.
What's up?
What?
What'd you say?
Shrimple ass.
I don't know what you said.
Don't worry about it. As simple as like taking friends out. Like one of the big issues is that we've lost a lot of like warm spaces where people can just kind of like hang out and chat with each other. Like there's a difference between real life interactions and just like hanging out in Discord groups. And I feel. I'm going to be honest, it hurts to say this, but like I'm 37, I can't speak to high school shit right now. When I was in high school, like you couldn't substitute real life interaction with like online interaction. We didn't have like cell phones in class, so we were doing like T9 texting, okay, which was like, it was a very difficult thing. But now when you guys have replaced all of your interactions with like online social media, it's just not good. So you got to like be able to meet and talk to people of the opposite sex, and like, I don't think anti-Semitism gets you any closer to that than actually like hanging out with people. But like that's a question for the younger generation to answer, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to what I was saying earlier about like I really do think COVID didn't change anything or whatever. It didn't change everything, but I think it changed a lot in people's behavior and created a lot of antisocial behavior. So we can see in our generation, we're smoking less, having less sex, we're drinking less, we're partying less. Like you can see this in all the statistics. And I think that is correlated to the increase of anti-Semitism. People are looking for outlets. Again, this isn't really answering how we fix your personal friend's problem. I'm so sorry. Just bring them up here.
I just want to know what to do.
Bro, wait, have you lost anybody to like Candace Owens or anything else?
I know some people that are,
we've lost people to this. We can't, I don't know.
I think that you should go even farther and you should act like a crazy unhinged anti-Semite so they think, wait a minute, holy shit. Is this where I'm going? What the fuck?
Don't actually do it.
Based.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Sorry for the lack of real answer, but good luck. And I'm sorry that's happening.
All right.
It sucks. All right.
Thanks for the question. Thanks to everyone that asked questions. Thanks for coming. Let's give everyone a round of applause.
Thank you guys so much for coming out. Yeah.
We're out. Thank you, Z, for putting on the event and the whole tour as well.
Thank you, everybody. Let's win back in 2026, the midterms. In 2028, let's win. Let's deport Elon Musk, deport all ICE agents. Let's throw We're going to take Trump's Qatari jet, empty it out, and dump it in the ocean. We are going to bring Elon Musk back and then deport him again. Let's fucking go. I don't know. Anything else?
We got to turn that new White House room into like the LGBT appreciation. It's got to be like the Trans Hall of Fame or something. What is that new White House?
We're going to
hologram?
rename the White House or the Trump ballroom to the Gavin Newsom ballroom or the Joe Biden ballroom.
Yeah, base.
Have a good night, y'all.
Thank you, everybody. That was good.